And we are live for week 14, the last week of the fantasy football regular season in most leagues. It's going to be a great Sunday. Good morning, everyone. Going to be breaking down my thoughts on the week 14 slate. A lot of great games this week. Last week was very exciting. Got my top 15 rankings, every single position, as always, on the YouTube live. A lot to get through today, an absolutely ton to get through today. We'll, of course, get to as many comments as I can. It's a great day to be great, man. It is a great day to be great. Do you think Kittle could do okay with Purdy at QB? George Kittle still has one of the highest ceilings among all tight ends, but the floor is definitely lower with Purdy. Definitely is an improvement for George Kittle. I still have ranked number 5, though, in my tight end rankings this week. I would play Hawkinson over him. I would play Muth over him. I think Schultz is close, but I'm not playing any other of these tight ends over George Kittle. So, yeah, Kittle's still top 5 tight end in my mind. Travis Homer or Juju, I think I would actually go Travis Homer there. What's up? What's going on in the TikTok live? We're live on YouTube and TikTok as always. You get my top 15 rankings, every single position, 100% free on the YouTube live. Come over to the YouTube live to see those. Got my tight end rankings up. I know a lot of people down very, very bad at the tight end position. I am for sure down bad at the tight end position in some of my leagues as well. So there's a lot of guys out today. We'll, of course, get to that as well. All right. Let me pull my QB rankings here. First, let's just run through the injuries. The only injury we're waiting on today is the Saquon injury. That's it. We're waiting on the Saquon injury. That's it. Apparently, it's a real 50-50 shot to play today. I honestly don't really have a lean either way. Earlier this week, I thought it was pretty likely he was going to play. Now I'm really not so sure. It's 50-50. It's going to be really the one injury we have to monitor. But there's a lot of injuries to know. So first of all, Courtland Sutton's out in the Broncos game against the Chiefs. That's pretty big for Jerry Jeudy. Kind of big for Greg Dulcich, too, for fantasy. Both those guys are going to be the top 2 receivers for the Broncos today. We also have DJ Dallas and Kenneth Walker out. That does make Travis Homer the clear top running back for the Seahawks. Guys, Tony Jones is not very good. He is not a good pass catcher out of the backfield either. That's going to be Travis Homer's role. Today, Travis Homer was not on the injury report. Kenneth Walker, DJ Dallas, both are going to be out in this game. So you can have some decent confidence in Travis Homer today. In the Monday night game, Rondale Moore is going to be out. Damian Harris is going to be out. Jacoby Myers is going to be out. That's the game between the Cardinals and the Patriots. That's great news for Devontae Parker. It's an amazing news for Ramondre Stevenson. It's pretty good news for Greg Dortch with Rondale Moore being out, but really Hopkins and Marquise Brown are going to be the clear top targets for Kyler in that game. Kadarius Toney, McCole Hardman still out for the Chiefs, but they're huge favorites over the Broncos today. Should be a pretty big Isaiah Pacheco day. If you haven't been watching the news, Lamar Jackson's out. He's likely going to be out till around Christmas time. So it's going to be Tyler Huntley today. I see in a comment in the TikTok live, should I play Tyler Huntley or should I play Deshaun Watson? Guys, don't play Deshaun Watson. Don't play Deshaun Watson until we see something out of Deshaun Watson. Bills winning today. Yes, the Bills are likely going to win today. Seeing that question in the TikTok live. If you come to the YouTube live, by the way, link is right in the TikTok bio. You can see my top 15 rankings, every single position. My favorite picks against the spread. My favorite player prop of the day. My DraftKings lineup. All 100% free on the YouTube live. Link is in the TikTok bio. Again, we'll get to as many comments as I can. Let me pull my running back rankings really quickly. But I want to address this question from Adrian in the YouTube live. Is Barkley going to get a full workload if he plays? Do I start him or Travis Etienne? And yeah, the Saquon Barkley injury news is the thing that's most up in the air for today's slate of games. I'm not sure if he's going to get his full workload. It would make sense for him not to see his full workload if he's considered pretty likely to not play overall. There's a 50-50 chance that he doesn't play at all. I do think that if Saquon plays, though, you got to start him in fantasy. I like Etienne this week. I'm okay starting Etienne over Saquon with the news right now. But if we get a report that Saquon's playing, going to see his full workload, then I for sure would go Saquon over him. I think I left Saquon out of my top 15 running back rankings this week, though, because there's a really real chance Saquon does not play. So I'm okay having Etienne in over him right now. I do have Travis Etienne slotted into my top 15 running backs this week. He's at number 11. I think people are sleeping on him a little bit this week overall. I like him in DraftKings and FanDuel this week too. Don't hate his props either. The Titans' run defense has been good, but they're dealing with all sorts of injuries on that side of the ball. Good morning, Sam. Pick 2, please. Debo, Waddle, Kirk, DK. You cannot bench Jalen Waddle this week. Absolutely no benching Jalen Waddle. No benching Tyreek, obviously. He's my number 1 receiver this week. But there's no benching Tua either. The Chargers-Dolphins game, that's the game tonight, has the highest over-under of the week. Almost 52.5 points expected in that game. Why bench Jeff Wilson? Because he was outplayed, outsnapped, outcarried by Raheem Mostert last week. And I think that the Dolphins might be a little bit more pass-heavy than we've seen other teams be against the Chargers with a lot of the injuries that they're dealing with. Derwin James is questionable for the game tonight. I think that could have a pretty big impact as well. Let's pull up I got the wide receiver rankings up. I actually put 16 wide receivers in there because I couldn't find a spot for Garrett Wilson in the top 15. He comes in at number 16 for me today. Morning, Sam. Had to drop Lamar. Yeah, brutal time of year. But sometimes you got to do what you got to do. If Lamar's going to be out the next 3 weeks, he's pretty much worthless in fantasy now. Start Goff. I have Fields. Yeah, you can start Goff with a decent amount of confidence this week. Both Jared Goff and Kirk Cousins. You're going to want to have guys in this Vikings-Lions game. I mean, the Lions pretty shockingly favorites over the Vikings, despite a much worse record than the Vikings. The Lions are at home, but both these defenses, both these secondaries have been really, really bad. There could be a lot of points scored in this Lions-Vikings game. I pick up and start Rodgers in his plus matchups. I need the roster spot. Yeah, you can't start roster 3 QBs. Homer, Mike Williams, or Evans. I still think I would go Mike Evans over all those guys. If Saquon is out, would you play Breida over Latavius Murray? Yeah, I'm okay with that. I would play Breida over Latavius Murray if Saquon is out. Again, that's something to be on a monitor as we get closer to kickoff. Rashad White versus Najee. I'd go Najee. It's a really tough matchup for Rashad White this week. Homer, Rashad, Hopkins, pick 1 for flex. You're not benching DeAndre Hopkins, even in somewhat of a tough matchup against the Pats. We've seen top elite receivers do okay against the Patriots in plenty of games this season. So I'm okay going with that. Hey, Sam, good morning. Last opportunity to make something happen this week. Marquise Brown and Jerry Jeudy in Everett or in Njoku. Yeah, both these are pretty close. Marquise Brown is really not a guy I love benching this week. He saw 8 targets in his last game. He's now been basically at least 8 targets in every game that he's played this season, every healthy game at least. We've still only seen him play 1 game with DeAndre Hopkins. And you do really have to like Jerry Jeudy a decent amount. This week, I think I would go Jeudy over Marquise Brown. I think Judy's one of the guys that I'm willing to play over Marquise Brown. I have Jerry Jeudy in at number 14 in my wide receiver rankings. Marquise Brown's not in my top 15. There's no Courtland Sutton this week. They're playing the Chiefs. The Chiefs have not had a good secondary against receivers this season. The Chiefs are going to destroy the Broncos. The Broncos could easily have to throw the ball 35-plus times in this game. Not really what the Broncos want to do. Jerry Jeudy, he barely played last week. He still went over 50 yards pretty easily. I think he's going to play much more this week. Second week back from injury for Jeudy. I think you got to like Jeudy a decent amount. I think the floor is there. The ceiling's there for Jeudy. I don't think you can leave Jeudy on your bench this week. Good morning, Sam. James Conner, Isaiah Pacheco. It's a must-win game. Yeah, it's really tough to be benching James Conner with the workload James Conner's getting. I feel like Isaiah Pacheco's the sexier name right now in fantasy football. But guys, James Conner has played over 95% of the snaps for the Cardinals in 2 of his last 3 games. He went 140 yards and a touchdown last week. He was the number 4 running back in fantasy last week. So yeah, you got to start James Conner. There's no way around it. You got to start James Conner. Even though Isaiah Pacheco's in a good game script likely this week, you got to start James Conner. Best props for the Lions-Vikings game. I like the DeAndre Swift prop probably the most in that game. The total yards prop. I think receiving, rushing, I don't know exactly how he's going to get it done, but he played the most he's played since week 1 last week. And that's going to continue. He's fully healthy. DeAndre Swift is the most talented running back the Lions have. He's not going to get the goal line carries. That's going to be Jamal, but he's going to get the yards, man. I like Swift's prop. I think he was in the 60s. He could easily go over 100 yards today in that game. I don't hate the Dalvin Cook props in that game either. We also have a hashtag revenge game with TJ Hawkinson going back up against his former team, the Lions, who traded him this season. You got to love Hawk this week, man. I have Hawk as number 3 tight end this week. I mean, he really is really shaping up to be a fantasy football league winner in every single way that you would think about a league winner. TJ Hawkinson, he's had at least 6 targets every game he's been on the Vikings. Hasn't had a game under 7 fantasy points. That might not sound like a lot, but for tight ends, guys, I mean, almost every tight end, even Travis Kelce, has had a game under 7 fantasy points. Not TJ Hawkinson. Since he's joined the Vikings, he hasn't scored. He's only scored 1 touchdown, too. So he's had the floor. I think we could see the ceiling out of TJ Hawkinson in this revenge game against the Lions. Definitely love playing him. DraftKings, FanDuel. Let me pull up the DraftKings lineup actually really quick on the YouTube Live. Again, we're live on TikTok and YouTube. Guys, I'm going to be live. I'm going to be live all the way up until kickoff, really like 30 minutes before kickoff. So we got plenty of time in this live. Going to get to as many comments as I can. But we're live on TikTok and YouTube. Come to the YouTube Live. Right in the TikTok bio. Come to the YouTube Live and get my top 15 rankings every position. You'll get my DraftKings lineup, which is on the screen right now. I actually am going with Jared Goff. I'm paying down at quarterback. This feels like a good week to pay down at quarterback because a lot of the good QBs, the best QBs in the league, they have tough matchups this week. I do have Josh Allen ranked number 1, but not an amazing matchup for him against the Jets. I have Jalen Hurts ranked at number 2, but not a great matchup for him against the Giants. Joe Burrow against the Browns. The Browns have been much better in the secondary than they have. The run defense could be a big day for Joe Mixon. I have Samaje Perine as a must bench this week. I know people have been riding him the last few weeks, but guys, Joe Mixon is back. As much as they want to say they have depth at running back, Samaje Perine not startable in fantasy football with Joe Mixon back. I have 2 at number 4, but 2 is playing on the Sunday night game, and that is not on the main slate. It's Justin Herbert's right there at number 5. That's not on the main slate either. Then I have Mahomes, but all these pricey quarterbacks are in tough matchups. So I'm okay going Jared Goff against the Vikings. That secondary's been really bad. We know the Lions defense is bad. Could be a really high scoring game between those two teams. And I like stacking that game overall. I'm playing Dalvin Cook. I'm playing TJ Hawkinson, and I'm playing Amon-Ra St. Brown. Amon-Ra St. Brown really could easily be wide receiver 1 any given week. Good morning. Let's go football Sunday. Haven't checked in with you in a while. I got you, Ethan. DJ Moore or Deontay Johnson, and Dak or Goff. You can't really trust Deontay too much this week. He did have a hip injury this week. He was very questionable to play. He is going to be playing in this game. I still think Deontay is the same thing every week with him. The floor is high. The ceiling is non-existent with Deontay. Still no touchdowns. This season, it should be a good matchup for him. I do think George Pickens could be a little bit more involved this week, though, with his sort of complaining after last game. I'd go DJ Moore over Deontay. And then I think Goff or Dak, I mean, it's super, super close. I'll pull up my QB rankings again. I think I do have Dak 1 spot behind Jared Goff. And this is a weird spot for the whole Cowboys passing attack, right? They're 17-point favorites. The Cowboys are 17-point favorites at home against the Houston Texans. It's an amazing spot for the running attack. I mean, everyone's expecting big days out of Tony Pollard, big days out of Zeke. I have them both ranked as top 10 running backs. The Texans have the league worst run defense. And if they get an early lead, which they're projected to do, they just won't need to throw that much. And it's very possible Dak throws no touchdowns in this game where they just run the ball endlessly in the red zone. And that happens often against the Texans. So I'd be a little bit cautious just overall with the Cowboys passing attack. Though wouldn't be surprised to see some decent days. Tony Pollard, Mondre Stevenson, Joe Mixon this week. Yeah, you got to bench Mixon. You're not benching Mondre. Guys, you can't bench Mondre. You absolutely cannot bench Mondre. I have him as my number 2 running back. He played 98% of the snaps for the Patriots last week. And there's no Damian Harris again. He's seeing so many targets, guys. He has a 21% target share. That's top 4 in the NFL. He is playing the James White role, but he's also getting the goal line. He's getting everything. He's getting everything for the Pats. He ran a season high 30 routes last week, 8 targets. I mean, he's at least 6 targets now, guys, in 6 consecutive games. I mean, you cannot say that about very many running backs. He's had at least 70 yards in 9 straight games, maybe 10 straight games, maybe even 11 straight games. I think it might actually be 11 straight games with at least 70 yards. For Ramondre Stevenson, the dude's been a beast. You absolutely cannot start him. You cannot bench him. At least 78 yards in 9 of his last 10 games. It really such a high floor, such a high ceiling. And then Tony Pollard against the Texans just absolutely cannot be benched. So yeah, I guess you're benching Mixon. It's a good spot for Mixon, but he is coming off the injury. I guess there's a little bit more risk there in my mind. I do have Pollard and Mondre ahead of him in my top 15 rankings. Why sit Jeff Wilson? Seeing that on the TikTok live again, guys. We're live on TikTok and YouTube, and on the YouTube live, you just get more info. And I'm able to pull up your comments a little bit easier too. The link to the YouTube live is right in the TikTok bio. You get my top 15 rankings every position. Also, if I don't get your comments, guys, the best place to go is the WalterPicks app, iOS and Android app store. It's completely free to download, and it's going to help you with every decision you have to make in fantasy. But the reason you're benching Jeff Wilson, guys, Jeff Wilson barely played last week, and he could easily win back over to this lead back role for the Dolphins. But last week it wasn't it, man. He played 35% of the snaps. He had 1 carry and 0 catches. He had 1 touch, 3 yards against his former team in the 49ers last week. He had less than a point, less than half a point. I mean, how can you trust a guy that got one touch of the ball last week? We just can't. You can't do it. And it's a good spot for him against the Chargers run defense. His over-under, I think, is way too high. He had 1 carry, guys. So I'm not trusting Jeff Wilson. He could easily out-carry Raheem Mostert still, but I just can't trust it coming off of that game last week. Mike Evans or Homer. Yeah, so I get the Mike Evans stuff. His prop line is pretty egregiously low. I actually don't know if I've seen a Mike Evans prop line this low ever, really. I can't remember a time. 47.5 receiving yards over under from Mike Evans. I mean, the guy that's had over 1,000 yards and it feels like 9 straight seasons, might be 7, but I mean, a lot of straight seasons for Mike Evans, over 1,000 total receiving yards. This year, he's at 761 yards, has a very real chance to crack 1,000 again, and he's averaging 69 receiving yards per game still. I know he's been on a pretty rough stretch. He hasn't gotten over 60 receiving yards in 4 straight games. But yeah, you gotta start Mike Evans, I still think, in that spot. And I do like Mike Evans over 47.5 receiving yards. Hunter Henry or Njoku? Yeah, I think it's Njoku over Hunter Henry. I do have Henry in my top 10 tight ends this week, though, because he gets the Cardinals, man. And the Cardinals have stopped 0 tight ends this season. Zonovan Knight or Najee? Yeah, I'm a little out on Zonovan Knight. I've been kind of wrong about Zonovan Knight so far. I know he's really only been usable 2 weeks. I liked him as an ad. I didn't really trust him as a start that first week. And then last week I was a little down on him. Again, he had an even better game last week. This week, though, Michael Carter's back. And even if Zonovan Knight is the lead back in this backfield, you've got to believe Michael Carter is going to get a pretty reasonable role in this offense, too. Even if it's not the starting role, I think he gets at least a third of the touches in this backfield. He could easily, be the third down back, too. I think Zonovan Knight's floor is really low against the Bills. We playing Kittle over Dolce? Yeah, we're playing Kittle over Dolce. I still think Kittle has a really, really high ceiling amongst the group of tight ends. Carter or McKinnon? Yeah, you're not starting Carter. You got to go McKinnon. Can you put up picks against the spread? Yeah, I got you with the picks against the spread. And there's a lot of interesting picks against the spread this week. We actually did pretty well against the spread last week. We're up to 53% on picking against the spread every game this season. Not bad. Could be much worse. I think, I'm taking the Texans plus 17. I don't know how you could possibly take a team in the NFL, minus 17, but you got to love the Cowboys to win that game against the Texans. Probably my favorite spreads though this week. I was pretty surprised. I know a lot of people were the Lions favored over the Vikings. The Lions head coach Dan Campbell said himself he was a little surprised to hear the Lions were favored over the Vikings. I do like the Vikings plus 2.5 in that game. I like the Jets plus 10 too. We've already seen the Jets have a competitive game against the Bills. I know this one's in Buffalo. But I do think that the Jets could keep this game a little closer than people expect. Yo, Sam, what's up? Hype for the win this week. Full PPR, Travis Homer or Pacheco? Yeah, so I'm in on Travis Homer this week, but I like Pacheco more still against the Broncos. The Chiefs, I think, are 8.5-point favorites, 9-point favorites. Some places in that game. Pacheco's over-under for rushing attempts on Underdog. 16.5 is his over-under on Underdog. 67.5 rushing yards is his over-under. This week, if you're betting Isaiah Pacheco's props, I mean, that bodes very well for Pacheco. He could easily go over, too. He's the clear lead running back. McKinnon's going to play a lot of the pass down snaps, but if the Chiefs are up huge, and they easily could be up huge against the dead last offense in the NFL, the Denver Broncos. I know the Broncos have a really good defense, but I'm taking the Chiefs offense over any defense pretty much every time. So I like Pacheco a lot. Good morning, Sam. Happy Sunday. Hope all is well. Happy Sunday to you, Kylo. Happy Sunday to everyone in this live stream. We're live on TikTok. We're live on YouTube. You got my top 15 rankings, every single position on the YouTube live. Link to that's right in the TikTok bio. You got my picks against the spread, my DraftKings lineup, my favorite player prop. It's Sunday, man. It is a big day, the last day of the fantasy football regular season in most leagues as well. We got to get those wins. You got to be making the right start sits this week. All right, pick one from each. Thielen or Zay Jones? Yeah, I would go Thielen over Zay Jones this week. And then Pierce or Jamal Williams? Yeah, Damian Pierce is a really tough one for me to wrap my head around this week. I'm not going to lie. At first glance, I kind of liked the unders for Damian Pierce. 65.5 rushing yards over under, 83.5 rushing and receiving yards. He's playing against the Dallas Cowboys. There's no Brandon Cooks this week. There's no Nico Collins this week. We've seen Damian Pierce have some really big duds, but these are some pretty high prop lines, and it's because he's going to get the ball a ton on an offense that has absolutely nothing else. So I don't love betting against a guy that could easily, Damian Pierce easily could go 25 plus touches in this game. It wouldn't be that shocking with absolutely no receivers on this offense. Philip Dorsett is the top receiver on this offense today. So I think I would probably lean towards Pierce, but Jamal definitely has a better chance at a TD. But yeah, Jamal's prop lines are 17.5 yards lower. I think I would go Damian Pierce over Jamal Williams. James Cook or Travis Homer? Yes, so James Cook is really starting to gain some steam. I think James Cook is the safer bet here against the Jets. They're 10-point favorites. Again, I am taking the Jets plus 10 in that game. But James Cook looks like the most talented running back for the Buffalo Bills. They're big favorites today. I'm okay going James Cook. I would play James Cook over Zonovan Knight. I'd play James Cook over Travis Homer too. Hey, Sam, happy Sunday. Breeder or Damian Pierce? Yeah, so if Saquon sits, Saquon is the only injury news we're really waiting on, by the way. He is questionable today. He's showing up very early, apparently, to this game. And I'm seeing a video right here on Twitter. He's smiling and nodding. That seems good, I guess, but we have no official report on Saquon yet. If Saquon sits, though, yeah, Matt Breida, I think, could be considered over Damian Pierce. I'd still probably go Damian Pierce, though, over Matt Breida All right, can you rank my flex options? Yeah, I got you. And let me pull up my wide receiver rankings here again. I actually have 16 receivers in my wide receiver top 15s this week because you got to start Garrett Wilson, and I couldn't get him in my top 15. You still have to start him, man. His over-unders in the 60s. They're finally giving him some credit in the prop lines. I don't necessarily love him over 60. I think that's pretty high against the Bills, but you got to start Garrett Wilson. He has a top 10 wide receiver upside every week. The dude is an absolute stud. All right, full PPR. Mike Evans, Mike Williams, Pacheco, Homer, Rashad. Yeah, Mike Williams is another really tough one to wrap your head around because, I mean, it's been a disaster of a season for Mike Williams. Really not that much different than last season where he starts super hot, has some really big games. You're like, this is the year, man. Drafting Mike Williams was a league-winning move. He had over 19 points, at least 19 points in 3 of his first 5 games. Back in week 7, he had another 20-point game, but we haven't really seen him play since week 7. It's week 14. It's been 7 weeks, guys, since we've seen Mike Williams. The last time we saw him was week 11. He ran 4 routes, got 1 target, re-injured his ankle on that 1 target. We haven't seen him since. Really tough to trust. But you got to love the game environment for Mike Williams. I do think he is startable in some spots. I think the safe route here, though, is Pacheco and Travis Homer. I think Pacheco and Travis Homer. Also, Weatherman Sam showing up today. Yeah, there actually is a little bit of weather to be aware of. There's nothing too crazy, but you got to be aware of some rain, some precipitation today. There's going to be some possible snow, some light snow, though, not heavy snow in the Jets-Bills game. I'm not really too worried about that. There's some potential rain in the Eagles-Giants game, but that's going to be light rain. Not too worried about that. There's supposedly some possible rain in the 49ers-Buccaneers game, but again, not too worried about that. We have 4 dome games this week if you include the Monday night game. We already had one of them play, but the Vikings-Lions game, that's in a dome. Really like targeting that game overall. And then the Dolphins-Chargers game, guys, that's in a dome tonight as well. Those 2 games are the games I'm probably most excited for this week. And then Monday night, the game between the Patriots and the Cardinals, that game's in a dome too. No weather to be concerned of overall. That's the TLDR. Too long didn't read. Don't worry about the weather. Don't let that impact your fantasy decisions today. There might be a little bit of precipitation in some of these games, but nothing major. No major wind, and that's where we really get concerned is with the wind. No major wind to be concerned of today. Goff or Tyler Huntley and QB rankings. Yeah, let me pull up the QB rankings because QB rankings, I think this week, maybe one of the toughest rankings to rank these QBs because a lot of the top QBs have tough matchups. A lot of the mid QBs have pretty elite matchups. I really like Tua this week. I have him as my number 4 QB this week. I guess it's pretty obvious probably at this point. If you have Tua, you should start him. But in this game especially, 52.5 point over-under in this game. That's the highest over-under of the week. Fire up Tua with a lot of confidence. I think Tua has been a little unlucky in fantasy too with the touchdowns over the last few weeks. The yards have looked great. He's leading the league in yards per attempt, still 9 yards per attempt. I mean, that is truly elite. He's leading the league in adjusted yards per attempt. He's number 4 in air yards per attempt. He has a really high ceiling. They're supposed to get Armstead, their offensive tackle, back in this game as well. That could be really big for Tua. Definitely hurt him last week. Anyway, I would play Goff over Tyler Huntley. I would play Kirk Cousins, Goff. I'd play Dak over Huntley. I would even consider, and I actually am doing this in one of my leagues, Mac Jones over Tyler Huntley. I think Mac Jones is a really interesting sleeper this week. He gets the Cardinals in a game that I think could low-key be kind of high scoring. No Damian Harris. The Cardinals offense, I think, will score points against the Patriots defense. I don't hate Mac Jones against the Cardinals. Their secondary has not been too elite this season. Hey, Sam, pick 2. I don't have him in my top 10, though. He's number 13, but I would play him over Tyler Huntley. For example, Pacheco or Travis Homer. Yeah, I'm still going Pacheco over Travis Homer. We ran through the Pacheco line. But, guys, Pacheco's over-under. If you wanted to bet on how many yards he's going to have today, 67.5 rushing yards is his over-under. That's pretty elite. That's pretty hot. And it's because they're 9.5 point favorites against the Broncos. Pacheco's over-under rushing attempts is 16.5. That's, again, really elite. He has very good potential for 20-plus touches if his median projection is 16.5 carries. I have him as a top 15 running back, or really right outside. Yeah, number 15. He's my number 15 running back this week. I would play Najee Harris over him. I would play Deontay Foreman over him. I would play Travis Etienne over him. And all the other guys that I would play over him should probably be obvious. But other than that, you got to feel pretty good about Isaiah Pacheco. I'm playing him over Travis Homer. I do like Travis Homer, though. Not a bad spot for Travis Homer against the Carolina Panthers with Kenneth Walker and DJ Dallas both out. I would play Travis Homer over Devin Singletary. Singletary is really not a guy I trust a ton with how good James Cook's looking. James Cook, by the way, I would play him over Jeff Wilson. Seeing that one in the TikTok live. Guys, we're just getting started on this live. We're not even 30 minutes in. We got another 3-ish hours to go. Lots to get through on this live stream. We're live on TikTok and YouTube. I appreciate everyone that's live right now. Seriously, shout out to all of you. This is one of my favorite things to do every single week. come to the YouTube live if you're watching live on TikTok for just more info. My top 15 rankings, every position. My top 15 rankings, really, they answer more comments than I can even get to in this live. So definitely come to the YouTube live for that. Come to the YouTube live for the DraftKings lineup, for the player prop, for basically all the information you could want. Link is right in the TikTok bio for that. Why bench Jets running backs? The reason I'm benching the Jets running backs is, one, it's not a good matchup against the Bills. And two, I don't have a lot of confidence which guy is going to lead this backfield in touches. I think it's going to be Zonovan Knight. I would play Zonovan Knight over Michael Carter, but I think Michael Carter could steal a lot of the pass catching work. And I really think Michael Carter, Zonovan Knight in an offense that's really not that exciting against the Bills, they really could cannibalize each other. I think there's a decent chance both guys go under 10 fantasy points, and it's really unlikely both of them have a good game. So I'm okay just benching both of them. There's a lot of uncertainty there. A similar story, honestly, with Raheem Mostert and Jeff Wilson, too, even though they have a decent matchup. Homer, Pacheco, Foreman. Yeah, I think I would rank those guys as Pacheco first. Actually, Foreman first, probably, then Pacheco, then Travis Homer. I think I do have Foreman right ahead of Pacheco. Yeah, I do have Foreman 2 spots ahead of Pacheco. And really the reason for that is it's a better matchup for Deontay Foreman than Pacheco. He gets the Seahawks. They've been bottom 5 against running backs in fantasy this season. And we've seen Foreman truly elite workloads. He was taken off the injury report. I actually don't hit his prop over 55.5 rushing yards was his line. I think that's way too low over on PrizePicks. We've seen him in 3 of his last 5 games. He's had at least 24 carries. I mean, that is really elite usage. He's gone over 100 yards in all those games. You got to feel okay about Deontay Foreman this week. I think Pacheco maybe is a little bit safer just because the Panthers could get crushed and fall behind. Much less likely that happens for the Chiefs. But I think the ceiling is pretty high for Deontay Foreman this week. Rashad White or Travis Homer? Yeah, I'm okay going Travis Homer or Rashad White. Really tough matchup for Rashad White. I love Rashad White, but Leonard Fournette's playing. I wouldn't start Leonard Fournette. He seems pretty clearly behind Rashad White at this point, but they're going to split the backfield in a bad matchup. The worst matchup for running backs, actually. The 49ers have allowed the fewest fantasy points per game to running backs this entire season. Thoughts on Juju? Yeah, I'm a little nervous for Juju this week. I think he could have some decent weeks down the stretch, but it's a tough matchup for him against the Broncos. And if the Chiefs get a big lead, they could lean a little bit more on Pacheco this week. But Juju was back to full workload last week. He played 74% of the snaps. That was the most he's played since week 9. And he only had 4 targets, 3 catches, 35 yards in that game against the Bengals. It could be a similar type of day for him today. Is DJ Chark a good flex play? Yes, he is a good flex play. Jameson Williams, they're bringing him along really slowly. I am definitely watching out for that, though. Still, I think it makes sense for Jameson Williams, his snaps, to go up each week. Last week, I think he ran less than 4 routes or only 4 routes. He had 1 target, didn't catch it. DJ Chark played great. DJ Chark's going to play more than him, almost definitely still. And he's up against the Vikings, man. And the Vikings secondary, it is one of the secondaries you just need to be targeting each week in fantasy. DJ Chark has a pretty good ceiling. The floor is low for Chark, but he definitely could make some big plays. Today, I'm actually playing him in my DraftKings lineup for that reason. This is a tournament lineup that I have up here on the YouTube Live. Again, come to the YouTube Live. Link is right in the TikTok bio for my top 15 rankings, every position, my DraftKings lineup, my picks against the spread, everything, basically for free, right on the YouTube Live. Also, if I can't get to your comment on the live, I'll try to get to as many comments as I can. Go to the WalterPicks app in the iOS and Android app stores. The absolute best place you can support me is just downloading and trying the WalterPicks app. Also, if you toss us a 5-star review in the WalterPicks app on the iOS or Android app store, and then you come back to the YouTube Live and you include a 5-star emoji in your comment, I'm going to answer your comment, and I'll know if you're lying. But that's another way you can, like, really, really easy way. It takes you 2 seconds to toss a 5-star review. iOS and Android app store for the WalterPicks app. Link to that is the YouTube description, TikTok bio, and I'll do my best to prioritize your comments if you do that. It really does help us out a ton. All right, Kyle's got a question. PrizePicks, a question here. AJ Brown, Justin Jefferson, Kelsey over half a receiving touchdown, then Henry and Zeke over half rushing touchdowns, finally half an INT for Huntley. Yeah, honestly, you're going to be you're betting really, really rough odds here for all of these guys to score touchdowns. And I don't necessarily dislike any of these individually. Probably AJ Brown's probably my least favorite one here. But yeah, I generally don't love the touchdown props, especially for the receivers and the tight ends. I like the running back ones a little bit more, though. Hey, Sam, would you start Dameon Pierce or Travis Homer? Yeah, so it's close. It's definitely close. I do think it kind of has to be Dameon Pierce with how little talent the Texans have on offense today. No Nico Collins, no Brandon Cooks. It's not a good matchup against the Cowboys. They're 17-point underdogs. Doesn't really bode well for Dameon Pierce's rushing. But, like, what are the Texans supposed to do? Who is supposed to get the ball for the Texans? It has to be it has to be Dameon Pierce. So I think you got to start Dameon Pierce. Like, it's hard to bench a guy that could very, very easily go over 20 touches today. So I'm okay going with Dameon Pierce. We do not know if Saquon Barkley's playing yet. This is the biggest injury news to stay aware of. There was just a video of him smiling, walking in very early to the stadium, but that means nothing. We have not gotten the report about Saquon. All the reports have been that he's truly a 50-50 call today. There's a very, very real chance they let Saquon rest one more week in a game that, let's be honest, the Giants are probably going to lose anyway. All right, let's pull up. And the Giants, by the way, they get a matchup against the Eagles today. The Eagles have been worse against running backs than receivers, so they really do need Saquon, I think, to have any real hope in that game. But yeah, Matt Breida is very much playable. He's worth an ad in the off chance that Saquon sits. So the reports have been 50-50, by the way, that Saquon doesn't play. I'm sort of leaning 60-40 that he plays, but still very real chance he doesn't play. So we got to monitor that as we get closer to game time. We got a question here from Matt Spite in the YouTube live. Shout out to everyone, by the way, in the YouTube and TikTok lives. Really do, guys, appreciate all of you being here. I'm going to get to as many comments as I can, I promise. Parker McKenzie, I really like Devontae Parker as a sleeper this week. I like Devontae Parker and Hunter Henry as sleepers this week. There's no Jacoby Myers. He's out this week after taking a brutal hit in the end of that game against the Bills on Thursday, the Thursday night football game. Yeah, so I like Devontae Parker a lot. He's done pretty well in the games where he's seen decent volume. Running back rankings. Yeah, let me pull up the running back rankings here on the YouTube live. Latavius Murray, James Cook. Yeah, I really want nothing to do with Latavius Murray. Have to start, unfortunately, Brady or Watson. Yeah, so I have them both as must benches this week. It's a tough matchup for Brady in the Bucs. The 49ers defense has been really good. Brady's been one of the most under pressure QBs. He's been throwing it extremely fast. He's going to have to do that again today against the 49ers, who are one of the most elite defensive fronts in the NFL. I honestly think Deshaun is probably a better play than Brady. I'm hesitant to say that only because Brady likely will throw more passing attempts than Deshaun. We know the Bucs are still one of the most pass-heavy offenses in the league, and as good as the 49ers defensive front might be in making pressure on Brady, they're really good against the run. They're the number one run defense in the league. But Deshaun is in the game against the Bengals in what could really easily be a shootout, divisional game, must-win game for the Bengals. Could be more passing than last week for Deshaun, but Deshaun looked terrible last week. Brady hasn't looked great, obviously, either, though he had that big comeback win. I think that one's super close. Let me actually pull up the rankings here, see which one we have ranked ahead. I have a feeling it's going to be Brady, though. And no, it's not. It's Deshaun. Yeah, you got to go Deshaun. I'd play Deshaun, and it's probably partially because of the rushing, too, for Deshaun. Carter with the 5 stars. Yeah, guys, if you include 5 stars in your comment, what that means is you went to the iOS and Android App Store, to the WalterPicks app, and you toss us a 5-star review. And again, I'll know you're lying. Like, I know Carter's not lying here with the 5 stars, so I do appreciate that. And it is a way to get your comment a little bit prioritized. All right, good morning, Sam. Pick 2, full PPR, Pacheco, Evans, Thielen. Yeah, Pacheco for sure has to be started amongst these guys, and I think we do have Thielen projected ahead of Mike Evans this week too. Mike Evans over-under, by the way, again, I said it earlier in the stream, the lowest over-under I've ever seen for Mike Evans. 47.5 receiving yards. I mean, it's just obnoxiously low for a guy like Mike Evans, but we still have Adam Thielen a couple spots ahead of him in the WalterPicks app. I agree with that because he's playing the Vikings. Thielen has actually started to heat up a little bit over the last few weeks. Adam Thielen has had some big games. He had a bad game last week, but the week before that, 10 targets, 9 catches, and a touchdown against the Pats. He's had under 5 points in 2 of his last 3, though. So the floor is low for sure for Adam Thielen, but he does have at least 6 targets in most games this season. He's going up against the Lions' bad secondary for sure. Boyd or Fournette for the flex. Oh God, yeah, you can't go Fournette, man. Again, so you can't play Fournette this week. There's just no way around it. First of all, Rachaad White's going to start. He's going to get at least half the work, and he's going to get at least half the targets in the backfield, the really valuable targets in his backfield. And then second off, Andy, they're playing the 49ers, the number 1 defense against running backs this season. You can't trust Fournette at all. You can't. The floor is so low for him. I'd go Tyler Boyd over Leonard Fournette this week. Good morning, Sam. Would you start Njoku or Freiermuth for the Steelers? I'd go Muth for sure. I'd go Muth over Njoku, and I think Njoku's interesting this week. But I don't love Njoku as much as I love Muth. I have Muth as my number 4 tight end. I'm actually playing Muth over George Kittle this week. Really, the top 4 tight ends are the only ones I have really any sort of faith in. Travis Kelce, Mark Andrews, TJ Hawkins, and Pat Freiermuth. I still think Kittle's a must start. I think his ceiling is still really high, even with Purdy. Then Dalton Schultz, and then it's Njoku next. And then it's Greg Dulcich, who's going to be playing without Courtland Sutton this week. Hey, Sam, Lockett or Hollywood Brown? Yeah, I think I would go Lockett still over Hollywood Brown. Hey, Sam, don't you think Christian Kirk should be on the wide receiver rankings against the Titans? Yeah, so I did hold off Christian Kirk from my top 15, and that was intentional. The Jaguars get the Titans today in a game that there really isn't too much weather concerns. The Titans secondary certainly one to target. I think Christian Kirk's a pretty clear top 20 option this week, but we have seen Christian Kirk disappear at times this season. We've obviously seen him have a pretty elite ceiling as well. I actually have him right outside. I think he's definitely inside the top 20, but I like Jerry Jeudy more than him. I like Garrett Wilson more than him. I like Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf more than him. I like T. Higgins, AJ Brown. Like I like all these guys more than him. I don't think I like Marquise Brown more than him. I think they're right neck and neck with each other. They're obviously better matchup for Christian Kirk than Marquise Brown. I don't dislike Christian Kirk. You should still start Christian Kirk, but yeah, I couldn't find a spot for him in my top 15, really my top 16 this week at the wide receiver position. Rashad White or Dameon Pierce. Yeah, I'm okay going Dameon Pierce over Rashad White this week just because of the matchup. It's definitely a little bit risky, but with Leonard Fournette playing, I'm okay going Dameon Pierce. Again, there's no one else in the Texans. What are the Texans supposed to do? I mean, just look at the team. There's no Nico Collins. There's no Brandon Cooks. I think Rex Burkhead literally might be out too. I recall him getting hurt. Let me fact check that one though. Regardless, you got to feel pretty good about the workload for Dameon Pierce. It's not a good matchup for him though. He's a 17-point underdog against a pretty good Cowboys defense. But regardless, the workload's there. And yeah, Rex Burkhead was inactive with a concussion last week. We'll see if he's playing this week or not. Probably a decent chance he does return this week. But yeah, you still got to like Dameon Pierce. I think his workload should be pretty established. Travis Homer or Devontae Parker. I would play Travis Homer over Devontae Parker this week, even though I do like Devontae Parker as a good sleeper. I have a ton of start-sit questions, Sam. Luke, I got you, man. Dak or Kyler? Let me pull the QB rankings. Definitely that one's tough. I have them right next to each other. I do have Dak one spot ahead of Kyler. Again, it's a weird spot. It's a weird spot for the Cowboys passing attack today because they're playing the Texans. They're 17-point favorites, and we know how good the Cowboys running attack is, and we know how bad the Texans running defense is. And if they get an early lead, like there's just too good of a chance for me that the Cowboys run it so much in the red zone. And Dak, like, what are the odds Dak can throw 3 touchdowns today if they're going to run that much? I'm okay going Kyler, honestly, over Dak. I do have Dak one spot ahead of my rankings. I'm actually going to swap that right now because I think Kyler's rushing and his matchup are better than what we are seeing for Dak today against the Texans. It's obviously not a scary defense, but because the run defense is so bad, I am a tiny bit more concerned just about the passing attack for the Cowboys and how much they're just going to be needed overall today. All right, then we got Foreman or Jeff Wilson. Yeah, this one's 1,000% for me. Deontay Foreman over Jeff Wilson. Deontay Foreman has had at least 24 carries in 3 of his last 5 games. Jeff Wilson had 1 carry last week. It's 0 catches. You can't start a guy that touched the ball once last week. Even though Jeff Wilson, I wouldn't be shocked if he all of a sudden led this backfield in touches over Raheem Mostert like he was doing a few weeks ago. But we didn't see it last week. You can't trust it this week. And I also think there's going to be a pretty pass-heavy game script for the Dolphins and Chargers this week. Christian Kirk or D-Hop? Yeah, you got to go D-Hop for sure over Christian Kirk. I'd go with the D-Hop Kyler stack. It's a little scary against the Pats, but the Pats have actually kind of been torched against some elite receivers this season. Julian Mendoza tossing the 5-star review in the App Store. Again, include the five-star emojis. Go to the star emoji, include that in your comment, and I'll know you toss us a 5-star review in the iOS and Android App Store. Again, on the WalterPicks app. Link is in the TikTok bio. Link is in the YouTube description. Also, if you're watching live on TikTok, guys, come to the YouTube live after you toss the 5-star review, and you'll get my top 15 rankings every position completely free on the YouTube live. All right, Juju, Pickens, or Mike Williams? Yeah, so I like Pickens this week. I do. I would not play Juju this week against the Broncos. Don't really love that one. And then Mike Williams is really tough. He's a really tough one to wrap my head around. This week, we haven't seen him really since week 7. Last time we saw him was week 11. He ran 4 routes, hurt his ankle pretty instantly. If he's playing tonight, you're going to want him, though. And I think it's close between him and George Pickens. Yeah, we actually have them right next to each other in the WalterPicks app. I honestly think I would go George Pickens. I like George Pickens this week, but it's super close. Definitely extremely, extremely close between those two guys. Morning, Sam. Start 1. James Cook, Deontay Johnson, McKinnon. Yeah, I think I would go James Cook over Deontay and McKinnon, especially if this is not a PPR league. Do appreciate you guys letting me know what the scoring settings are, by the way. If you're asking, start this in the comments. Is it full PPR? Is it half PPR? Is it non-PPR? This stuff really does help me in a lot of the start sits. We got a question here in the YouTube live. Definitely something that we need to know. Saquon playing. Yeah, so I don't think we've gotten the official report yet. Here we got from Ian Rappaport 5 minutes ago. Running back Saquon Barkley, who will work out pregame to see if his neck has enough strength to have him function. Still 50-50 to play is what they're reporting. Again, I think it's more 60-40 that Saquon plays. I'm just sort of reading between the lines a little bit, though, and sort of purely speculating there. We don't know for sure Saquon's playing yet. We do not know. Yeah, you missed a question mark there. Yeah, we do not know yet if Saquon's playing, but that is the biggest news we're waiting on. All the other injury news we know. We know Cortland Sutton is out. That's big for Jerry Jeudy and Greg Dulcich. We know Kenneth Walker and DJ Dallas are out. That's big for Travis Homer. We know Rondale Moore is out. That's pretty big for Marquise Brown, pretty big for DeAndre Hopkins, and big for Greg Dortch too. We know Damian Harris is out. That's absolutely massive for Ramondre Stevenson. We know Jacoby Myers is out. That's pretty big for both Devontae Parker and Hunter Henry. We know Lamar Jackson is out. That's not very great for really anything to do with the Ravens. Tyler Huntley is going to be playing there, though, and he's going to run the ball. So he is at least considerable as a streaming option in some deeper leagues. Kadarius Toney, McCole Hardman still out. That's good for Juju, good for MVS, but still not really loving Juju and MVS against the Broncos. Happy Sunday, Bud. Ken, how we doing? Pick one of each, please. Full PPR, QB's Burrow or Tua, running back Sanders or Pacheco. Yes, I'm playing Tua over Burrow. I think this week. Let me actually pull this up. I Burrow one spot ahead of Tua. Burrow's been cooking, man. It is tough to bench Burrow. I really like Tua this week. I do. The only three quarterbacks I have ranked ahead of him are Pat Mahomes, Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, and Joe Burrow. And you look at the numbers for Joe Burrow in his last few games, and I mean, he's been a top 2 quarterback in 2 of his last 3. He was the number 2 quarterback last week, 30 points. He threw for 286 and 2 touchdowns, ran for another touchdown. He's had at least 30 rushing yards in each of his last 2 games. He was really cooking against the Chiefs. He gets a matchup this week against the Browns. The Browns' pass defense, I think, is a little bit better than the Chiefs' pass defense. The run defense is worse, though. I think it's super close, man. It's super close in my mind. I really don't want to bench Tua. This game, the Dolphins-Chargers game, it has the highest over-under of the week, 52.5-point over-under. And there's all sorts of injuries for the Chargers, too. Derwin James, they're really elite safety. He might not play. I really like Tua in that game, but yeah, I'm okay starting Joe Burrow over him. I think Burrow is pretty safe. And then running back Sanders or Pacheco. I'm playing Pacheco over Sanders this week. Dolch or Njoku. I'd go Njoku, I think, one spot ahead of Dolch, but it's definitely close there too. Honestly, I think I'm going to swap those two as well. I think I would play Dolch over Njoku. With Sutton out, Dolch, they said it this week. One of the coaches said it this week, but he really is playing. He's playing a receiver-like role for the Broncos. He's sort of their wide receiver 2 in this game, which you got to like for Dolch. When you look at the tight end landscape, that's really not bad. You're getting a wide receiver 2, even on one of the worst offenses in the league. They're playing the Chiefs. So yeah, I'm okay playing Dolch over Njoku. But again, that one's super close too. Both those first 2, or 2 of these start sits have been guys back-to-back in my rankings. And the wide receiver, DJ Moore, Pickens, Gabe Davis, DJ Chark. Yeah, this one's pretty tough here as well. I have a feeling it's going to be DJ Moore. And yeah, I think I would go DJ Moore here over all these guys. I would go DJ Moore, I think, over all these guys. Let me pull the DraftKings up here again on the YouTube live. 5-star Google Play. Mark, thanks, man. Yeah, again, I appreciate everyone in this live. I've done this live every single week, all season. We're 14 straight weeks now on Sunday mornings. I do this completely free. I'm trying to just help as many people as I can on these lives. And one of the best ways you could support me in doing this is checking out the WalterPicks app in the iOS or Android Google Play App Store and just tossing us a 5-star review. That's why you're seeing a lot of 5-star emojis in the comments. They're letting me know they tossed a 5-star review. Really do appreciate that. And I am going to try to prioritize the comments that have those 5 stars in them. Homer or Chark, and again, I'll know you're lying. If you toss the 5 stars and you don't actually do it, I'll know you're lying. Homer or Chark in the flex full PPR, yeah, I'd go Homer. I think Homer is pretty safe without. It's been great. Thanks, man. Hey, Sam, Pickens or Judy? Yeah, I'd go Judy over Pickens 100%. White or Homer PPR? Yeah, I'm leaning Homer over White too. It feels weird. I like Rachaad White definitely more, just rest of season and in general. But Travis Homer's in a good matchup against the Panthers. There's no DJ Dallas. There's no Kenneth Walker. I have no fear of Tony Jones. We've seen Tony Jones be really terrible in the past. Sam, flex Foreman or Judy in half PPR? Walter has Judy with a higher boom, but I'm leaning Foreman. Side note, Walter has got me in the playoffs in every league. That's what I'm absolutely talking about, Colin. That's what it's all about. That's what the regular season's all about. And yeah, Foreman versus Judy is definitely close. Honestly, I think I would go Judy over Foreman. I feel a little bit more confident in Judy than Foreman because there's the off chance that this Panthers-Seahawks game, the Seahawks just dominate the Panthers. The Seahawks offense could really do well against this Panthers defense, and a negative game script is not good for Deontay Foreman. We've seen him have a pretty low floor. Meanwhile, Judy, I mean, what are the chances that the Broncos can that they won't need to throw the ball in this game? There's almost no chance. There's almost no chance Russell Wilson doesn't throw the ball, at least 5 times Judy's way, and he could well go past 10 targets in this game. So I like Judy, I think, more than Deontay Foreman. I'm okay chasing the slightly higher boom just in general. Travis Homer or Mike Williams, half PPR. Yeah, I'm going Travis Homer there too. No question. Just want to give that 5-star review anyway. Shout out to you, Kylo. Ayuk. We got some Ayuk questions in the TikTok live. I'm seeing Ayuk's name a decent amount here. He definitely is startable, but don't love him with Brock Purdy. I would play Hopkins over Miles Sanders, seeing that one in the TikTok live too. Let me scroll back up to this Ayuk question because I know there's a lot of Ayuk concern out there. I would definitely play Pacheco over Jeff Wilson. Can't find the Ayuk question. Not sure who the other side of that was in the TikTok live. But again, if you're watching live on TikTok, come to the YouTube live. You can see my top 15 rankings, every single position. The link is right in the TikTok bio. And you get my DraftKings lineup and my picks against the spread and my favorite player prop. Actually, I haven't pulled up the player prop yet today, but yeah, it is Jerry Jeudy, over 58.5 receiving yards. The floor for Jeudy is just so high, and we know he's going to get some deep opportunities. And the other reason I feel pretty confident about this one, by the way, we cashed on Skoranek on Thursday night. I hope you guys hit that one. The leading receiver on Thursday night. What a Thursday night game, by the way. I haven't talked about that today at all, but really, I think one of the all-time games that I've seen in the NFL was that Thursday night game. Just so entertaining from start to finish. And then Skoranek just cashing over 28.5 receiving yards. He I think went over or near 100 yards in that game. And this game, today, I'm going with Judy's prop line. He had 65 yards last week against the Ravens. He only played a third of the snaps. He only had 4 targets, easily 65 yards. He had 63 yards in his previous healthy game, 96 yards in the healthy game before that. He hasn't had less than 50 yards, guys, in a healthy game since week 3. Jerry Jeudy hasn't had under 50 yards in a healthy game since week 3. So the floor is high. We know the Chiefs are going to crush the Broncos. We know the Broncos are going to have to throw, and we know Cortland Sutton's out. So it really consolidates the target tree a lot too. I like Jeudy over 58.5. I think he very easily could go over 60. I think he has over 100 within his range of outcomes. That's why I play Jeudy over Foreman as well. Deontay Foreman or Travis Homer. Let me pull up the running back rankings here. Again, Foreman, you will see his name on this list. I have Deontay Foreman as my number 13 running back this week. I think I would go Foreman over Homer. They're playing against each other, both sort of good matchups. Seahawks have been really bad against running backs this season, though. The Seahawks are favorites, which maybe bodes well for Homer, but yeah, I think I'd go Foreman. Hey, Sam, gotta love bye weeks. Yeah, I mean, week 14 bye weeks. Who drew this up, man? Who drew this up? It's the last week of the regular season in fantasy, and we got crushed with bye weeks. I mean, so many bye weeks. It really does make week 14 a lot more interesting. If Barkley's out, so yeah, Barkley's 50-50 to play. I'm leaning 60-40. I think there's a 60% chance Barkley plays, 40% chance he doesn't. Either way, there's a good chance that he doesn't play. If he doesn't play, you got to decide between Rachaad White or J.K. Dobbins, or do I go pick up Breida, Homer, or McKinnon? Yes, I didn't put this in my must bench list on TikTok, but guys, you can't trust any of the Ravens running backs still. I mean, every week I feel like I'm saying this, but there's so many of them, and their quarterbacks run the ball too. The floor is so low for all of them, and very few of them catch passes. Dobbins is supposed to be back this week. Really tough to know what his workload is going to look like. It could easily be less than 10 touches for J.K. Dobbins. So I would play Rachaad White even in a tough matchup over him. And then if Saquon sits, though, yeah, you definitely should pick up Breida. And I would play Travis Homer over Rachaad White this week, too. Travis Homer gets the Panthers. Rachaad White gets the 49ers. I mean, pretty polar opposite matchups there. The 49ers, number 1 run defense this season. If it's PPR, Rachaad White gets a little bit of a boost because he should catch some passes. But we know that Leonard Fournette is going to be involved this week too, so it really lowers Rachaad White's floor. I like Travis Homer more than Rachaad White. If Saquon sits, I think I'd like Matt Breida more than Rachaad White too. But if Saquon sits, I'd play Travis Homer over Matt Breida. So there's my thoughts there. Jeff Wilson or Travis Homer. Yeah, again, how can you trust Jeff Wilson after he had 1 touch of the football last week? You just can't. There's just no way. There's no way you can. So you got to go Travis Homer. Hey Sam, this week's if I win, I lock in the number 1 spot. Yeah, this is the other big thing in fantasy leagues that's not often discussed, but really matters. In some leagues, you get bye weeks in the fantasy playoffs like you do in the real NFL if you're one of the top spots or top 2 spots. Huge advantage in fantasy football if you can lock up a bye. All right, so Lockett or Hollywood Brown. Yeah, I'm going Lockett over Hollywood Brown this week. I do like Lockett a decent amount. With the running back injuries, too, for the Seahawks, you got to feel even more confident that Lockett, DK Metcalf, they have to be extremely involved. I have them both inside my top 15 wide receiver rankings this week. If Barkley plays, will he be limited? That is, I think that is the bigger question here. But for Saquon Barkley, because again, the reports are 50-50 chance Barkley plays. I think it's more like 60-40 that he plays. But the real question is, if he plays, I mean, is he going to really play like Saquon Barkley? Is he going to see the Saquon Barkley workload that we're used to? Is he going to be as efficient as the Saquon Barkley that we're used to? And honestly, my lean is yes. I think if he plays, he's gonna play for real. Saquon Barkley actually leads the NFL in snap percentage. He's played over 80% of the snaps for the Giants this season. I mean, insane workload. And just last week, he played 88% of the snaps, 18 carries, 5 targets. I think that's what he's going to be near. I think he's going to still be right around 80% snap share. But we got to monitor the news because it's very possible that comes out with the news that he's playing, that he's going to be somewhat limited, or they're going to, put him on a snap count or something. So something to monitor with Saquon for sure. But my lean is that he plays, and then he plays like his normal amount, and you should start him. But if we get a report otherwise, then yeah, Christian Kirk's not a bad fallback option there. Start Keenan, Kirk, or ETN. Let me pull. I have my wide receiver rankings up actually on the YouTube live right now. Keenan's my number 11 wide receiver. You want pieces of this Chargers-Dolphins game, guys. It's the highest over-under of the week, 52.5-point over-under for that game. And I think they could easily go over. Like, it could be a really, really high-scoring game between two very aggressive, pass-heavy offenses. Hey, Sam, could you rank these guys? Jeff Wilson, Dameon Pierce, Travis Homer, Mike Williams in a half PPR league. Yeah, so I think I would rank them like this. Dameon Pierce, number 1, Travis Homer, number 2, Mike Williams, number 3, Jeff Wilson, number 4. And again, I don't have faith in Jeff Wilson because he had only 1 touch of the football last week. Evans or Chark, yeah, that one's honestly pretty tough. Mike Evans is in a really rough stretch right now. I was saying at the beginning of the stream, this is the lowest I've ever seen Mike Evans prop line, 47.5 receiving yards. I still think I would probably go Mike Evans in that spot. Zeke a start. Yeah, Zeke is absolutely a start. Zeke and Pollard both have to be started against, a really bad Texans run defense, the worst run defense in the NFL. James Cook, Njoku, or Deontay Johnson. You're not playing Njoku over James Cook or Deontay Johnson. We do not start 2 tight ends on this live stream. Never start 2 tight ends unless you have both Mark Andrews and Travis Kelce. You're not starting 2 tight ends. I'd probably play James Cook over Deontay Johnson this week. Debo or Pacheco. Yeah, a lot of Debo concern is out there. Obviously, with Purdy starting, there's some concern there. But guys, Debo had 10 targets in the first Purdy game. His over/under receiving is only 43.5, but he has an over/under of rushing 13.5 too. I think he goes over those over/unders. But yeah, it's Pacheco. It's Pacheco over Debo Samuel still. Pacheco's over/under 67.5 rushing yards today. They're huge favorites against the Broncos. He could easily go over 16 carries. Pacheco today. So I like Isaiah Pacheco more than Debo Samuel, but I don't hate Debo. I think Debo's being a little bit slept on at this point in the season. I saw a poll on Twitter last week where 80% of people said they would prefer Christian Watson over Debo Samuel rest of the season. And I get it. Christian Watson's been balling, but I think we're jumping the gun a little bit on Christian Watson over Debo Samuel. Mike Evans or DeAndre. I know Watson's not playing today. Mike Evans or DeAndre Swift at flex. Yeah, it's got to be Swift. Got to be Swift, guys. No benching DeAndre Swift this week. The DeAndre Swift breakout is happening, guys. Swift is really looking like a fantasy football league winner, and I think we're going to see it again today. It's not an amazing matchup against the Vikings, so it should be a high-scoring game, which obviously bodes well for Swift. Guys, Swift played his most since he's played since week 1 last week. He played 51% of the snaps. Finally leading this backfield in carries, 14 carries, 6 targets. He had 111 yards, 1 touchdown. He was the number 4 ranked running back last week. Expect more top 5 weeks out of DeAndre Swift. I don't have him ranked in my top 5, but he absolutely has top 5 upside. His over-under total yards today is in the 60s. I think he could easily go over 100 total yards in this game. So yeah, I like DeAndre Swift a lot. Schultz in a negative game script against Houston, or Dulcich against the Chiefs playing catch-up all game. Yeah, so really tough one. And I would actually call this a positive game script. I guess it's negative for him, but I think of positive game scripts as winning, negative game scripts as losing. I guess I've never really thought about it that way, though. But anyways, yeah, Dulcich versus Dalton Schultz is a really tough one. Let me put my tight end rankings again. I have them back-to-back here. And generally speaking, you definitely like Schultz more than Dulcich. But like you said, the game scripts are polar opposite for these two players. We got the Cowboys are 17-point favorites against the Texans. That, I think, is the biggest spread we've seen this entire season. It's one of the best rushing attacks against the worst running defense. So you got to be a little bit concerned overall for the entire passing attack for the Cowboys, which is why I actually think Dulcich is probably a little safer. I think I would still play Schultz, though. I have a tough time swallowing Dulcich over Schultz just in general with what we know about the two players and how good they are. But with Sutton out and the Broncos getting crushed, I could see the case for Dulcich over Schultz. I think it's close, but personally I have Schultz ranked ahead of Dulcich because Schultz is just overall better week in and week out throughout this season. 2 out of Pierce, Zonovan Knight, Slayton, Donovan Peoples-Jones, or Chark in full PPR. Would also consider Breida if Saquon's out. Yeah, definitely consider Breida if Saquon's out, but again, I think he's going to play. And then I think I would lean towards Dameon Pierce and DJ Chark over all of these guys. I'm a little out on Zonovan Knight this week. I've been wrong about him sort of the last 2 weeks. I liked him as an ad I did add him in a bunch of leagues, but I haven't had the confidence to start him. That's been wrong the last couple of weeks. But guys, Michael Carter's back this week. Michael Carter could very easily take a third of that backfield in a tough matchup against the Bills. Michael Carter also, I think, is a better pass catching back than Zonovan Knight. So the Bills 10-point favorites, they get an early lead in this game, and we could actually see Michael Carter play more than Zonovan Knight if they think he's the better, more reliable pass catching back. So I'm a little out on Zonovan Knight this week. I like DJ Chark. I like Dameon Pierce still, even though Dameon Pierce is in sort of an interesting game script for him. There's no one on the Texans but Dameon Pierce. There's no Nico Collins this week. There's no Brandon Cooks this week either. Derrick Henry, Saquon, Amon-Ra, Higgins, Dalvin Cook, Garrett Wilson, PPR, bench 1. Yeah, so obviously you're benching Saquon if he sits. If he doesn't sit, you got to bench Garrett Wilson here. None of these other guys can be benched. Travis Homer or Mike Williams, half PPR. My opponent is starting Justin Herbert. Ben, the Mike Williams stuff is so difficult. I'm okay going Mike Williams if you want to play some defense against Herbert. I think Travis Homer's floor, though, is much better than Mike Williams. I'm personally playing Homer over Mike Will, but it's definitely close. Again, the player prop of the day is Jerry Jeudy, over 58.5 receiving yards. Guys, we are live on TikTok. We are live on YouTube. If you're watching live on TikTok, come to the YouTube live. You are 2 presses of your finger away because the link to the YouTube live is right in the TikTok bio. And when you come to the YouTube live, you get my top 15 rankings every single position. You get my picks against the spread. You get my DraftKings lineup. You get my favorite player prop of the day. You get everything right on the YouTube live, 100% free. Come to the YouTube live. Link is in the TikTok bio. New subscriber, love the advice. Fighting for last spot in the playoffs. Foreman or Jamal Williams. Shout out for you for subscribing to the YouTube live. Really do appreciate that and the YouTube channel overall. I'm playing Foreman over Jamal Williams this week. DeAndre Swift seeing a bigger workload. Jamal still is the goal line role. Jamal Williams leading the NFL in touchdowns, but I like Foreman more overall this week. Their prop lines are really close. I definitely have them ranked close, but yeah, I have Foreman as a top 15 running back this week. He's my number 13 running back because he has a legit chance to go over 20 touches in this game. I do not see Jamal Williams going over 20 touches. I just don't see it happening. And it's a good spot for Foreman against a bad Seahawks run defense. The Seahawks have been a top 5 matchup for running backs this season. So good spot for him. I like Deontay Foreman a decent amount. The concern with Foreman and why the floor is like a little low for Foreman is negative game scripts are not good for him. So if the Seahawks destroy the Panthers, which is obviously possible, the Panthers are not good. We could see Foreman get sort of phased out in favor of Chuba Hubbard on the pass catching downs. Guillotine League question. Pick 2, T. Higgins, Kirk, Amari Cooper, or Zeke. Also Tua or Mahomes. Thanks, Sam. Yes, I'm playing Tua over Mahomes this week. Feels weird to say. Mahomes has been the number 1 QB in fantasy this season, right up there with Josh Allen. Actually, I actually wonder which guy is averaging more fantasy points per game. I think it's Josh Allen. Yeah, Mahomes is at number 2. Jalen Hurts maybe even is in that debate as well. Yeah, it is Josh Allen. No, it actually is Jalen Hurts. Mahomes, it goes Jalen Hurts, then Josh Allen, then Mahomes in fantasy points per game this season. They're all really close together, though, right around 25 fantasy points per game. But yeah, I'm going Tua over Mahomes. Mahomes gets a tough matchup against the Broncos. They're big favorites. I'm not too worried about Mahomes. I still have him as a top 5 QB option this week. But if they get an early lead and they're playing one of the best secondaries in football, I really think they could lean a little bit more on the run this week. And then Tua gets a great matchup against the Chargers. They're dealing with all sorts of injuries. That game is the highest over-under of the week. I'm really hesitant to bench Tua this week. The only 3 QBs I'm playing over Tua, Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, and Joe Burrow. I think the floor-ceiling combos for those guys is just extremely high, but I really like the floor-ceiling combo for Tua too. Tua's not going under 15 points. He hasn't gone under 15 points in over several months now, and we know the ceiling for Tua is extremely high in this offense. He's leading the league in yards per attempt this season. He's leading the league in adjusted yards per attempt. He's top 5 in air yards per attempt. I mean, he's been really great this season. So yeah, I like Tua a decent amount. And then Kirk, Higgins, Amari Cooper, or Zeke. Yeah, you can't bench Zeke. I like T. Higgins a lot too. I think it's between those 2 guys, but yeah, I have T. Higgins. I have both T. Higgins and Zeke top 10 in their position this week. But I think I would play Zeke over T. Higgins. Zeke and Tony Pollard, really, like both of them, they're going to combine. I don't know exactly how it's going to shape out between the 2 of them, but they're going to combine probably close to 200 yards, 2 touchdowns. Today, we saw it last week against the Colts, but this week even better matchup for them against the Texans. Sam, tough bye weeks in a must-win game. We got DeMarcus Robinson or DJ Chark at flex. So you got to go DJ Chark. Much better game environment for DJ Chark than DeMarcus Robinson. DeMarcus Robinson playing with Tyler Huntley. The Ravens actually, surprisingly, kind of a low-key insight here. They've actually thrown the ball more with Tyler Huntley per game than they have with Lamar Jackson. Whether that be they like Lamar's rushing more or they trust Tyler Huntley's passing more, I'm not quite sure, but I still like DJ Chark more than DeMarcus Robinson overall. Sam, I appreciate all your help throughout this year. Thanks, man. Need you this week, Dameon Pierce or Amari Cooper. Oh God, yeah, this one's tough. Definitely is a pretty tough one. Let me actually pull up the projections here really quickly. We got Amari Cooper. He's projected for 12.5 PPR fantasy points. And again, the tough part about Dameon Pierce this week is with Nico Collins and Brandon Cooks out, like what else are the Texans supposed to do other than give Dameon Pierce the ball? Davis Mills is going to be back in the starting lineup for the Texans this week too. And yeah, we have Dameon Pierce projected for 12.2 PPR points. Yeah, I guess I would go Amari Cooper just by a slight amount. I would go Amari Cooper over Dameon Pierce, but definitely really close with that one. Latavius Murray or James Cook. Yeah, I'm out on Latavius Murray this week. Don't really love him in what should be a negative game script. Hey, Sam, how do you feel about flex PPR, Gabe Davis, DJ Moore, Travis Homer, Walker, if he's in? Yeah, Kenneth Walker's out, so don't plan on him. And I would go Travis Homer over all those guys. I think DJ Moore is not a bad option this week either, though. I would definitely play Zeke over Travis Homer. It's a good spot for Travis Homer, guys. There's no way around it. It's a good spot for Travis Homer. He is playing the Panthers, and he's a 3.5-point favorite. I believe that game, yep, it's at home as well against the Panthers. We've obviously seen some big games, running back games against the Panthers. The one that comes to mind, obviously, is the Joe Mixon, explosion. And what do you have, 6 touchdowns against the Panthers that week? Samster. There's a new nickname for me every week on this live, by the way. Classic mistake, by the way. My name is not Walter. My name is Sam. Walter's the AI algorithm that helps us power the WalterPicks app in the iOS and Android app store. Check that out for free. You can get insights, custom your league settings, custom your roster settings, scoring settings, completely free to download and try out the WalterPicks app. Link is in the YouTube description. Link is in the TikTok bio. Anyways, Juju or Cooper. Yeah, I'm playing Cooper over Juju. I know Coop is questionable right now. So, yeah, I'm still playing Cooper over Juju. I do think Coop is going to play. I think we actually got somewhat of a positive report about Coop yesterday. Let me read that report to you right now. Yeah, he is expected to play, according to Adam Schefter. So we can count on Mark Cooper as in. We are Viking standout left tackle won't play today. Not great for Dalvin Cook or the Vikings offense overall with that one. The Lions being favored at home over the Vikings starting to make a little bit more sense. Definitely still like playing guys in that game, though. Hey, Sam, start 2, Sanders, Swift, or Hopkins. Thanks. You got to bench Sanders here. You got to play Swift. You got to play Hopkins. There's no way around either of these guys this week. You have to play Hopkins. You have to play Swift. Swift he's breaking out. He's breaking out. He's going to win fantasy leagues if he continues to play this much. This is what we've been waiting for so long with DeAndre Swift. We've been saying this on every Sunday morning live. Like Swift, his range of outcomes is so wide because all he needed was a little bit more playing time, a little bit more volume. And all of a sudden, boom, he's in the top 10 running back conversation every single week. And here we are. I have DeAndre Swift inside my top 10 rankings. He played 51% of the snaps last week. He had 20 touches last week, and he gets a good matchup against the Vikings this week. He's a very elite receiver, very efficient running back. He's been one of the most efficient running backs in the league. People love hating on DeAndre Swift this season, but low-key, he's been still incredibly efficient. He's number 3 in the NFL in yards per touch. DeAndre Swift averaging 6.4 yards per touch. There's only been 2 running backs that have been more efficient on a per-touch basis than DeAndre Swift. He's actually averaging the second most fantasy points per touch as well. So there's only 1 running back in the league, and I bet it's Austin Eckler, who's averaging more points per touch than Swift. And part of the reason is he's a really elite pass catcher. He actually has the 7th highest target share in the league still, even though he really has been sort of MIA for half the year. He's still number 7, 7th most targets, basically as a percentage basis for Swift. He had 21 points last week. He was the number 4 running back last week against the Jags. I like him a lot against the Vikings. I like his overs in total yards too. I don't know if it'll be through the air, through the ground, but Swift playing more, you got to feel good about that in your fantasy lineups. Can I see your picks for the day? Yeah, so let me pull up my picks against the spread for the day. I am taking the Vikings plus 2.5 in that game against the Lions. I like the Bengals minus 5.5 against the Browns. I like the Jets plus 10. The Jets Bills already had a close game. I like the Eagles minus 7 against the Giants. I'm taking the Texans with 17 points. That's just so many points. It's so many points in the NFL. Obviously, we know the Cowboys could really, really quickly cover that spread, but still 17 points, just too many for the Texans. So I am taking the Texans plus 17. I would never touch that game, though. And generally speaking, I usually don't almost never bet on spreads. Usually the only time I bet on spreads is on Thanksgiving Day with my brothers, sort of a Thanksgiving Day tradition we have. But other than that, good luck beating the spread long term. It's almost impossible. I've been 53% against the spread this season. And if I were to bet on all those, I'd still be losing money. That's why I stick to the player props for the most part. My free player prop of the day is Jerry Jeudy. Over 58.5 receiving yards, really like this one, guys. We haven't seen Jerry Jeudy go under 50 yards in a healthy game since week 3. It's week 14. It's been 11 weeks. He's missed some of those games with injury, but we haven't seen him go under 50 yards in quite some time. There's no Cortland Sutton in this game. They're playing the Chiefs. They're going to get absolutely smacked by the Chiefs. They're going to have to throw the ball. Jerry Jeudy also seeing some pretty valuable deep targets. He's going to be the top option for Russ today. You never feel great, having money risk behind this Broncos offense this season, but actually, quietly, Cortland Sutton and Jeudy have cashed more often than not this season. And Jeudy had 65 yards last week, and he only played a third of the snaps. Jeudy has been kind of underrated, I think, this season in how bad this offense has been. Jeudy's still having a decent floor this season. He's averaging 51 yards per game, but again, no Sutton this week, and a lot of those averages are pulled down by games where he was hurt in. Hey, Sam, Swift or CeeDee Lamb? Yeah, you can't bench CeeDee Lamb. It's a weird spot for the Cowboys passing attack today. I get it. Against the Texans, they could run a lot, but you're still playing CeeDee Lamb with just tremendous amount of confidence, no matter what. I'll pull my DraftKings lineup here for a second, talk through that. There's a lot of the good quarterbacks this week have kind of tough matchups, so I'm paying down at quarterback, and I'm stacking pretty heavily this Vikings-Lions game. I'm going with Jared Goff stacked with Amon-Ra St. Brown, and I'm running it back with 2 Vikings players, Dalvin Cook and TJ Hawkinson. Hashtag revenge game for TJ Hawkinson. I'm also stacking Goff with DJ Chark, so I'm really banking on just a massive high-scoring game in this game. Pretty rare for me to be stacking this many players in one game, but I kind of liked how this game environment looked versus the other games and the price points they came in at, and it also allows me to get in Jerry Jeudy, George Pickens, Cowboys defense to wrap it up. I think George Pickens, he won't be very highly played this week. I do think his ceiling is pretty interesting. Floor is low, though. This is definitely a tournament lineup. Trevor Lawrence or Kirk Cousins. Yeah, let me pull my QB rankings again to the YouTube Live. Again, we're live on TikTok and YouTube. Come to the YouTube Live for my top 15 rankings every single position. And I got my QB rankings up right now at the bottom of the screen. We're going to see both Trevor Lawrence and Kirk Cousins on this list, but Kirk Cousins is going to come in first at number 7. You got to like Kirk Cousins against the Lions, man. I like Kirk Cousins a lot more than Trevor Lawrence. Lawrence dealing with an injury of his own, though he is supposed to play. And Njoku, Dulcich, or Schultz. I think I got Schultz, then Dulcich, then Njoku in my tight end rankings. Waddle, Amon-Ra, Hopkins, and Marquise Brown must start 3. Yes, you absolutely need to start these first 3 guys. You have to start these first 3 guys. Waddle, Amon-Ra, and Hopkins. Thank you for the gifts, by the way, in the TikTok Live. All right. We're just getting started, guys. We're a little over an hour into the stream now, but we got multiple hours left. Going to get to as many starts as I can. Talk through all my thoughts in the game. Really exciting Week 14 slate. Bunch of bye weeks this week, but still a lot of good games to look forward to. We got a 5-star review from Richard in the YouTube Live. Shout out to you for tossing the WalterPicks app a 5-star review. Let me know you did that, by the way, by including these 5-star emojis in the YouTube or TikTok comments. The WalterPicks app, iOS and Android app store, number 1 way you can support me is just checking it out. You can find that in the TikTok bio. You can find it in the YouTube description. Again, come to the YouTube Live too if you want to see my top 15 rankings, every single position, my picks against the spread, my DraftKings lineup, my favorite player per up of the day. All right, we got Travis Homer or Latavius Murray. I'm going Homer over Murray 1,000% with no Kenneth Walker, with no DJ Dallas. Travis Homer could see a pretty elite workload. I'm not too scared about Tony Jones. Schultz or Njoku. I like Schultz just a little bit more than Njoku. Again, weird day for the Cowboys passing attack because they're 17-point favorites against the worst run defense in the league. That could mean a lot of running for the Cowboys, but still, I think CeeDee Lamb, Dalton Schultz, they still have to be started in most spots. Hey, Sam, Jeudy or Hollywood Brown. And also, if Saquon plays, Pacheco or Hollywood. If Saquon doesn't play, Breida or Hollywood. Yeah, if Saquon plays, you got to go Saquon. If Saquon plays, we got to monitor the news, of course, because it might come out that Saquon's playing, but he's on a snap count. In that case, you don't have to play Saquon. But I don't think that's going to be what happens if he plays. So I'm playing Saquon if he plays. Pacheco or Hollywood, I think I would lean towards Pacheco over Hollywood. And Jeudy versus Hollywood, extremely close. Extremely close. I have them really similar in my mind this week. I think I would go Jeudy, though. I really like Jeudy against the Chiefs. Again, I think the floor and ceiling is just really, really high. Jeff Wilson worth a start today or Robert Woods for the flex? Yeah, so Jeff Wilson not worth a start today, but absolutely you're playing him over Robert Woods. You can't start Robert Woods. There's no starting Robert Woods this week. I know that Traylon Burks is out. Like that should bump Robert Woods up a little bit. But yeah, I'm playing Jeff Wilson over Robert Woods. I want nothing to do with Bobby Woods at this point. I really appreciate you doing this every week and helping us. I got you. Him. He is him in the YouTube Live. Ayuk or Pickens, full PPR. Thanks. Yeah, I'm going Pickens over Ayuk this week. I'm not trusting Purdy to sustain consistency for Ayuk. Sup, Sam? What's up, Noah? Can you pick 2? Singletary, Jay Cook, Gallup, Carter, People-Jones, Dobbins. Yeah, really sort of ugly list. I would say here, and honestly, the safe route, Noah, is to just play these first two guys together against the Jets, and you're just locking down the whole bit. You're locking down the whole Bills backfield. You can't trust Gallup this week against the Texans in what could be a really run-heavy game script. You can't trust Carter at all with Mike Williams coming back. Same reason you can't trust Josh Palmer this week. I don't really trust Donovan Peoples-Jones this week with Deshaun, and I have no faith in Dobbins. So, yeah, I think you got to go these first two, Singletary and James Cook. Hey, Sam, how are you this morning? I'm doing great, man. Last week of the fantasy football regular season. I'm geared up for the playoffs, but I'm always a little sad, when the fantasy season comes to an end. But I'm excited for today, man. A lot of good football games to be looking forward to. And really the primetime games I think are going to be super exciting this week. We got the game of the week is the game tonight. We got the Chargers versus the Dolphins, highest over under the game of the week. You got to start all players in that game. I need 2.5 PPR. Debo, Kirk, ETN. Yeah, I think you probably bench Debo here. You play Christian Kirk, you play Travis Etienne against the Titans, and you're probably going to get 25 plus touches at least amongst the two of those guys. I don't hate Etienne, even though the Titans' run defense has been good. I don't hate him this week at all. Hey, Sam, defense question. Start Eagles or Chiefs defense? Got to be Eagles. I think the Eagles defense against the Giants is I think my number one defense this week. Can you rank these three guys? Garrett Wilson, Godwin, or Pacheco? Yeah, it's got to be Godwin first, and then Garrett Wilson, and then Pacheco. I think Pacheco is probably a little bit higher of a floor than Garrett Wilson, but the ceiling for Garrett Wilson is extremely high. But you can't be benching Godwin. Let me pull my wide receiver rankings here. I do have Godwin at number 12. I have Garrett Wilson at number 16. I put 16 players in my top 15 because I had to get Garrett Wilson in there. This week, I do have Isaiah Pacheco, though, in my top 15 running backs, too. So this one's definitely really close. Garrett Wilson, Pacheco, really close together. Again, I think Pacheco's floor is better. Garrett Wilson's ceiling is higher. So you got to think about, are you going for the ceiling? Or are you a big underdog in your matchup? If you're not a big underdog in your matchup, I think I might play it safe and go Pacheco. Pick 2, Foreman, Homer, James Cook, Rachaad White, Pacheco, full PPR. Yeah, a lot of good options. Honestly, interesting options here in this one. I think you can't start James Cook or Rachaad White when you got Foreman, Homer, and Pacheco to consider here. I like James Cook this week, but Singletary's going to be involved. Josh Allen could easily steal the rushing touchdown still. I do think that lowers the floor a decent amount for James Cook. I think I would probably go with Pacheco first in a full PPR league against the Broncos. Then Foreman versus Homer is super close too. I like Foreman a little bit more, though, than Travis Homer. The Seahawks defense has actually been worse against running backs than the Panthers defense even has. Amari Cooper or Mike Williams? The Mike Williams stuff is so tough. It's so tough for me because we haven't seen Mike Williams play since week 7. We saw him in week 11. He ran 4 routes. He had 1 target, and he hurt his ankle just when he came back. You got to assume he's back at full health, right, if he's playing, but you also never know. This is sort of a huge game for the Chargers to stay in the hunt, a big game against the Dolphins. If we knew Mike Williams was going to play every snap, I think I'd pretty confidently be saying Mike Williams to this one. Amari Cooper's questionable, but he is supposed to play today in a game against the Bengals. The Bengals should really blow the lid off the Browns in this game. I think I would go Amari Cooper. I think I'd go Amari Cooper over Mike Williams. I think there's a little bit more safety there. Hey Sam, how's your day been? It's been fantastic, man. I've been up for maybe 5-6 hours now, up very early this morning, and really just prepping for this live stream. Excited for all the games, getting in all my start decisions for my fantasy lineups, prepping for this stream. A lot of injuries to be aware of really quickly, Camden, before I get to your Jamal Williams, Jeff Wilson question, which, by the way, I'm going to say Jamal Williams over Jeff Wilson because I want nothing to do with Jeff Wilson this week, and I'll get to that in a second. But first of all, Courtland Sutton's out. Huge for Jerry Jeudy, huge for Greg Dulcich. Kenneth Walker, DJ Dallas out. That's big for Travis Homer. He absolutely is startable in leagues this week. Rondale Moore is out. That's pretty big for Greg Dortch, DeAndre Hopkins, Marquise Brown. Damian Harris is out. Huge for Mondre. Mondre is my number 2 running back this week. Only running back I'm playing over Mondre is Austin Eckler. Jacoby Myers is out. Big for Devontae Parker, big for Hunter Henry. Both pretty big sleepers this week on Monday Night Football. Lamar Jackson's out. Tyler Huntley's in. That offense isn't going to change that much, but it is definitely a lot less exciting. The upside is a lot less exciting with Huntley than Lamar. Kadarius Toney's still out. Saquon Barkley's questionable, but I think he's going to play. He's 60-40 in my mind to play versus not play. And yeah, so I'm not playing Jeff Wilson this week. Getting back to that last comment, he only had 1 touch last week. How were we starting someone to touch the ball once last week? Just don't do it to yourself, man. I get it. Jeff Wilson's in a good matchup against the Chargers. Chargers run defense hasn't been good this season. I think that the Dolphins could throw more than people are expecting in this game, though. And you just can't have confidence in a guy that touched the ball once. Jeff Wilson could easily lead his backfield. Wouldn't be shocking. He was doing that just 2 or 3 weeks ago. But last week it wasn't it. So I'm benching Jeff Wilson this week. And I don't have that much faith in Raheem Mostert either. Judy or Connor. Yeah, James Conner is a guy you really can't bench right now. He's playing too much. He's seeing too good of a role. James Conner is one of these unsexy names because of how less explosive he's looked in recent years. And this year, this is continued. He's number 45 in the NFL in yards per touch. He's 52nd in the NFL in yards per carry. He's only averaging 3.9 yards per carry. But the dude's not coming off the field, guys. He's played over 95% of the snaps in 2 of his last 3 games. He's had at least 20 carries in those 2 games. He's seeing targets as well. He has scored at least 1 touchdown in 3 straight. He's been a top 16 running back in 3 straight. He's been a top 5 running back in 2 of those 5. All that matters, guys, is volume. At the end of the day, this is what we're going after in fantasy. We want the guys that can get the ball the most, and that's James Conner. So you kind of have to go James Conner. And I love Judy. I really don't like benching Judy this week. Again, he's the player prop of the day. I like him over 58.5 receiving yards. Jerry Judy has gone over 50 yards in every single game he's played in healthy since week 3. It's been a while since we've seen Judy go under 50 yards. He obviously dealt with some injuries. He hasn't played in every game since week 3. But there's no Cortland Sutton today, and they're going to get smoked by the Chiefs. So you got to like Judy. Over 58.5 yards. The floor is close to 50 yards, and the ceiling's well over 100 yards for Judy. Hey, Sam. How we doing today? I'm doing well, man. Brady or Huntley and Saquon or Swift. God, yeah, I think I would go Brady over Huntley. I see the appeal of Huntley. He's going to run the ball. There's a decent floor there. The Steelers secondary hasn't been very intimidating this season. The 49ers defense is pretty intimidating. I don't have a ton of faith in Huntley, though. I think I would lean Brady, but it's definitely really close. And then Saquon or Swift. Honestly, just go Swift. Just go Swift because we really like Swift this week. He's having a breakout season. Sorry, not a breakout season. He's having a breakout window. Last week was the breakout. I think the breakout could get even more explosive, even bigger this week because, guys, there's still room for Swift to play more. This is the thing with Swift and why we've been saying there's such a wide range of outcomes for Swift over the last few weeks is because he's playing so little, but he's so efficient that the playing time, the volume goes up just a little bit for Swift. And all of a sudden, he's not in the top 10 conversation. He's in the top 5 conversation. This is why people were drafting Swift in the back end of the first round, if you guys remember, all the way back in August. And it made sense. Swift averaged over 100 total yards per game last season in a role where he's playing only 50 to 60% of the snaps. Last week, Swift plays 51% of the snaps, has 20 touches, and finishes a top 10 running back in fantasy. And this week, it's a high-scoring game, likely against the Vikings. I like Swift a lot. I think Swift has a pretty good chance to go over 100 all-purpose total yards in this game. So, yeah, I'm going Swift over Saquon. We still don't know Saquon's playing for sure. There's definitely a small risk that even if Saquon plays, it's not his normal amount as well. Thoughts on Panthers D? Cheap DFS option today. Don't hate that at all. The running attack could struggle a little bit for the Seahawks, but in general, I do like paying down for defenses on DraftKings and FanDuel because they're so random, man. You're just praying that your defense scores a touchdown, especially in the big tournaments. So why not just pay down at the same time and save some salary for other positions? Should I start Evans or Zay Jones, or would there be better waiver wire pickups 8-person league? Yes and no. Like you're not going to find a better waiver wire pickup almost definitely than Mike Evans. Mike Evans, guys, I get that he's not going to be started in a lot of leagues this week. Then at least in comparison to how many leagues he's usually started in. I'm starting him over Zay Jones, though. I'm not that down on Mike Evans in comparison to where the public is at with him. This is the lowest I've ever seen Mike Evans prop line. I've been doing this for basically every single week for 3 years, and I've never seen a Mike Evans prop line this low. 47.5 receiving yards for Mike Evans. I mean, usually he's in the 50s, 60s for sure. I've seen him in the 70s, 80s, even over the last 3 years. And Mike Evans is still going to be out there almost every single snap in a game against the 49ers where the Bucs are not going to be able to run very effectively. The 49ers have very much a pass funnel defense because their run defense is so elite. Part of the reason you definitely cannot start Leonard Fournette this week either. Matt Breida or Deontay Johnson, full PPR. Yeah, so we can't be confidently starting Matt Breida. We don't even know if Saquon's playing yet or not. If Saquon sits, though, I would go Breida over Deontay, but I don't think Saquon's going to sit. I think it's like 60-40 that he plays, so still a good chance he doesn't play. We've got to monitor that news super closely. As we get closer to kickoff, we should get that news, in the next hour and a half, 2 hours or so. But yeah, I would play Deontay over Breida unless Saquon sits. RB ranks. Yeah, I got you with the RB ranks. Let me pull that up on the YouTube live again. We're live on TikTok and YouTube. Guys, shout out to every one of you in this YouTube live, in the TikTok live today. Shout out to all of you. Come to the YouTube live. If you're watching live on TikTok, you're like 2 presses of your finger away from the YouTube live. And in the YouTube live, you get my top 15 rankings every position. You get my favorite picks against the spread. You get my player prop of the day. You get my DraftKings line. Everything you could really need in the YouTube live. Like I'm seeing a question in the TikTok live. Someone's asking, do I play Ramondre Stevenson? Do I play James Conner? And I got my running back rankings up on the YouTube live right now. Again, that link to that is in the TikTok bio. And you'll see I have Ramondre as my number 2 running back. Ramondre Stevenson has to be started in 100% of situations this week. The only situation where you're not starting Ramondre Stevenson is if you're in a one running back league and you have Austin Eckler. That's it. Otherwise, you're starting Mondre in every other league. And I think that's, 99% of leagues are starting more than one running back. So you got to start Mondre. There's no Damien Harris this week. Mondre played 98% of the snaps last week. The dude's seeing elite target volume, top 4 target volume in the NFL at the running back position. He is winning leagues. He's a really high floor. He's going to go over 70 yards. But Ramondre has at least 78 total yards in 8 of his last 9 games. It might even be 9 of his last 10 games. I mean, the floor is so high. The ceiling's so high for that workload in his receiving volume. You got to be starting Mondre this week 1,000%. Again, come to the YouTube Live. Link is right in the TikTok bio to see my top 15 rankings every position. Latavius Murray, Jerry Jeudy, Brady. Do you want the guy on an offense that's going to get crushed that also lacks talent? Or do you want the guy that's on the same offense that's going to get crushed who has tremendous talent? And we got running back versus receiver here, both on, with the worst offense in the league right now, 1.3 touchdowns per game for the Broncos. I'm definitely going Jeudy over Murray pretty confidently in this one. It's going to be a game script. I think that you want the passing rather than the running for the Broncos. Hey, Sam, what running backs do you prefer for playoffs? Henry, JT, or Saquon? PPR. Yeah, so Greg, I've been saying all season, it's going to be Henry. It's going to be Henry that you want. And I still feel pretty strongly about that. There's been a lot of Derrick Henry discourse on TikTok this week. I saw that after I made the video about why I think Henry's going to win leagues. But yeah, if you've been looking ahead at the schedule, like you got to be with me on this one with Derrick Henry. He plays the Texans and the Chargers in the first 2 games of the fantasy playoffs. It feels like it's every year, but Derrick Henry, I'm not betting against him at all. And I think he's the guy I really, really, really want down the stretch in the fantasy playoffs. Who should I start? Josh Allen or Geno Smith? Come on, man. We're starting Josh Allen over Geno Smith. Josh Allen's still my number 1 QB this week. Jeudy or Waddle? Yeah, so I like Jeudy. I'm taking Jeudy over 58.5 receiving yards, but I like Waddle more. And I actually like Waddle's prop line too. And his prop line's well above Jeudy's. He's at 67.5 receiving yards. So just the difference, the prop line should tell you, yeah, you got to go Jalen Waddle. But you want pieces of this Dolphins game. You want pieces of this Chargers game. This is the Sunday night football game tonight. I think it's the best game of the week. It's the highest over-under game of the week. I really like Tua this week. He's my number 4 quarterback. This week, I'm only playing Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, and Joe Burrow over him. I'm playing Tua over Mahomes even. So yeah, I like that a lot. Tight end rankings. Yeah, let me pull up the tight end rankings here. Tight end continues to be an absolute desolate wasteland. By the way, we finally got the Taysom Hill spike we've been waiting for the past month. That came to fruition last week. He's on bye this week though, so even more bleak is the tight end landscape this week. Really, after the top 5, I lose all confidence in any of these guys. I think the floor for everyone outside the top 5 in my tight end rankings is close to 0 points. I like Schultz generally, but the whole passing attack for the Cowboys is a little bit sketchy today, guys. It's a little sketchy. They're 17-point favorites against the worst run defense in the league. So you're feeling good about Zeke. You're feeling good about Tony Pollard. But if they come to fruition in this game script and they're up 2 touchdowns in the first quarter, why drop Dak Prescott back when you know you can average over 5 yards a carry with Zeke and Pollard? But I still think I would play Schultz over most guys because it's still Dalton Schultz. He's still better than Greg Dulcich. He's still better than David Njoku and Gerald Everett and Hunter Henry in my mind. Hunter Henry is my favorite sleeper tight end, by the way. He's still available in most leagues. I think at least 80% of leagues, you could go find Hunter Henry on the waiver wire right now. And there's no Jacoby Myers on Monday Night Football. That's pretty big news for Hunter Henry. And he gets the Cardinals, guys. Cardinals have been by far the worst defense against tight ends this season. They've stopped, nobody. Zero people at the tight end position have been stopped by the Arizona Cardinals this season. So we should see Hunter Henry, who played close to 80% of the snaps in his last few games, have a pretty good floor ceiling combo on Monday Night Football. Of course, the floor is low, though, for pretty much all tight ends. Hey, Sam, you rock. Homer or Zay Jones in the flex? Thanks. Yeah, so I'm for sure going Homer over Zay Jones in the flex. Zay Jones versus Pickens. I kind of like Pickens more than Zay Jones this week, too. It's definitely close. I know Zay Jones, he had, he's had actually a pretty consistent season, Zay Jones. And it's not a horrible matchup for Zay Jones this week. The Jacksonville Jaguars, they're up against the Tennessee Titans. That secondary has not been good at all this season. They rank 2nd worst against receivers this season. Pickens gets a decent matchup against the Ravens. Let me actually pull up the projections here, though. Now, looking at the Titans secondary, I don't have Christian Kirk in my top 15 receivers, but he's right outside. He's definitely a top 20 receiver, and you got to feel good about Zay Jones for that same reason. And yeah, man, Zay Jones, George Pickens right next to each other in the WalterPicks projections, right next to each other in my rankings as well. I like George Pickens just a little bit more than Zay Jones. I think George Pickens is a better talent, and I'm sort of buying into the narrative too that I don't know if you guys have been how closely you've been following the George Pickens shenanigans, but he was pretty much just openly complaining about his targets after last game. I kind of feel like that's going to lead to more targets this week. I'm a little bit buying into that narrative as well. Hey, Sam, for flex, would Swift or Pollard be better? Yeah, I mean, both guys you got to love a lot this week. And I'll pull up my running back rankings here one more time on the YouTube live. Again, come to the YouTube live. If you're watching live on TikTok, you'll get my top 15 rankings, every single position. You'll get my favorite player prop pick of the day. You get my DraftKings lineup, my picks against the spread, everything for free on the YouTube live. Just a little bit better of a viewer experience. Like nothing wrong. TikTok live people, you're not going to come to the YouTube live. Nothing wrong with that, man. Shout out to the TikTok live too. But I'm just trying to look out for you guys. It's just a better viewing experience on the YouTube live. So come to the YouTube live. Link is right in the TikTok bio if you want to see some of my top 15 rankings. Anyways, Swift versus Pollard. Pollard is my number 5 running back. Swift is my number 8 running back. I love both of them this week, but yeah, you just can't bench Pollard. You can't bench Pollard in this matchup. Pollard's been way too good this season. We know this game script's going to be good. They're 17-point favorites. We just saw it last week, man. Pollard, he didn't even play half the snaps. He only played 40% of the snaps. That game was over in the fourth quarter. I don't think he played in the fourth quarter at all. Pollard has been a top 2 running back in fantasy in 2 of his last 3 weeks, even with Zeke back. He's gotten over 100 yards now in 5 of his last 6 games. Guys, Tony Pollard, breakout season for Pollard. He has been better than Zeke in fantasy this season. The dude is averaging the 10th most fantasy points per game at the running back position, 16.3, and he gets the Texans today. Start Tony Pollard over Swift, I think. But I like both of them a lot for sure. They're both top 10 options in my mind. You think Cowboys defense can win matchups this week? Yeah, they definitely can, Alex. I mean, we saw it last week. It was the Browns defense, right? It was the Browns defense against the Texans that won matchups. Correct me if I'm wrong there, but I'm pretty sure they scored three touchdowns. I had them in a couple leagues, and I actually had every league last week that I had Lamar Jackson in. I had the Browns defense, and somehow the Browns defense scored more than like most quarterbacks. That's why I can't stand defenses in fantasy sometimes. But anyways, hey Sam, hope the stream's been great. It's been great, Austin. Thanks for hopping in. The stream's been fantastic. I look forward to these Sunday morning streams every single week, and this one, it's a huge one, man. It's the last week of the fantasy regular season, almost every single league. You got to finish on a high note. We got to get into the playoffs. We got to secure the bye weeks, and we got to get ready for just an overall exciting day of football. 2 questions if you can pick 2. Full PPR, Chubb, ETN, and Walker. And also, should I play Godwin over one of them in my flex? Chubb, ETN, and yeah, so Kenneth Walker's not playing, so you can't trust him. I have ETN ranked ahead of Chubb. Feels weird to say that with how sort of they both have played this season. But yeah, I like ETN, I think, more than most people this week because the Titans defense dealing with a bunch of injuries and the over-unders. Let's pull up the over-unders. Let's look at the over-unders to answer this one. Chubb, his over-under 76.5 rushing yards, a combined 87.5 total yards is the over-under for Chubb. ETN's is absolutely below that. I think Travis Etienne, 75.5. So that the prop lines do bode well for Chubb. Yeah, I think you go Chubb. I'm actually going to change this really quickly in my running backs here, rankings here. If this is a PPR, it is full PPR, though. I'm not changing this. Full PPR, I do think Etienne, he catches more passes than Chubb. That's a good enough tiebreaker for me. Very close, though. Obviously, you don't like benching Nick Chubb. All right, Godwin over one of them, my flex. Oh, yeah, Walker's out, so you're playing both of them. And yeah, you're playing Godwin over Chubb, I think. I think I would go Etienne and Godwin in a full PPR league. I don't want to be benching Godwin either, but definitely close. And Chubb's floor is high for sure. DJ Chark or Mostert. I'm going Chark over Mostert. I don't really trust Mostert or Jeff Wilson. One of them is probably going to prove me wrong, but it's just a murky situation in that backfield in the game. I think it's going to be extremely pass heavy. I like Chark against the Vikings secondary a decent amount. Tom Brady or Danny Dimes. You got to go Danny Dimes, I think, over Tom Brady this week. ETN or Rashad White. You got to go ETN. Judy or Thielen. I'm going Judy over Thielen. Why bunch Jeff Wilson? Because Jeff Wilson touched the ball once last week. Once. Guys, Jeff Wilson touched the ball one more time than you did last week. So you can't trust him. You can't trust him. Even in, what should be a good matchup. Even though there's definitely a chance Jeff Wilson leads the backfield. There's also, a chance he gets close to 1 touch again. And that's not something we can have in our starting lineups. Thank you, Austin. Appreciate the positivity, man. Appreciate all of you guys in the live right now. Again, we're live on TikTok and YouTube. Come to the YouTube live for my top 15 rankings, every single position. Again, like nothing wrong with the TikTok live. You're going to answer comments there too, but it's a better viewer experience on the YouTube live where you get my top 15 rankings, every position right on the screen. And again, it's right on your phone. You're like 2 presses of your finger away from the YouTube live if you're watching live on TikTok. All right. Hey, Sam, Sanders or Travis Etienne? Yeah, I like Travis Etienne more than Miles Sanders this week. Sanders, I think, only had 11 carries last week. He did find the end zone, but I think Etienne catches significantly more passes and just has generally a higher upside with his role in this offense. Hey, Sam, thanks for all you do. Fournette, Smith-Schuster, or Homer in the flex. Thanks. Yeah, I'm going Homer over Fournette, over Smith-Schuster. Bad spots for both Fournette and Juju. Juju gets the Broncos, the number 1 or number 2 secondary against receivers in fantasy this season. Fournette gets the 49ers. Dead last, worst possible matchup for Fournette is this week against the 49ers. As good as the Bucs run defense has been over the past few years and this season as well, 49ers run defense has been even better. They've been the dead last, worst possible matchup for running backs this season. They've allowed the fewest fantasy points per game to running backs. Last week, Raheem Mostert had 3 points. Jeff Wilson had less than 1 point against them. Alvin Kamara, only 7 points against them. James Conner played every single snap. He only had 13 points. Eckler, only 13 points against the 49ers. The last big game we've seen against the 49ers actually came against Christian McCaffrey. I think when he was still on the Panthers. He had 23 points back in week 5. That's the only running back we've seen go over 20 points. You really got to downgrade Fournette big time this week, and I don't love Rachaad White either. But you cannot start Fournette. And the fact that they're both playing too is bad news for both of them for fantasy. I'm for sure going Homer here. There's no Kenneth Walker. There's no DJ Dallas either. And I think Tony Jones is just straight up bad. So I think Travis Homer is going to lead the Seahawks backfield in targets. I won't be shocked if he leads them in carries as well. I like him significantly more than Tony Jones. Huntley, Russ, or Mac Jones. Yeah, LeVron Jahami in the YouTube live. I'll pull up my wide receiver rankings, seeing someone asked for that in the YouTube live. Again, come to the YouTube live for my top 15 rankings every position. I'm going Mac Jones over Tyler Huntley and over Russ. I actually am doing this in a few leagues myself this week. I am actively starting Mac Jones over Tyler Huntley. I don't hate the spot for Mac Jones. I don't love that Jacoby Myers is out for Mac Jones, mac and cheese, Mac Jones on Monday night, but I have a feeling this could be a high scoring, pretty pass heavy game on Monday night against the Cardinals. Their secondary has not been great this season. Their run defense has been okay this season, and I think the Cardinals offense could put up some points. I don't hate Huntley. I think his floor is okay with the rushing, but I don't feel like the ceiling is really there for Huntley. Hey, Sam, just subbed. Would you go Muth or Kittle? Nick, thanks for subscribing to the YouTube live. Really do appreciate that. And yeah, I have Muth ahead of Kittle this week, and I think this actually might be the first week where that's the case. And it's really because of Purdy, right? Kittle, I think his ceiling is higher than Muth's. I think Kittle has a top 3 ceiling. I only like Kelsey, Mark Andrews, Hawkinson ceiling more than George Kittle, but the floor is still definitely higher for Muth. Without Chase Claypool there, Pat Freiermuth has been one of the few consistent tight ends this season. I think you got to like him a lot in this game against the Ravens. Yeah, you got to go with Muth. Muth is number 8 in fantasy points per game at the tight end position this season. He hasn't had under 6 points since week 5. Again, 6 points might not sound like a lot, but we've seen almost every tight end have a game under 6 points this season. Muth has been incredibly consistent. He's gotten over 75 yards in 2 of his last 3 games. And it's not a bad matchup for him against the Ravens. So yeah, I think I go Muth over Kittle. But it is tough to bench Kittle with his upside at the tight end position. So stay away from San Francisco players because of Purdy. I'm not staying away entirely from Deebo Samuel. I think people are too down bad on Deebo. And then I'm obviously not benching CMC. Kittle's has to be started for most people because they're tight end spots. But Ayuk, I'm a little bit nervous about. Deebo had 10 targets still, though, with Purdy. I'm certainly benching, though, Fournette and White against the 49ers run defense. Ryan Hammer, former Jets.WalterPicks creator in the YouTube live. Always good to see you hop in the live, man. Hope all is well. Can I start both Swift and Jamal? Other option is Pierce, but can't play him, I think. Yeah, so you definitely got to start Swift. And yeah, I think you can start Jamal. Jamal versus Pierce is close. I honestly think Pierce projects better than Jamal. And the weird thing about this Lions backfield, it's been like this pretty much all season, is like you have to ask the question, what if Swift plays a little bit more than last week? Because if he does, all of a sudden he's a top 5 option and Jamal is, much, much, much riskier. The thing with Dameon Pierce, Ryan, that I really think you got to consider this week is like, what are the Texans supposed to do? They have no Brandon Cooks. They have no Nico Collins. Rex Burkhead didn't play last week. Not that Rex Burkhead playing even, boosts things very much, but they're also 17-point underdogs. It's like, there's so many sort of headwinds and tailwinds for Dameon Pierce this week, but I think he's going to be near 20 touches. So it's like, it's kind of hard for me to bench a guy like that, but the floor is definitely low. And you look at the prop lines too, like the prop line for Dameon Pierce is high, 65.5 rushing yards for Dameon Pierce this week, 83.5 total yards. I mean, that's like close to where Nick Chubb's prop lines are at. Meanwhile, Jamal, he's at 50.5 rushing yards, and he's probably not going to catch many passes. So honestly, personally, I think I'd go Swift and Pierce. But Ryan, if you're in a matchup where you feel confident about your chances, the safe thing to do is just play both Swift and Jamal, lock in that backfield in what should be a high-scoring game. A Gallup, James Cook, or Homer for flex. Yeah, you can't start Gallup for the Cowboys this week. The passing attack just in general is riskier. They're 17-point favorites. The rushing attack should be, very, 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 very heavily used in this game, similar to what it was like against the Colts last week. James Cook, I like. I like Travis Homer a decent amount this week too, with Kenneth Walker and DJ Dallas out. I think Travis Homer has to be played over James Cook, though, with Devin Singletary sharing that backfield with James Cook. And, of course, Josh Allen, always a threat to steal the rushing touchdowns, too. I think I do like Travis Homer tiny bit more. And Njoku or Dulcich. Yeah, I think I moved Dulcich. I think I moved him one spot ahead of Njoku in my tight end rankings. Let me actually see here. Yeah, I did. I would go Dulcich over Njoku. Super close. But with Sutton out, it's enough for me to move Dulcich one spot ahead of Njoku. I have him as my number 7 tight end. Again, if you're watching live on TikTok, come to the YouTube live, and you'll see my top 15 rankings every single position. A link is right in the TikTok bio. Okay, we got still no update on the Saquon Barkley situation. That's really the only injury news we're waiting on, is the Saquon Barkley injury news. All we have is one video of him walking into the stadium smiling, and I'm not reading into his facial expressions walking into the stadium as whether or not he's going to play or not. All the reports have been that Saquon is 50-50 to play or not play. I think it's more like 60-40. I think 60% chance he plays, 40% chance he doesn't play. But either way, he has a pretty good chance not to play this week with, it sounds like, several injuries. I think, though, if he plays, he's playing. He's going to play his normal, amount of snaps. But that's something to monitor, too. It's possible that a report comes out that Saquon's going to play, but on some sort of pitch count or snap count. That would be pretty concerning for Saquon as well. But, yeah, that's the only news we're really waiting on. Sutton is out. Kenneth Walker's out. DJ Dallas is out. Rondale Moore is out. Damian Harris is out. Jacoby Myers is out. Lamar Jackson, Kadarius Toney are all out this week. Some definitely big injuries to be aware of. All right. Homer, Mostert, Jeff Wilson, pick one, full PPR. Yeah, again, I think I would go Homer. I'm not too excited about Mostert and Jeff Wilson this week. I'm definitely less excited about Jeff Wilson than Mostert. I'd play Mostert over Jeff Wilson because Jeff Wilson touched the ball once last week. But it's it's a good matchup for them against the Chargers run defense. I could see at least one of them doing well, but I think there's some extreme risk with both those guys. I like Travis Homer more. I got my picks up on the YouTube Live, my picks against the spread. Again, come to the YouTube Live. Link is right in the TikTok bio. Also, guys, if I can't get to your start sit question, I'm going to get to as many starts as I can. But if I can't get there, the best place to go is the WalterPicks app. Free to download, free to do start sit comparisons. And you can find that on the iOS and Android App Store. Link is in the YouTube and TikTok descriptions. I love over-under for Swift at 34.5 rushing. Yeah, I saw that one too. I like that one too. But I actually, I'm playing it safe with Swift. I actually am taking a Swift prop today, but I'm just doing the total yards. Because I think there's a decent chance this game's really high scoring, pretty pass heavy. And if that happens, maybe Swift gets his yards through the air. He's, a really good receiver. So I'm just taking the over total yards. But yeah, 34.5 rushing yards is absolutely too low for Swift, who played 51% of the snaps last week and is number 3 in the NFL in yards per touch. Extremely efficient. Pulled it up, then left it. Jordan, you hate to see it, man. I got you. Let me scroll back up to your question, or just put it in the comments again. It's hard for me to see. Here we go. Currently starting Knight and White. Should I drop Knight for Homer? Yeah, so I like Homer more than Knight. Zonovan Knight's been good, man, and this could be my 3rd straight week taking an L by saying bench Zonovan Knight. I eat my L's. I'm very transparent with when I'm wrong on these lives, and just in my content in general. It happens all the time, obviously. But Zonovan Knight, with Michael Carter back, I'm just not that interested against the Bills. I like Travis Homer more against the Panthers than Zonovan Knight against the Bills. And I think, Zonovan Knight's floor is just so low with Michael Carter back. I think Michael Carter's a better receiver than Zonovan Knight. They're 10-point underdogs against a good Bills defense. I'm okay dropping him for Travis Homer. I do not like McKinnon or Dobbins as much as Travis Homer. Don't drop Olave. Yeah. No, I would drop Zonovan Knight. I would add Travis Homer if that's the spot you're in. Watson or Huntley. I do like Deshaun Watson a little bit more than Huntley. Pollard or Stevenson. Yeah, so let me pull up the running back rankings again. You got to start both of them is the short answer. But the even shorter answer is, you got to start Stevenson over Tony Pollard. And it's a great spot for Tony Pollard, right? He's playing the Texans. Tony Pollard's been over 100 yards in most of his games over the last month and a half. He's coming off a huge game against the Colts. And this is an even better matchup than the Colts was last week. But Stevenson, he's playing 98% of the snaps for the Patriots. I mean, he basically didn't come off the field last week. And there's no Damian Harris again. And Stevenson's receiving role is really elite. It is more elite than Tony Pollard's receiving role. You got to start Stevenson against the Cardinals. There's no way around it. The floor is so high. He's been over 76 yards in 9 of his last 10 games, total yards. The floor is just, minimum 7 points you're getting. I guess the floor is high for Pollard too. Again, they're both top 5 options and according to my rankings. So start both of them. But if I have to choose, I'm playing Mondre over Tony Pollard. Hello, good sir. Rocco, how we doing in the YouTube live? We're live on TikTok and YouTube, by the way. Come to the YouTube live for my top 15 rankings. Every single position, I promise, is going to answer most of the comments I'm seeing in the TikTok live. I sneak into the playoff spot with a win. That's what I'm talking about, Rocco. It's all about sneaking into that last playoff spot. All right, I need one wide receiver, one flex. Ayuk, Mike Evans, Jeff Wilson, DJ Moore, Travis Homer. Also, Chiefs or 49ers defense. Chiefs, 49ers defense, both good. 49ers defense, they get the Bucks. Honestly, I think I kind of like the 49ers defense more than the Chiefs defense. And then Ayuk, Mike Evans, Jeff Wilson, DJ Moore. Yes, you're not playing Jeff Wilson. I think I would go Mike Evans. Oh, one wide receiver, one flex. Let me actually pull this up. Mike Evans versus DJ Moore, I think, is close. DJ Moore's 50. Yeah, I think I would go DJ Moore over Mike Evans. And Travis Homer, I think I would go Travis Homer over Mike Evans too. But that one's close, man. That one's definitely close. But if you're going to play the 49ers defense, don't really love playing Mike Evans against your own defense. Yeah, I think I would go Travis Homer, DJ Moore here. White or Breida, happy PR, assuming Saquon is out, 5 stars. Yeah, thanks for the 5-star view in the WalterPicks app in the iOS and Android app store. Helps me out a ton. Takes you 2 seconds. One of the best ways you could support me. If Saquon's out, then I would go Breida over White, but I don't think Saquon's going to be out. Again, I think it's like 60-40 though, so good chance. We gotta monitor obviously that really closely as we get closer to the game. Brian Dable just told ESPN Sal Palatino that Saquon Barkley will play today. We got a retweet from Adam Schefter. Saquon is in. Saquon Barkley is active today. We're going to obviously still monitor this news really closely to see if there's any type of reports about a potential snap count, pitch count for Saquon Barkley. But we are getting confirmation from Brian Dable, from Adam Schefter, that Saquon Barkley will play today. So yeah, get Matt Breida out of your minds as a potential backup option at running back. He's not going to be startable in fantasy this week. Hey, Sam, been subscribed for over a year now. Rich, shout out to you, man. Homer versus Rachaad White. Yeah, I'm going Homer over Rachaad White. We ran through it a little bit earlier in the stream. But, guys, you cannot start Leonard Fournette this week, like 1,000%. Can't start him. And you really can't trust Rachaad White much either. We haven't seen a single running back not named Christian McCaffrey score more than 20 points against the 49ers. And yeah, you did hear that right. McCaffrey's the only running back to score more than 20 points against his own team now, because he played them when he was on the Panthers. But yeah, they do not allow big games to running backs. There's been none. Most running backs have gone under 15 points against the 49ers. They've allowed the fewest running back points this season in fantasy football. So be careful with Rachaad White. Be careful with Leonard Fournette. Travis Homer, I think, has a pretty interesting floor ceiling combo this week with both DJ Dallas and Kenneth Walker out, and he gets a decent matchup against the Panthers. I do like Travis Homer a little bit more than Rachaad White. Foreman or Homer? Yeah, so I like Deontay Foreman more than Travis Homer. They're playing against each other this week, but the Seahawks run defense has been worse than the Panthers run defense even this season. And we've seen Deontay Foreman go over 20 carries in 3 of his last 5 games. Like, we know there's a real ceiling there. If the game stays close, Deontay Foreman's going to be very involved. If the game gets out of hand, though, the floor is lower, I think, for Foreman than Travis Homer, because I think Travis Homer is the best receiving back the Seahawks have. Today, he's significantly better receiving than Tony Jones, who I do not trust Tony Jones at all for the Seahawks. All right, hey, Sam. Need one. Sunday Night, James Cook or Jeff Wilson PPR. Need the safest. Yeah, to me, the safest is James Cook, then Sunday Night, then Jeff Wilson. You can't put Jeff Wilson in safe in the same sentence when he had 1 touch last week. 1 touch. He had 1 more touch than you last week. That's Jeff Wilson. He only touched about 1 more. He had like 3 more yards than you had last week. He had like 1 carry for 3 yards, I think. Jeff Wilson. So yeah, you just don't trust Jeff Wilson. Someone's asking for the running back rankings. Pull those up. I'll go QBs, tight ends next on the YouTube live. Again, if you're watching live on TikTok, come to the YouTube live. Link is right in the TikTok bio. You'll see my top 15 rankings, every single position on the YouTube live. Jamal Williams or Thielen. I think I'd go Thielen over Jamal this week. Dobbins or Judy. I'd go Judy over Dobbins 1,000%. I like Judy a lot this week. Judy's actually my free player prop of the day. Over 58.5 receiving yards for Judy. Judy's been over 50 yards in every single healthy game he's played since week 3. That's a pretty good floor for a prop line set at 58.5 against the Chiefs, who should definitely smack the Broncos today. The Broncos are going to have to throw. They're going to be in comeback mode. And you just got to hope this game's not over before the 4th quarter. And Judy's almost definitely going to hit this prop. Judy hit this prop last week, and he only played a third of the snaps and only had 4 targets. He's the type of player that can hit a line like this with just a few catches. And I think he's going to get well more than a few catches in this game against the Chiefs. In a must-win matchup, Pierce or Homer. Oh, man, yeah. Again, the Dameon Pierce stuff is really interesting because just looking at his prop lines, man, like the prop line, the total yards for Dameon Pierce today, 83.5 rushing and receiving combined. And it makes sense because, like, look at the Texans team. What are they supposed to do? There's no Nico Collins. There's no Brandon Cooks. Rex Burkhead is a decent chance to sit again this week, too. Dameon Pierce is just the only talented player in the entire offense. But they're also 17-point underdogs. Travis Homer, a favorite at home against the Panthers. Like, I can see where this question's coming from. Personally, though, I'm going Dameon Pierce over Travis Homer. Ramondre Stevenson or Amon-Ra. I mean, come on, man. You got to start both these guys. They're both top 3 in their position. So, yeah, they're both top 3. They're both so I got Mondre as my number 2 running back. I got Amon-Ra as my number 3 receiver. So unless you have Austin Eckler, Tyreek Hill, and Justin Jefferson on your team, which you don't, then you got to start both of them. And if you make me choose one, honestly, I think I'd go Amon-Ra over Ramondre Stevenson. Even Amon-Ra's just locked and loaded. Such a high floor, such a high ceiling. The Vikings secondary has been complete trash this season. You got to love the floor ceiling for Amon-Ra this week. Pollard or Mixon? This is the first Mixon question. We've been live for almost 2 hours. The first question I've seen about Joe Mixon, which is interesting. I actually thought I would get more Joe Mixon questions today with him returning. But yeah, I'm going Pollard over Mixon. Mixon can definitely be started in a lot of spots. You definitely can't start Samaje Perine. As many good things as the Bengals say about Samaje Perine, guys. With Mixon out, Samaje Perine is not a fantasy football starter. He should be on the waiver wire. He's not even really worth a bench spot at this point. Deontay Foreman or Latavius Murray, seeing that one in the TikTok live. I would definitely play Deontay Foreman over Latavius Murray. Let me pull my picks against the spread up one more time on the YouTube live. Then I'll show the DraftKings lineup next. Again, link to the YouTube live right in the TikTok bio. Judy or Amari Cooper? I'd go Judy over Amari Cooper this week. I like Judy's over on the prop line, 58.5 receiving yards. No Sutton this week really gives him a high floor, high ceiling. I like Judy more than Mike Evans as well. I like Dameon Pierce more than Rachaad White. I like Saquon more than Rachaad White. We know that Saquon is playing today. He was really the last one we were waiting on. Amari Cooper is officially active as well. We thought that he was going to be playing. Though there could be a pitch count in place, though, supposedly in place for Amari Cooper. So lower him a tiny bit for sure. Kirk or D-Hop standard? Worry about Belichick takes away best weapon away. Yeah, you got to go D-Hop still over Kirk. And Kirk's in a good spot this week. But as much as that's a narrative that I understand for the Patriots, and they are good usually at taking away people's best option, they haven't been very good about taking away the best receiving option this season. Back in week 1, Waddle and Tyreek went off. We had Amari Cooper had a pretty good day against them. He had almost 15 fantasy points. Garrett Wilson had over 17 points against them, 100 yards. Justin Jefferson absolutely torched them for 139 yards. Steph Diggs torched them for 92 yards. Like, they really haven't stopped the top option very often. Really, the only top option they've stopped effectively this season for the Patriots was Michael Pittman. And they were playing against Sam Ehlinger in that game, and the Colts didn't move the ball a single time. So, yeah, I think you still got to start DeAndre Hopkins with a lot of confidence. Saquon is not out. Nope, Saquon's not out. So I had a questionable tag next to him in that list because I knew there was a 50-50 chance he would play, but thought that injury was worth calling out. I've been live for 2 hours now, so the background's not going to change on the TikTok live. But yeah, Saquon is in. Start Saquon. I'm concerned about the weather Garrett Wilson playing in. Let me pull up the weather report again here. Weatherman Sam, part-time is weatherman on these lives because, yeah, you got to be aware of the weather. And I'm not that concerned about the Jets-Bills weather. There's some possible light snow in that game, but there's not going to be more than 2 inches of snow, no snow. That's no snow in the grand scheme of Buffalo. And there's no wind. There's not even wind over 10 miles an hour in that game. And it's not even that cold. It's not even below 30 degrees. So, yeah, I'm not concerned about Garrett Wilson and that affecting the passing attack in that game. I'd be more concerned if it was harder snow. Sam, good morning. Pick 2, Pacheco, James Conner, D-Hop, ETN. Yeah, these are all pretty decent options this week. I do think I have James Conner ahead of Pacheco. I think him and ETN must be really close. Yeah, I have Conner ahead of ETN as well. I'm okay going Conner and D-Hop here. It's not a great matchup for either of them necessarily against the Pats, but James Conner playing 98% of the snaps, you just kind of have to play him. You kind of have to play him. Even though he doesn't look super efficient out there, he's been a top 5 running back in 2 of his last 3 games because he's not coming off the field. Sam, I'm sorry, I have one more. No need to apologize, Luke. Thanks for sticking around. The live. We're live on YouTube and TikTok, by the way. Come to the YouTube live for my top 15 rankings, every single position. Chiefs defense, or since Saquon's questionable, Eagles defense. Saquon's playing, go Chiefs defense. But actually, no, I'm lying. Go Eagles defense over Chiefs defense, even though Saquon's playing. You got to like the Eagles defense a lot against this Giants offense. Sam, you clicked on my question but didn't answer it. Why start Tua even if I have Geno? Let me pull up my QB rankings again. You absolutely need to go Tua over Geno Smith. This game between the Dolphins and the Chargers has the highest over-under of the entire week. It's projected to be the highest scoring game. The Chargers are dealing with all sorts of injuries too on their defense. Derwin James even might not play this week. That's their really elite safety that the Chargers have. Let me pull up the depth chart here really quickly for the Chargers on the defensive side of the ball. They're dealing with so many injuries. Joey Bosa obviously still out. They're missing all sorts of defensive linemen. Derwin James is very much questionable to play. He's doubtful actually to play tonight. So Derwin James is out. That's a really, really key piece of this secondary for the Chargers. You got to start Tua. He's leading the league in yards per attempt. He's been extremely efficient. I think this is going to be a really high scoring game. Would not be surprised if Tua is the number one QB this week. Let me pull up the wide receiver rankings. Guys, we're live on YouTube and TikTok right now. Come over to the YouTube live to see my top 10, top 15 rankings, every single position. Actually, I got my top 16 wide receiver rankings because I had to put Garrett Wilson on here. I couldn't get him in the top 15. He's at number 16. Another guy I really wanted to get in, but I didn't, is Christian Kirk. Definitely would be starting Christian Kirk this week. Sam, fantasy. Kirk, Pacheco, Foreman, also Foreman, Pacheco, or Homer. Yeah, I think Pacheco's the safest here, but I think I would start Christian Kirk over Pacheco. It's super close. If this is a PPR league, I'm going Kirk over Pacheco. If it's not a PPR league, if it's half PPR or non-PPR, I'd go Pacheco over Kirk. Again, a friendly reminder to please include your scoring settings in your start sit questions. It does help me out a lot. It's also why if I don't get your start sit, go to the WalterPicks app in the iOS and Android app store. That's going to take into account your scoring settings. But yeah, I would go Pacheco over Foreman. And I would go Pacheco over Homer as well. I don't know. Foreman versus Pacheco is close. I think Pacheco is safer than Foreman, but I actually have Foreman ranked ahead of Pacheco. So yeah, I go Foreman, then Pacheco, then Homer. I actually have Foreman and Pacheco in my top 15. But I have Christian Kirk. I still like Christian Kirk more than both of them in a PPR format. All decent options though this week. And yeah, Pacheco is the guy off the waiver wire this week that's going to be usable. Hey Sam, just subbed and downloaded the app. Josh, thanks so much, man. Thoughts on Kamara's playoff schedule? PPR. Yeah, let me pull up the playoff schedule here for Alvin Kamara. And you know, obviously Kamara, a lot of Alvin Kamara teams, they're not going to be in the fantasy playoffs. That's how bad he's been sort of over the last month. He doesn't have a game over 15 points since week 8. And in week 8, he had 42 points, really skewing his average this season. But yeah, he's got a fantastic playoff schedule, man. He gets the Falcons in week 15. Then he gets the Browns, who've been horrible against running backs in week 16. And then he gets the Eagles in week 17. Not fantastic there. But yeah, first two matchups are great. I wouldn't be shocked if Kamara ends up winning leagues for those that made the playoffs with him. We got a question here. Wilson or Kirk? I'm assuming you mean Garrett Wilson here, and I would play Garrett Wilson over Christian Kirk, but it's super close. Obviously, the matchup for Kirk is really good. I have Wilson, I think, literally one spot ahead of Christian Kirk. I just refuse to bench Garrett Wilson with how good he looks, how hot we know rookies can get at the end of the season. Guys, we've been through this, and it's happening with Garrett Wilson. It's happening with Christian Watson. It's happening with Chris Olave. It's happening with a lot of these guys, and it's not that surprising. Garrett Wilson's now been over 17 fantasy points in 4 of his last 5 games. He's been over 24 points in his last 2. Last time he played the Bills was only a month ago, and he had 9 targets in that game, 92 yards, no touchdowns, still was a top 12 wide receiver that week. I mean, the dude has top 10 wide receiver upside. You got to start him. You got to start Garrett Wilson, I think. So many buys and injuries. Yeah, it's a brutal week 14 with all the buys and injuries. Pick 2 full PPR, Travis Homer, DPJ, DJ Chark, Zonovan Knight. Yeah, I'm playing Travis Homer over all of these guys. I'm playing Travis Homer over Donovan Peoples-Jones. I'm playing him over DJ Chark. I'm playing over Zonovan Knight, and I think I'm playing DJ Chark over Zonovan Knight too. I'm pretty out on Zonovan Knight. I've taken 2 straight L's on Zonovan Knight the last 2 weeks because I thought he was a bench the last 2 weeks, and he's done pretty well. I think over 100 yards in both those games. But the reason I'm out on him this week is Michael Carter is back, and it's not a great matchup for Zonovan Knight. They're 10-point underdogs against the Bills. I think Michael Carter is a better receiving back than Zonovan Knight. So if they are losing in this game, I wouldn't be shocked to see Michael Carter out produce Zonovan Knight in this game, at least possible. I think it really lowers the floor, and I like DJ Chark's ceiling against the Vikings with Jameson Williams. He's playing, but he's not going to be playing very much, I don't think, again this week. I'm excited to see Jameson Williams snap share, hopefully increase those as we get closer to the fantasy playoffs next week. Garrett Wilson or Keenan Allen? Yeah, you got to play Keenan over Garrett Wilson. You can see my wide receiver rankings right now on the YouTube Live. Again, if you're watching live on TikTok, come to the YouTube Live. Link is right in the TikTok bio, and there's nothing wrong with TikTok Live. Like, if you want to stick with the TikTok, it's fine, but I'm just telling you it's a better viewing experience. You get more info it's an easier to see way on the YouTube live. It's still right on your phone. You get my top 15 rankings every position, and the link's right in the TikTok bio. So come to the YouTube live. You'll get a lot of the start sits I'm seeing just answered immediately right in the YouTube live. Why play Travis Homer? Because Kenneth Walker is out, DJ Dallas is out, and it's not a bad matchup against the Panthers, and he's the clear top receiving back at least for the Seahawks. Tony Jones might mix in on some of the running plays, but I think Travis Homer is way better than Tony Jones. So certainly 3.5 point home favorite, Travis Homer as a lead back. Like, yeah, you can play him as a back end RB2, high end RB3. I don't have him in my top 15 running back rankings though, so he's outside the top 15 in my opinion. But yeah, you got to go Keenan Allen, I think, in this game. Again, you want to start guys in this Dolphins Chargers game. It has the highest over under of the entire week. Hey Sam, I've been here every week. What do you think about Gabe Davis or Juju? Yona, man, thanks so much. Yeah, I'd go Gabe Davis over Juju. I'm probably pretty out on Juju against the Broncos. Gabe Davis at least has that ceiling. Even on a low volume day, Gabe Davis could go for 20 points. Tua or Mahomes? I would usually play Mahomes, but I can see Tua doing a lot today. Yes, I actually do have Tua ranked ahead of Mahomes, and it definitely feels weird to do that. Mahomes has been, just insanely consistent, but the matchup's not good for Mahomes today. I still think he has a good day. I still think he's a top 5 option, but I have Tua as a top 3 option ahead of Mahomes. Sorry, top 4 option. There's only 3 QBs I'm playing ahead of Tua. It is Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, and Joe Burrow. Then it's Tua, then it's Mahomes for me. So yeah, I'm playing Tua ahead of Mahomes. I think Tua could easily be the number 1 QB on the slate this week. He plays tonight against the Chargers in the game that's projected to have the most points scored of all games. That's the game you want your quarterback in. So yeah, I'm playing Tua with a decent amount of confidence this week. I'm loving the app. Should I start Donovan Knight or Latavius Murray? Thanks, man. Appreciate that. Yeah, if you haven't checked out the WalterPicks app yet in the iOS and Android app store, I don't know what you're waiting for at this point of the season, but it's not too late to have it help you out this fantasy season. We got NBA player props and DFS running all NBA season. We got a big March Madness coming up too in the WalterPicks app. And we got Dynasty Trade Analyzer in there for the offseason too. And obviously, we're in the final stretch of the fantasy season. Starts It tool still very much in play in the WalterPicks app. So check it out if you haven't on the iOS and Android app store. Link is in the YouTube description. Link is in the TikTok bio. Anyways, Donovan Knight, Latavius Murray. Which of these running backs do I dislike more is really the question. And I dislike Latavius Murray more than I dislike Donovan Knight. I would play Donovan Knight over Latavius Murray. I really don't want anything to do with Latavius Murray. He's a 9-point underdog. I have the spreads here. They're 8.5 point underdogs, home underdogs. Latavius Murray, the Broncos fall behind. You're not going to want him in fantasy. It's sort of a similar story with Donovan Knight, but yeah, I think I like Donovan Knight more. Hope you've had a great morning, Sam. It's been a great morning, getting close to that time of day where I'm like, what do you mean, man? It's not the morning anymore. I've been up for like 6 hours. I woke up right around 5 a.m. this morning, pumped for week 14, getting my research going. And it's been a fun stream, man. So yeah, thanks for tuning in again. Love seeing some consistent people on the YouTube live. We're live on TikTok and YouTube. Going to be a fantastic Sunday. Got good vibes for this Sunday today. Really exciting Sunday night game too. So no matter what happens today, we all got to be excited about the Dolphins Chargers game tonight. That game has the highest over under the week. All right, we got some QBs to consider here, and yeah, there's a lot of buys. So we got Deshaun Watson or Trevor Lawrence, and then Amari Cooper or Debo in full PPR, and these are definitely some good questions. And Nate Zalvin, I'm coming to your comment next in the YouTube live. I think I would go Trevor Lawrence over Deshaun, and I just read the report that Amari Cooper could be on a snap count this week, actually. So I think I'd go Debo too over Amari. Debo did have at least 10 targets last week, so that's definitely good to see. Let me get to this comment that I said I was going to get to. I've been here for so long. Can you please answer? Yeah, I got you. Judy, DJ Moore, Hollywood, Homer, or Foreman. Bench one. Yeah, you only got to bench one of these guys. I honestly think it is Homer. I think I would bench Travis Homer. I think he's the sketchiest guy on this list, and you got some pretty talented players on the rest of this list. I actually think it's pretty high floor too to go DJ Moore and Foreman. There's nothing else on that offense. Those two guys combined should be close to 25 plus touches. Love the advice and dedication you put in. Thanks, man. Need some advice this week. Pierce or Homer? Yes, so many Dameon Pierce questions, and I get it. I get the Dameon Pierce stuff, and for me, the thing that gives me confidence about Dameon Pierce this week is his prop line. Like, you look at the prop lines as a pretty reasonable measure of sort of what to expect from players week in and week out. And his prop line's 83.5 total yards, like pretty high floor for a guy that has a prop line that high. And it does make sense why the prop's so high, even in a game where they're 17-point underdogs. And Dameon Pierce usually, primarily a runner, not a receiver out of the backfield. But there's no Brandon Cooks. There's no Nico Collins. Like, they have to give the ball to Dameon Pierce at least 15 times in this game. And the matchup for Travis Homer is absolutely better than for Dameon Pierce. But yeah, I do think Dameon Pierce projects better than Homer. I feel compelled to say Dameon Pierce over Travis Homer for that reason. DJ Chark or Pierce. Dameon Pierce, again, I'm assuming not Alec Pierce in this one. Yeah, I think I would go Dameon Pierce over DJ Chark as well. I argue that DJ Chark's ceiling is pretty significantly higher than Dameon Pierce's, but the floor is totally flipped. So if you need a big game, DJ Chark is not a horrible option. But if you're locking in, at least 10 fantasy points, I think Dameon Pierce is a pretty good chance to go over 10 points. Connor or Foreman? Yes, you got to go Connor. Daddy Azeeks on the YouTube Live. Hopefully I said that right. Probably not, because I'm bad at pronunciating words. But I like James Conner a lot, man. There's just no way around the volume that he's getting. He's played over 95% of the snaps in 2 of his last 3 games. You don't see that in the NFL by very many players. And it's shown in fantasy. He's been a top 5 running back in 2 of his last 3 games. So, yeah, you got to start James Conner. Not even necessarily a good matchup for him, but the workload, the volume is what you want to chase, and that's why you're chasing James Conner. And that's why I like Foreman a little bit this week too, but not as much as Conner. If the Panthers fall behind big, Foreman could really be game scripted out. We've seen that. Chuba Hubbard's the preferred pass catching back, and that doesn't happen with James Conner nearly as much. Okay. Kittle or Dolce? I'm going Kittle over Dolce. Kittle still has a high ceiling. I've been here for a while. Got you Jackson Scott, James Cook, Deontay or Dillon, also Watson or Huntley. So AJ Dillon not playing this week, right? Packers on bye this week, I believe. So get him out of here. Deontay Johnson is dealing with a hip injury, but he's supposed to play in a good matchup. His floor is okay, but the ceiling is non-existent for the guy that somehow has scored 0 touchdowns this season, despite being top 15 in targets in the NFL. So I would go James Cook. Yeah, I'd go James Cook. And then Watson or Huntley. Yeah, so one's close. I mean, Huntley gets a small boost because of the rushing. Usually you want to be chasing the rushing quarterbacks, but I really think Deshaun is playable over Huntley. But I would argue Huntley's floor is significantly higher than Deshaun. Deshaun looked terrible last week against a bad Texans defense. And it's not necessarily an easier matchup for him this week against the Bengals. All right, pick 2, PPR, Mike Williams, D-Hop, CD. This one's easy, man. You got to bench Mike Williams for sure here. Despite any concerns you have about the Pats defense or even the Cowboys passing attack for both Hopkins and CD, you got to start both these guys still in almost all spots. I do not make a kickers list each week. Look at the over-unders in the games and just pick the kickers that have the highest over-under games. Like the highest over-under this week, it's the Chargers and the Dolphins. Get the kickers on those teams. A Saquon or a Lockett. I'm playing... I want to play Saquon. I want to play Saquon over Lockett. I do. I really do. We know Saquon's playing. I haven't seen any reports yet that we're expecting a pitch count for him. Let me just scroll here through the news. Yeah, nothing saying there's going to be a pitch count for Saquon yet. Again, it's definitely possible. He was 50-50 to play, but he will play this week. We got the report directly from Brian Daboll. Yeah, you gotta play Saquon. Gotta play Saquon over Lockett. I gotta update the running back list here because I don't have him in my top 15 running backs here on the YouTube Live. I think he probably slides in from me right here. I'll update this on the YouTube Live right now. Again, come to the YouTube Live. If you're watching live on TikTok, you got my top 15 rankings, every single position, and you get my favorite picks against the spread, and you get my favorite player prop pick, and you get my DraftKings lineup, all free right on the YouTube Live. Nothing wrong with TikTok Live either. We'll get to comments on both, but just a little bit more info on the YouTube Live. Links right in the TikTok bio if you're watching live on TikTok. So here's my updated running back rankings. You'll see where Saquon Barkley slides in, and honestly, I just think you got to start Saquon. If he's playing, we haven't seen any reports that he's going to be on a snap count. Start Saquon. He was questionable coming into the game, but he's playing, and this is a huge game for the Giants. The Eagles' run defense has been worse than their secondary, sort of a run funnel defense. Saquon's going to get 20-plus touches if he stays healthy and isn't on a snap count, which, again, we haven't seen any reports of. Need one running back and one flex. Travis Homer, Latavius Murray, Hunt, Hinton, Demarcus Robinson, Dortch. Yeah, Travis Homer absolutely should be the running back that you're starting here. And Kareem Hunt, man, what a sad season it's been for Kareem. Absolutely no ceiling for Kareem Hunt this season. I want nothing to do with Latavius Murray. For me, this one's between Hinton and Dortch. Honestly, I feel like Demarcus Robinson maybe projects the best, though. Let me see. We got Dortch. He's wide receiver 38. Hinton. And then Robinson. Yeah, it's got to be Hinton. I think Kendall Hinton will play almost every snap. The Chiefs are going to destroy the Broncos. They're going to have to throw. Nothing would tilt me more than a big Kendall Hinton day if Jerry Jeudy doesn't have a big day, because Jerry Jeudy over 58.5 is my free player prop of the day. But yeah, Kendall Hinton, guys, he's an every down player. All of a sudden for the Broncos, he's played over 80% of the snaps in 4 consecutive games. He only has one game over 10 points. The floor is absolutely low. for him, but the Broncos have to throw the ball a ton in this game. I actually like Hinton more than Latavius Murray for that exact reason. Mike White or Huntley? I'm okay going Mike White over Huntley. He should have to throw the ball a ton against the Bills. I'm not that worried about this game. There should be a little bit of snow, but nothing to be too concerned about. Hey, Sam, half PPR, Rachaad White or Donovan Peoples-Jones? I'm going Rachaad White over DPJ. Don't love DPJ this week with how bad Deshaun looked last week. I don't love Rachaad White either against the 49ers, but I think there's a slightly higher floor for him. And then T-Law or Huntley, I am going T-Law over Huntley. Help me out, man. Dameon Pierce, Jamal Williams, Rachaad White. I would rank them in that order, I think, this week. I do think Dameon Pierce is decent option. His over-under is 83.5 total yards. I kind of like the under there, to be honest with you. But there's just nothing else on this Texans offense. No Cooks, no Brandon Cooks or Nico Collins this week. You got to believe they're going to force feed Dameon Pierce. Amari Cooper, Garrett Wilson, Godwin, Debo, Ayuk. Choose 3. Yes, so you're starting Garrett Wilson. You're starting Chris Godwin 1,000%. And then I think it's Debo next. I would bench Amari Cooper. I would bench Ayuka, the bazooka. Hey, Sam, Greg Dulcich or Isaiah McKenzie at the flex PPR. Oh, God, Drew, I hate these questions where you're trying to trick me into starting 2 tight ends. And I don't want to do it, Drew. I don't want to do it. I'm already, it's already tough enough as it is. Starting 1 tight end. Now you're gonna make me start 2, but I bet Greg Dulcich probably does project a little bit better than McKenzie. Luke Thomas in the YouTube live, man. We don't need to spam. No, you don't need to spam the YouTube live. You just don't need to do it. I would play Miles Sanders though over Travis Homer. Okay. I think you go Dulcich. I think you go Dulcich over McKenzie. I think it is Dulcich over McKenzie. Homer or Fournette must-win week. Yeah, you can't start Fournette. If it's a must-win week for you, even if it's not a must-win week for you and you're just trying to have a good fantasy day, don't start Leonard Fournette. I mean, there's no way around this. There's been 0 big games against the 49ers running defense this season. The best game against the 49ers running defense this season actually came from Christian McCaffrey, who's now on the 49ers. He was the only running back this entire season to go over 20 points against this defense. We've seen some pretty elite running backs being stifled, and Fournette, I don't think, can be considered elite anymore. He's going to split at least half the work with Rachaad White on top of that. Do not start Fournette, man. Homer has less competition than Fournette this week, and he has a much better matchup. It's Homer over Fournette this week. Saquon is back. Yep, Saquon is playing today. Huge news coming out just a few minutes ago. Saquon is going to play. I've seen 0 reports that there's going to be a snap restriction. I have him as my number 7 running back this week now. He needs to be started. Who do you trust more this week? Travis Homer, Latavius Murray, DJ Moore, Deontay Johnson. I could also go with Knight or James Cook. Really struggling here. LOL. Yeah, I think I like DJ Moore the most on this list, then Travis Homer, then Deontay Johnson, then Latavius Murray, then actually I would put James Cook ahead of Latavius Murray, then Donovan Knight. So really quickly, these are some pretty frequent names, so I'm going to just rank these guys for everyone in the live really quickly again right now. So first, I like DJ Moore, then Travis Homer, then Deontay Johnson, then James Cook, maybe James Cook ahead of Deontay. That one's close. Then then Donovan Knight, then Latavius. Latavius is last. I like Donovan Knight more than Latavius. Again, the Chiefs are going to crush the Broncos. I'm more confident about the Chiefs crushing the Broncos than the Bills crushing the Jets, even though the Bills spread is bigger than that Chiefs spread. I don't think the Broncos defense is going to slow down the Chiefs offense very much. And the Broncos are going to have to throw. That's not good for Latavius Murray. If Saquon is out, who do I flex? Saquon is not out. He's not out. He's playing. We got that confirmed just recently. Peoples-Jones, Thielen, Slayton, though. Yeah, I'd go Thielen over Boyd. I'd go Thielen over Slayton. I'd go Thielen over Peoples-Jones. Saquon or Swift. Oh, God, man. Yeah, so I have Saquon ahead of Swift here in the rankings. I honestly don't feel great about that. I think I would play Swift. I do think I would play Swift ahead of Saquon this week. I kind of like Saquon more than Mixon, though. I think I would play Saquon ahead of Mixon. So I'm gonna adjust this a tiny bit here live. I'm gonna move Saquon down to number 8. Move Swift up to number 7. I'm playing Swift over Saquon. I don't feel super strong about it. Obviously, Saquon, on paper, if he sees a elite workload, like if Saquon's getting 20 touches, you're gonna have one to start at Saquon. I miss Breece Hall. Yeah, I miss Breece Hall too, man. All right, I would play Saquon ahead of Joe Mixon, but I wouldn't play him ahead of DeAndre Swift. DeAndre Swift breakout, it's happening, guys. The breakout for DeAndre Swift, it is happening. He finally played over half the snaps last week, first time since week 1 of the NFL season. And what does he do? He's a top 10 running back instantly. He's the 3rd most efficient running back on a per touch basis this season. He's number 3 in yards per touch at the running back position. And the exciting thing still about DeAndre Swift is, what if he plays more? He has so much more room to see even more volume. And he sees 10% more snaps, and all of a sudden he's a top 5 running back, not even just a top 10. What do you think about Waddle over, Judy over, KC first half money line, KC money line? Love all these, Nick. Honestly, I'm in on the Judy one. I actually am pretty in on the Waddle one as well. I usually don't touch money lines or spreads, but I would be pretty surprised to see the Chiefs lose to the Broncos, because two things have to happen for the Chiefs to lose this game. They have to be stopped on offense, which I don't think is going to happen, even as good as the Broncos defense is. And the Broncos are going to have to score, more than 20 points, which has happened maybe once this whole season for the Broncos. They're dead last in touchdowns per game in the NFL. So yeah, I don't hate those. Hey, Sam, McManus, Sanders, or Greg, the leg. Yeah. So Mike, I usually stay away from the kicker questions, but I think I'd go Sanders. I do like just going with the game that has the highest over under. Hey, Sam, pick 2, Deontay, Donovan Peoples-Jones, Zonovan Knight. Yeah, I would definitely go with Deontay in this one. At least he has a high floor. I'm pretty nervous about Zonovan Knight with Michael Carter back. I think the floor is really low for Zonovan Knight in this one, but the floor is low for Donovan Peoples-Jones. I think I probably would go DPJ, though, over Zonovan Knight. Homer, Godwin, or D-Hop, pick 2, full PPR. Please help. Must win week. Yeah, you gotta go Godwin and D-Hop. Travis Homer's startable in a lot of situations, but not over DeAndre Hopkins, not over Chris Godwin, not over any of these guys I have in my top 15, I think now 16 running back rankings list. Again, if you're watching live on TikTok, come to the YouTube live and you'll see my top 15 rankings every position. And yes, Saquon Barkley is playing this week. So start him. Yeah, as my number 8 running back, I would play Swift ahead of him. I would play Dalvin Cook ahead of him, but I'm not benching Saquon in almost any spots now that we know that he is playing. Okay. Hey, Sam, Mike Williams or Homer at flex, must win PPR. Yeah, so Mike Williams is one of the toughest conundrums in fantasy this week. We haven't seen him since week 7. Oh, we have. We saw him in week 11. He ran 4 routes and re-injured his ankle instantly. And you gotta, that's definitely sitting on my psyche a little bit. Last time we saw him, he literally got hurt on his very first return, very first drive, very first target. But if he is back to full health, and the reports are he's playing tonight, he's been practicing, I do like Mike Williams more than Travis Homer in a game that has the highest over-under of the week. But there's some real risk with Mike Williams. The risk of re-injury, the risk that he's just not playing his full allotment of snaps. I have seen nothing about a snap count for him, though. It's close. Definitely close. But yeah, personally, I'm shooting for the ceiling with Mike Williams. I think Travis Homer's the floor play. Good morning, my man. Justin Herbert or Kirk Cousins. This is purely matchup-based. Yeah, let me pull my QB rankings again. I do have Justin Herbert one spot ahead of Kirk. I would go Herb. I would go Herb over Kirk Cousins. The matchup is better for Kirk Cousins. On paper, the Lions have been worse against quarterbacks than the Dolphins have. But these are the 2 games that you really want pieces of this week. But really, it's the Chargers-Dolphins game. That's going to be extremely high scoring. 52.5 point over-under in that game tonight. And the Chargers defense, Derwin James is doubtful in that game. That's why I love Tua this week. But Justin Herbert, he's going to have to throw a lot, I think, in this game. I like Justin Herbert more than Kirk Cousins, but both are definitely close. Hey, Sam, love the app. Thanks, man. Yeah, guys, if you haven't checked out the WalterPicks app yet, iOS and Android app store. I've spent the last 5 years of my life, basically, really close to 3 years, but maybe we could expand out to 5 if we're talking about the true beginnings. I've been spending, my recent years building this WalterPicks app in the iOS and Android app store. So check it out. It's the number one way you could support me, and it's free to download. Pickens, Boyd, Mostert at flex. Yeah, I would go Pickens, then Boyd, then Mostert this week. Actually, maybe Mostert ahead of Boyd. It's close, but I like Pickens more than both of them. Sam, should I pick up Jerry Jeudy over any of these guys? Mark Cooper, Garrett Wilson, Godwin, Debo, Ayuk. Yeah, I'd play Jerry Jeudy over Ayuk, and I'd play him over Amari Cooper this week as well. I like dropping Ayuk, though, to get Jeudy. And again, the free prop of the day is Jerry Jeudy over 58.5 receiving yards. Jeudy has been over 50 yards, at least 50 yards, and every single game, healthy game that he's played in since week 3. Pretty good floor for a prop line set, only 8.5 yards basically above his floor. I'd be pretty surprised if he went under 50 yards with no Cortland Sutton in a game that they're almost definitely going to be losing against the Chiefs. All right, we got Deontay Foreman or Hollywood Brown. Yeah, so I like Deontay Foreman this week. I do like Deontay Foreman a decent amount. He's seen over 20 carries in 3 of his last 5 games. Over under 63.5 rushing yards today. Still no prop line for Travis Homer that are out there. Hollywood Brown, I'd still like, though. I still like him against the Pats. I think his ceiling is pretty high. But yeah, I think I would lean Deontay Foreman over Marquise Brown. White or Debo? I'd go Debo over White. Pick 2, Hollywood, Amari, Etienne. Must win week to secure the bye. You got to get the bye, man. Getting the bye is huge. And I would bench Amari here. We did see a report recently, scroll on the Twitter, that Amari Cooper might be on a little bit of a snap count today. Absolutely, that is something to be concerned about. If you're thinking about starting Amari Cooper in fantasy this week, I'm okay going Judy over Amari Cooper. I'm okay. I would go Pacheco over Travis Homer. Chark or Jamal Williams. That one's close. Honestly, I think Chark has a higher ceiling than Jamal, even though Jamal leads the league in touchdowns. I like Judy more than Hollywood, but they're really, really close. They're right neck and neck in my rankings this week. Cousins or Geno, I would go Cousins over Geno Smith. Really good spot for Cousins against the Lions. Slayton, Latavius, or Deontay. Yeah, I personally would go Deontay here. The floor is at least there as long as he gets through the game with his hip injury. Then I think I'd go Slayton, then Latavius. Again, I'm out on Latavius this week in a bad game script against the Chiefs. Do I start Debo or Judy? I'm okay going Judy over Debo Samuel. This week, Amari Cooper and DJ Chark. Homer start 2. Yeah, you got to bench DJ Chark, I think, in this one. I do like Amari Cooper more than DJ Chark. Hey, Sam, pick 2 for flex. Gallup, Zay Jones, Juju, and Hinton. Full PPR. This one, you can't start Gallup. The floor is just so low for Gallup. The whole passing attack for the Cowboys is a little sketchy today. They're 17-point favorites against the dead last run defense in the league. That's definitely not good for the wide receiver 2/3 for the Cowboys. Really, he's like option 4, 5, or 6 in the offense at this stage. So you can't start him. I don't like Juju really against the Broncos that much. It's weird starting Kendall Hinton, though, over Juju. I absolutely would start Zay Jones, though, in this spot. And, yeah, Juju versus Hinton. I think I would go Juju over Hinton. I think I would go Juju and Zay Jones in this one. In that case, Amari or Juju. Yeah, I'd go Amari, I think, over Juju. Hey, Sam, DraftKings lineup. Yeah, I got you with a DK lineup. I'm stacking the Lions-Vikings game super heavy in this one. I'm stacking Jared Goff with Amon-Ra St. Brown and DJ Chark. Huge game I'm hoping from them. I like paying down at quarterback this week. A lot of the top QBs on the main slate, they have tough matchups. I think Jared Goff has a path to being the number 1 overall QB against a bad Viking secondary. And then I'm hoping it's high scoring on the other side too. So I'm going with Dalvin Cook and TJ Hawkinson stacked against basically the whole Lions passing attack. And then I'm filling it in with Judy, Deontay Foreman, and the Cowboys defense. Really only 3 players not in that Vikings-Lions game. My big takeaway here, play players in that Vikings-Lions game if you're playing in tournaments on DraftKings. This is a tournament lineup, by the way, so I'm going for high risk, high reward with this lineup. Hey, Sam, must-win game here. Njoku or Dulcich in the tight end? Yeah, so we actually got this question earlier, and I actually swapped my rankings when looking into this specific question. I put Dulcich 1 spot ahead of Njoku. I think he's a little bit safer than Njoku this week with Sutton out and with a game script we're expecting for the Broncos. Dulcich is effectively the wide receiver 2 for the Broncos. Actually, their head coach said that himself. This week, Dulcich, he had 8 targets last week, 6 catches, 73% of the snaps. He actually ran his fewest routes of the season, and he still had 85 yards. He was the number 2 tight end last week. Dulcich against this week, the Chiefs, again, they're going to get crushed. You got to like Dulcich and Judy, I think, a decent amount this week. Who should I pick up to play over Rachaad White? Homer was already picked up. Zach, you were too slow. I don't know if there's any other great options to pick up. I mean, maybe Zonovan Knight, but I don't really necessarily love Zonovan Knight more than Rachaad White this week. Deontay Foreman, if he's available, but he's probably not available either. I would play Deontay Foreman over Rachaad White. Travis Homer is a guy that should be played ahead of Rachaad White, though, this week, I think. Rachaad White has the dead last, worst possible matchup for running backs. Same reason you have to bench Fournette is why you can be a little bit nervous about Rachaad White. Hey, Sam, need a big win today. Full PPR, pick 1, Pacheco, Homer, or Jeff Wilson. Rashad, yeah, you got to go Pacheco. I think Pacheco pretty clearly needs to be the guy here. Isaiah Pacheco's prop line today is over under 67.5 rushing yards, 16.5 rushing attempts is the over under. You got to start a guy that is a 9-point favorite against the Broncos. He's going to see 15 plus carries likely in this game. Pretty good chance at a TD. I like Pacheco a decent amount. Full PPR is a little bit of a downgrade for him, but he actually was more involved in the passing game last week than previous weeks too. So he's got that going for him as well. Hey, Sam, need a win for the bye week. Mike Evans or Amari Cooper? I'm going Mike Evans over Amari Cooper this week. I know Mike Evans, he's been on a rough stretch over the last month. This is the lowest Mike Evans prop line has been, I think, my entire life. 47.5 receiving yards, the over-under for Mike Evans. I like the over there. I think he definitely can have a bounce-back week sooner rather than later. QB list. Yeah, I got you with the QB list on the YouTube Live. Again, we're live on TikTok and YouTube. Come to the YouTube Live for the top 15 rankings, every position, my DraftKings lineup, my picks against the spread, my favorite player prop, all in the YouTube Live. Link is right in the TikTok bio. Got a TikTok comment here, then I'll get back to the YouTube one. We got, please, a must-win game, Tua or Justin Herbert. I'm playing Tua ahead of Justin Herbert this week because Derwin James is out. Tua has been better than Justin Herbert this season for fantasy. Flex, Lockett, Gabe Davis, Jamal, Devontae Smith. It's Lockett. Yep, you got to go Tyler Lockett here for sure. Without Kenneth Walker, without DJ Dallas, you definitely can start Travis Homer as like sort of a back-end RB2, high-end RB3. But really, Lockett and Metcalf are going to be the clear top options for the Seahawks offense today. Not a very scary matchup against the Panthers. Lockett and Metcalf, they're both seeing pretty consistent volume. Both have been much more consistent than people were expecting going into this season. So yeah, I like Lockett the most out of these guys. Hey, Sam. Big question. Homer, Juju, Rashad, Lenny. Yeah, so bench Lenny, bench Juju. Honestly, bench Rashad here too. I would go Homer. I would play Travis Homer or all of these guys. There's no Kenneth Walker. There's no DJ Dallas. Panthers offense and defense are not very intimidating. They're 3.5-point favorites, the Seahawks in this game. That's good for Travis Homer. I think he's the best receiving back they have today. I think he's going to get close to 15 touches in this game. Must-win game since Fields is on bye. Do I start Kirk Cousins or Trevor Lawrence? It's got to be Kirk Cousins over Trevor Lawrence. Let me pull up the QB rankings again on the YouTube Live. Again, if you're watching live on TikTok, come to the YouTube Live. Link is right in the TikTok bio. See my top 15 rankings every position. But yeah, I have Kirk Cousins ranked number 7 this week. I do have him one spot ahead of Jared Goff, who I'm playing in my DraftKings lineup. I think they're really close. But yeah, the Lions defense is trash. The Vikings defense, not good. This game's going to be really high scoring. Only game that I think projects to be more high scoring than the night game tonight between the Chargers and the Dolphins. Guys, we're getting close, man, to the final stretch of this live stream. About 45 minutes left on this live stream. We're getting some official reports coming out now. Brandon Cooks officially out. Nico Collins officially out. Kyle Allen not playing today. We got Davis Mills returning as the starter. Their star rookie cornerback, Derek Stingley, also out for the Texans. That's obviously good news for the Cowboys passing attack. We do have Saquon Barkley officially active. Amari Cooper officially active. Trevor Lawrence officially active. Michael Carter officially active. Officially inactive. James Robinson inactive. Chris Evans inactive. Leonard Williams inactive. Christian Darrisaw inactive. Lamar Jackson officially inactive. I think that's it. That's the news to catch you guys up on. But yeah, Saquon is playing, so start Saquon. I have my number 8 running back this week. Devontae Smith or Jamal Williams. I would go Devontae Smith over Jamal Williams. Saquon or Deontay Foreman. I would go Saquon over Deontay Foreman. Pollard or Kenneth Walker. Kenneth Walker's not playing today. He's out. Start Tony Pollard. Saquon or ETN. I would go Saquon over ETN. Najee or Pacheco. I like Pacheco. But I have Najee one spot ahead of Pacheco. I have Najee one spot ahead of Pacheco. Yeah, I think you go Najee over Pacheco. It's definitely really close, but I prefer Najee over Pacheco. Godwin or Judy? You got to start Godwin. I like Judy a lot this week. I'm taking his prop. This is what you should do: start Godwin and then take the over 58.5 prop line for Judy, so you can root for his success as well. Start Travis Homer. Yeah, Travis Homer can be started. He's a back end RB2, high end RB3. That means he's like around running back 25 to 35 range. So he's startable. He's not a locked in for sure play this week, but he definitely is startable. And without Kenneth Walker or DJ Dallas, he's the best running back the Seahawks have, and the Seahawks love using their running backs. Latavius Murray or DJ Chark must win for me. Walter saying Murray. Yeah, Daniel, I agree. I disagree with Walter on this one. I'd play DJ Chark over Latavius Murray. I want nothing to do with Latavius Murray this week. I think he is a complete landmine this week against the Chiefs. The Chiefs are going to be beating the Broncos. Latavius Murray is how is he going to get to 15 carries this week? He's not going to get there, and he's not a very great pass catcher. He's on a really bad offense. And DJ Chark, on the other hand, he's coming off a really big game, and he gets the Viking secondary that's been just absolute trash against outside receivers this season. Latavius Murray, what's the ceiling? He's gone over 15 points only a single time this season. He had 17 carries last week against the Ravens. I would be shocked if he got to 17 carries this week against the Chiefs. So yeah, I like DJ Chark more, but I do get why Latavius Murray projects better from Walter, because Latavius Murray's seeing some decent volume. Jared Goff or Geno? Yeah, I got Goff ahead of Geno this week. You got to like the matchup for Goff. I'm playing Goff in my DraftKings lineup for that reason. Deontay Foreman or Travis Etienne? I'd go Travis Etienne over Deontay Foreman. I do think James Cook is a decently solid option against the Jets. The Bills are 10-point home favorites in that game. James Cook looks like the best running back for the Bills, and he looks like the best receiving back for the Bills too. But I will caution the James Cook people. Devin Singletary still involved. Devin Singletary could absolutely still steal goal line carries. Now we know Josh Allen can steal rushing touchdowns too. So the floor is still kind of low for James Cook. Start Zonovan Knight or Najee. I'm going Najee. Karina, good to see you back in the YouTube live. I would definitely go Najee over Zonovan Knight. Hey, Sam, I need to start one. DJ Moore, Travis Homer, full PPR. I'd go DJ Moore over Travis Homer. Again, I like Travis Homer this week as sort of a flex play, but I think DJ Moore's ceiling is higher than Travis Homer's. And Sam Darnold's been pretty good for DJ Moore. Hey, Sam, need to start one. DJ Moore, Travis Homer. Yeah, again, I'd go DJ Moore over Travis Homer. DPJ or Palmer. I'm out on Josh Palmer this week. Mike Williams is back. I think that's pretty bad news for Josh Palmer. I'd go DPJ over Josh Palmer. Pick 2, Zonovan Knight, James Cook, George Pickens. Yeah, I'd go with these last two. I'd bench Zonovan Knight. I'd play James Cook. I'd play George Pickens. Goff or White. I'd go Goff over White. Judy or Amari Cooper. I'd go Judy over Amari Cooper. Do you think Saquon's a safe start? Yeah, you got to start Saquon. Saquon's active. He is playing today. We just got that report about 30 minutes ago now. He was questionable to play. He was 50-50 to play by all reports going in today, but he is playing today. Start Saquon Barkley. He's my number 8 running back this week. So you got to start Saquon. He is playing. I'm so torn on Etienne or Barkley. Yeah, I get it. This is definitely a tough one. Travis Etienne's props are pretty encouraging. His projections are pretty strong. Travis Etienne is over under 62.5 rushing yards, and we know he's a good receiver as well. But yeah, you got to start Saquon for sure. You got to start Saquon. There's no way around it. Start Saquon Barkley over Travis Etienne. It's not a great matchup for Etienne, even though the Titans are dealing with a bunch of injuries. They've been pretty good against running backs. I think I would go Saquon pretty confidently over Etienne, but I get why it's tough. Kirk, Devontae Smith, Mike Williams, Zay Jones, they need to flex. It's got to be Kirk, man. Kirk, look no further than Christian Kirk, who is really close to the elite tier of receivers. He didn't crack my top 15 this week, but he's right outside of it. He gets a great matchup against the Titans. They've been number 2 best matchup for receivers this season. Got to feel good about Christian Kirk in that spot. Homer, Foreman, or Pierce, pick 2. I would go Pierce and Foreman ahead of Travis Homer, but it's definitely close, man. Absolutely, it's close. I like Thielen a little bit more than Travis Homer as well, seeing that one in the TikTok live. Guys, we're live on TikTok. We're live on YouTube. On the YouTube live, you get my top 15 rankings every single position. Like, I'm seeing a question in the YouTube live that says Foreman or Singletary. And if you came to the YouTube live and you looked at my top 15 running backs, which are just scrolling at the bottom of the screen right on the YouTube live, you'll see I got Deontay Foreman in my top 15. Do not have Travis Homer in my top 15 or whoever else was a part of that question. So come to the YouTube live. Nothing wrong with TikTok live. I'll get to as many comments as I can there too, but a little bit better of a viewing experience on the YouTube live, and link to that's right in the TikTok bio. All right. Let's get to this one. Pacheco or Travis Homer. A lot of Travis Homer questions, but you got to start Pacheco over Travis Homer. Pacheco is a bigger favorite than Travis Homer in their game today. Pacheco a 9-point favorite. Chiefs 9-point favorites against the Broncos. The Seahawks only 3.5-point favorites against the Panthers. So that bodes well for the rushing for Pacheco more so than Travis Homer. I definitely feel better about Pacheco. Pacheco's over under rushing attempts today, 16.5, man. He could easily go for 20-plus carries in a blowout game against the Broncos. So yeah, you go Pacheco. I like Pacheco a decent amount today. DK, Judy, or Garrett Wilson. Yeah, so all of these guys, all 3 of these guys cracked my top 15, really my top 16 wide receivers. I smashed in 16 receivers into my top 15 this week because I needed to get Garrett Wilson in there. But Judy had to be in there. So I'm putting Judy ahead of Garrett Wilson. You're starting Judy over Garrett Wilson, in my opinion, this week. And then DK, you got to start over Jerry Judy and Garrett Wilson. So yeah, you're starting DK Metcalf and Jerry Judy over Garrett Wilson. In my opinion, I would go DK, then Judy, then Garrett Wilson. But yeah, all 3 of those guys are within 4 spots of each other in my ranking. So they're all top 16 options. Jeff Wilson or Ayuk? Oh, God, I want nothing to do with Jeff Wilson. I'm pretty concerned about Ayuk as well with Purdy playing, but I think I would go Ayuk over Jeff Wilson. Again, Jeff Wilson, he touched the ball once last week, guys. He touched the ball one more time than you did last week. Like, think about that. He had 3 yards last week. It's such a low floor for Jeff Wilson. Ben, in the YouTube live, good to see you in the YouTube live. As always, Ben, Amari Cooper, Mike Evans, Devontae Smith, pick 2, trying to make Walter's pickings playoffs. Oh, God, I'm not helping you in a league that we're in together here. I mean, this is not an easy choice, though. I'm sure even with my help, this is not going to be an easy choice. Amari Cooper supposedly on a snap count today. That's a little concerning. Mike Evans, this is the lowest prop line I've ever seen in my entire life for Mike Evans, only 47.5 yards for Mike Evans. I think he goes over that. And then Devontae Smith, he's coming off a great game, but not necessarily a great matchup for him against the Giants, and they're big favorites in that game too. I think I'd probably go Devontae Smith over these guys, and then I'd probably go Mike Evans too. I'm a little concerned about Amari, but yeah, it's definitely a tough one here. James Cook or McKinnon? I'd go James Cook over McKinnon pretty easily. Homer or Latavius? I'd take Homer over Latavius too. I'm not playing Travis Homer though over Chris Godwin. Absolutely not. A Saquon activated player bench. You're playing Saquon. Saquon's playing. You need to play Saquon. That's really straightforward. It's similar with Jamar Chase last week. We knew Jamar Chase might be on some sort of snap count, but it's Jamar Chase. You're starting Jamar Chase. The same logic applies to Saquon. You got to start Saquon. Juju or Slayton at PPR flex. I do think Slayton, he's been pretty consistent. Let's see here. It's not a great matchup for him against the Eagles. Gotta go Juju. I still think I'd go Juju over Slayton, even though it's a tough matchup for Juju as well. Deontay Johnson or Homer. Nick, this one's close, man. Good matchup for Deontay. He had a hip injury this week. I don't think that factors into it too much because he was taken off the injury report on Friday. Though it looked like a little bit for a little bit. There's a new injury chance he was going to miss. I think Travis Homer's close. Let me pull up. Honestly, I think I would go Travis Homer. I think his floor is probably pretty similar to Deontay's, but definitely close. Yeah, Deontay Johnson is active. Zonovan Knight expected to get most of the carries today against the Bills, but I guess that's definitely a good report for Zonovan Knight. But how many carries are there going to be? Are there going to be to go around for the Jets today if the Bills get an early lead? They're 10-point favorites in Buffalo, and if that happens, I do think we'll see more Michael Carter than Zonovan Knight. Traylon Burks is officially out today. James Robinson, a healthy scratch. Deontay Johnson is active. Joe Mixon is active. Mark Cooper is active. Rachaad White or Foreman or Thielen. I'd go Foreman, then Thielen, then Rachaad White. Tough matchup for Rachaad White and Leonard Fournette today. The 49ers have been so stout against running backs. Only one running back's been over 20 fantasy points against them, and it was actually Christian McCaffrey when he was back on the Panthers. That's it. That's the only running back to do it this season, or at least since very early in this season. So really low floor. I mean, really low ceiling and floor for Rachaad White and Fournette this week. Flex, Garrett Wilson, Lockett, or Christian Kirk. Full PPR. I'm going Lockett ahead of both of these guys, but I mean, I like all of them. And if you look at the prop lines, let's look at the prop lines really quickly for these three guys. Lockett's at 67.5. Christian Kirk's at 65.5, and Garrett Wilson's at 65.5 too. So yeah, they're all super close together. But yeah, I do like Tyler Lockett the most ahead of Garrett Wilson, ahead of Christian Kirk. Hey Sam, DJ Chark or DJ Moore? I'd go DJ Moore over DJ Chark. The two DJs. I need a wide receiver desperately off the waiver wire. Need to pick between Kendall Hinton, Demarcus Robinson, Philip Dorsett. Yeah, so I would go Hinton over Demarcus Robinson and Philip Dorsett. But the other guy I think you should be considering if you really are desperate for a sleeper off the waiver wire is Devontae Parker, who's playing on Monday night. There's no Jacoby Myers this week. Devontae Parker quietly has been an every down player for the last few weeks. He has gone over, I think, 80% of the snaps in – let me pull the numbers up here really quickly. Yeah, he's gone over 85% of the snaps in his last two games. He only has 4 targets in each of those games. One of those he went over 80 yards, but there's no Jacoby Myers. I think the Monday night game could be low-key high scoring. I think I would like to play Devontae Parker more than DeMarcus Robinson and more than Philip Dorsett. Kendall Hinton, I think, is close against the Chiefs. I don't hate that spot for him against the Chiefs, though. So I think I would go Hinton, but I'd also consider Devontae Parker. Hey, Sam, who do you like at flex PPR 1? Mike Williams, Zonovan Knight, or Travis Homer? Yeah, so again, I mean, the Mike Williams decision point this week is a really tough one because it's a game you want players in. It's the highest over-under of the week against the Dolphins. But last time we saw Mike Williams was week 11, and he ran 4 routes, and he got hurt on his very first target, and we haven't seen him since. Zonovan Knight's not a guy I trust this week. He's supposed to lead the backfield in carries, but he's playing the Bills as a 10-point underdog in Buffalo, and he's not the preferred pass down back, I don't think. And then Travis Homer, I like this week too, but he's definitely not a lock. He's a 3.5-point favorite against the Panthers. There's no Kenneth Walker. There's no DJ Dallas. Definitely all really close ones. I personally think I would go Mike Williams, though. I tested my luck with Mike, assuming that he's playing, and all reports are that he is. Then I'd go Travis Homer. Then I would go Zonovan Knight. Saquon Barkley or Joe Mixon only can start one. Yeah, so I did put Saquon Barkley one spot ahead of Joe Mixon in my rankings. I would play Saquon over Joe Mixon. It's a better matchup for Mixon, though. I will say the matchup for Mixon is much better. The Browns have been really, really, really bad against running backs this season. So it's close. It's definitely really close. Honestly, it's tough. It's a really tough spot. Both guys, obviously, dealing with some sort of injury. Mixon, though, was a concussion, and he's back off the concussion. And usually when you return from the concussions, you're not really held back. I know Samaje Perine did well. But yeah, I think I still it's tough for me to start Mixon over Saquon. It's, again, really close. I had them back to back, but I would go Saquon. Saquon's over under today, 93.5 total yards. Mixon's over under is 90.5. So I mean, super close, obviously. But yeah, the prop lines give Mixon the edge there as well. Hey Sam, Mike Evans or Judy PPR and Goff or T-Law? I'm going Goff over T-Law pretty easily, and I'm going Judy over Mike Evans pretty easily as well. Why isn't Njoku good this week? Because Amari Cooper's dealing with an injury, and Njoku's back, and there's a decent chance that with how Deshaun looked last week, that they really try to keep it easy over the middle with Njoku. in a game that they're going to be losing against the Bengals. So that's why Njoku's good this week. I honestly think good maybe even is a little too strong of a word, though. Like after the top 4 tight ends, there's really no good tight ends in fantasy. So I think Njoku, like, yeah, he's at number 8. That's not very good at the tight end position. He's probably going to go under 10 points, like most tight ends will. Gallup or Chark, I like Chark more than Gallup. The whole Cowboys passing attack, a little bit sketchy, guys. It's a little bit sketchy. They're 17-point favorites against the dead last run defense in the league. Like, it really could be like that Colts game where they just don't need to throw for most of the game. Judy or Pacheco, that one's close. Definitely close. I think Pacheco's floor is better. His floor is better. If it's a PPR league, though, I think you should probably go Judy. If it's not a PPR league, I'd be okay going Pacheco. Why sit Michael Carter? Because we just got a report not that long ago that Zonovan Knight's going to lead this backfield in carries. He should get the bulk of the carries. But I do think Carter mixes in on the third downs. On FF Fantasy Football Now, Adam Schefter says he expects the Seahawks to start Tony Jones, not Travis Homer. All right, maybe we're a little too high on Travis Homer with this report. Honestly, I got to admit, Tony Jones is not good. Tony Jones is just straight up not good. He cannot be started at all in fantasy leagues. And this is definitely a big blow for Travis Homer, though, that if Tony Jones is going to definitely I could see the Seahawks running a 3 running back system. But guys, Tony Jones, the one time he started a game was last year. He had 16 carries in that game, and he only had 27 yards on 16 carries. I think that might be under 2 yards a carry. It's close. It's like, yeah, almost like less than 3 yards a carry in his only start. I have no faith in Tony Jones. But yeah, we are seeing this report. Definitely makes Travis Homer a lot more sketchy. I don't think he's a must start. Don't think Travis Homer's a must start anymore. Watson, Huntley, or Mac Jones. I like Mac Jones. Honestly, I think Mac Jones could have a good sleeper week on Monday Night Football. I think I'd go Mac Jones over Watson and over Huntley. I actually think, let me pull my QB rankings here. I might have Deshaun in here. I don't. Yeah, I'd go Mac Jones. I have Mac Jones one spot ahead of Huntley, too, if I pull my QB rankings on the YouTube Live. And come to the YouTube Live for my top 15 rankings, every single position. Guys, be careful with Travis Homer. I don't think he's a must start. Anymore with this report we're getting. Love the streams. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Why sit Wilson? Because he had 1 carry and 0 catches last week for 3 total yards. If there's ever a reason to bench someone, I mean, that's the stat line you want to avoid in fantasy football. Again, we're getting this report. Travis Homer is very risky. Tony Jones is expected to start ahead of Travis Homer this week. I still believe pretty strongly that Travis Homer is a lot better than Tony Jones. But yeah, you got to be very careful with Travis Homer now. He might not even be out there half the snaps. That's not good for Travis Homer. So let's run back all the Travis Homer questions we've gotten on this live. Let's run those back. And see if we still feel good about Travis Homer. Who would you start over Cooper this week? Mark Cooper. Yeah, there's a lot of guys I would start over Mark Cooper. I'd start Jerry Jeudy. First off, I'd start him over Mark Cooper. I think I'd start Devontae Smith over Mark Cooper. Some guys that are in my top 15 wide receiver rankings. I start all of the guys in this wide receiver list over Mark Cooper. Garrett Wilson, Christian Kirk, I'd start over him. A lot of guys I'd start over Mark Cooper. Bye week's killing me this week. Amari Cooper, DJ Moore, DJ Chark need to, please, and thanks. Yeah, go with these first 2 guys. I'm okay going with Amari Cooper over DJ Chark. I think that one's kind of close, but I'd still go Coop over Chark, even though Chark has got a good matchup in a high ceiling. Need help. I have Herbert and Everett. Do I start Mike Williams, Foreman, and Pacheco? Yeah, this one's tough. It's definitely tough. And if you already have Herb and Everett, I'm okay going with Pacheco here. I think Pacheco's the safest guy. I have Foreman ranked ahead of Pacheco, though. Like, just by a couple spots, I have Foreman ahead of Pacheco. It's super close for me. I think if you go Foreman and Pacheco, though, I'm okay going Foreman and Pacheco over Mike Williams. Mike Evans or Adam Thielen. I do think Adam Thielen projects better than Mike Evans. Good spot for Adam Thielen this week. He has had a big game in his last 2 games. I think 2 of his last 3 games, he's been like right at 5 points. Then the other one in between that, he was like at 20 points. I think that was the game maybe against the Pats. But yeah, you got to feel good about Thielen against the Lions. Zay Jones, Ayuk, PPR. I'm going Zay Jones over Ayuk. Better matchup for Zay Jones than Ayuk. This week he gets the Titans. Ayuk gets the Bucks. And Ayuk's playing with Purdy. Zay Jones gets Trevor Lawrence. I'm definitely going Zay Jones. So you're saying let me scroll back up here to this YouTube comment. We're live on TikTok and YouTube, by the way, right now. And on the YouTube live, you get my top 15 rankings, every single position, completely free. Link to the YouTube lives right in the TikTok bio. Hey, Sam, Travis Homer or Devin Singletary? Yeah, so we're running back some of these Travis Homer questions. And yeah, I think I'd now go Devin Singletary over Travis Homer. I honestly think Travis Homer is like kind of near must-bench territory with some of these reports. Hello, Sam, full PPR, Godwin or CD? Worried about volume. That's totally fair to be worried about CD's volume this week. I definitely think in general, pretty sketchy for the Cowboys passing attack today. I'll pull my wide receiver rankings again, though. And I still do have CD Lamb ahead of Chris Godwin. I still think you've got to start CD in basically all spots. As sketchy as the passing attack might be, you got to start CD Lamb. He's simply too good. Geno or Kirk? I go Kirk over Geno this week. Hey, Sam, one more question. Miles Sanders or Deontay Johnson? I would go Miles Sanders over Deontay Johnson this week. I'm going James Cook over Jeff Wilson. I would definitely go Devontae Smith over Travis Homer. I like Dameon Pierce a lot more than Travis Homer now. Dameon Pierce over-unders again. 83.5 total yards is the projected over-under for Dameon Pierce this week. Travis Homer's not even starting the game for the Seahawks, is the report we just got. It's going to be Tony Jones. And again, Tony Jones is bad. I kind of like the Panthers against the spread even more now because Tony Jones is not a guy I trust at all. He's undrafted. Only start ever he had 26 total yards on 16 carries. I like James Cook more than Travis Homer now too. I don't think I like DPJ more than Travis Homer, but I would play Dameon Pierce and James Cook ahead of Travis Homer this week. Good morning, Sam. How are you this morning? It is no longer morning, man. We're past the afternoon, and I'm doing great. It's been a very fun live. We've been live almost 3 hours, and we got plenty of time still to go. We'll get to as many start sits as I can. I've been live on YouTube and TikTok. And if you're watching live on TikTok, come to the YouTube live. Link is right in the TikTok bio for my top 15 rankings, every position. Just a slightly better viewing experience, still right on your phone. But Mixon or Swift, getting to your question here, Andrew. Thanks for asking, by the way. I hope you're having a good start to your Sunday as well. I got Swift. You got to go Swift, I think. And really all Mixon, Swift, Saquon, like they're all really good options. This week I have them right all next to each other in my rankings 6, 7, 8 in my running back rankings. Mixon gets the best matchup of them all, but the Swift breakout, it's just happening. It's happening. He played 51% of snaps last week. He's still fully healthy. He is getting healthier and healthier every week. They're playing him a little bit more. And if he plays even a little bit more than last week, man, he could really be a top 5 option. He's a really elite pass catcher in a game that should have a lot of points. Swift is the number 3 in the NFL in yards per touch. You got to start Swift. I like his overs today as well. Pick 2, Corey Davis, Gallup, MVS, any Pats receiver. Yeah, so I like Devontae Parker. I like Devontae Parker more than Gallup. I like Devontae Parker probably more than Scantling, honestly, too. And then I'd probably go with Corey Davis. I think that's what I would do. It's close. But yeah, I like Devontae Parker as a sleeper on the Pats with Jacoby Myers out. Pickens, Juju, Moore, or Jamal Williams, pick 2. Yeah, I'd go Pickens and DJ Moore here, assuming that's DJ Moore. Rondé Moore's out this week. There's a lot of Moores. We go through this every week, but that's why you need first names if you're going to talk about Moores. There's Elijah Moore. There's DJ Moore. There's Sky Moore. There's Rondé Moore. I'm missing at least one more. So yeah, there's you got to go Juju. I think you go Juju and Moore here. Sorry, Pickens and Moore. Pickens and Moore. DJ Moore is what I would do. All right. Foreman, Mostert, Pacheco, and Dameon Pierce. Pick 2. Yeah, for me, I'd go Foreman and I would go Pacheco. I'd go Foreman and Pacheco over Dameon Pierce and over Raheem. Mostert need a win for a bye week. Evans or Slayton. I'd go Evans. Megan, I'd go Evans over Slayton this week. Hi, Soul Sniper. Hey, man. How we doing? Foreman or Hollywood. Yeah, I think Hollywood's a pretty good option this week. He had 8 targets last game. His first game with Hopkins. Obviously, we're still sort of feeling out how Marquise Brown's going to shape up in this offense with DeAndre Hopkins. Also, I'm okay going Hollywood Brown though over Foreman. I do think it's close. I think Foreman's floor is better though. So if you're trying to lock in the points, you go Foreman. But Hollywood Brown is a pretty high ceiling. Mike Williams, Amari Cooper, Debo, pick 2. Yeah, I go Hollywood Brown and Debo over Mike Williams and over Amari Cooper. There's just some risk with the injuries with Mike Williams and Amari Cooper that I want to avoid. So I'd go Hollywood and Debo. With this one, you're definitely playing Kittle over Noah Fant, even though Fant's coming off a pretty good game. Dalvin Cook or Deontay Foreman. Got to be Dalvin Cook. Ahead of Deontay Foreman. Why say Josh Palmer? Because Mike Williams is back. So that really they played this exact same role in the offense. Rashad White or Travis Etienne. I definitely go Travis Etienne over Rashad White this week. Be careful, Rashad White. Be careful. Do not start Leonard Fournette for sure against the 49ers. Their defense has been the best against running backs this entire season. Tua or Burrow? Yeah, so actually that one's really tough for me. I have Tua ranked number 4 this week, but I Burrow ranked number 3. So I am going Burrow over Tua, but I really like Tua this week. There's no Derwin James for the Chargers. This game has the highest over-under of the week. I think Tua goes 3 touchdowns over 300 yards this week. Hello, Sam. Full PPR, Godwin or CD? Yeah, we already got to this one. I would go CD over Godwin. And Njoku or Schultz? I do like Schultz more than Njoku still. Rachaad White or DJ Moore? I like DJ Moore more than Rachaad White. What about Knight or DJ Moore? I'd go DJ Moore over Zonovan Knight as well. I'd go Deebo Samuel over Travis Homer. There's reports that really are not good for Travis Homer, guys. Tony Jones is going to start. It's really, really tough to know. Really tough to trust. Yeah, really tough to trust Travis Homer. I think you got to go away from Travis Homer if you can. Even DJ Chark over Travis Homer, I think, is reasonable. I need help. Mike Williams or Rachaad White. I would go Mike Williams over Rachaad White. Michael Carter or Latavius Murray. Oh, Daniel, this one's tough. I don't think I've said Latavius to a single question, but with Zonovan Knight going to be leading this backfield and carries, I'm okay going Latavius over Michael Carter. Hey, Sam, love the WalterPicks app. Rest of season, Swift or Mixon. Oh, God, this one's tough. I feel compelled to say Mixon, just knowing that Swift's still probably going to stay right around the 50% snap share range. Yeah, I would go Mixon over Swift, but it's definitely close, and I could see Swift really being a huge league winner. Hey Sam, pick 2: Zeke, Swift, or Foreman. Full PPR. I would go Zeke and Swift. Over Foreman, pretty confidently. Again, let me pull my running back rankings up on the YouTube live. Again, we're live on TikTok and YouTube. Come to the YouTube live. Right in the TikTok bio to see my top 15 rankings every position, my DraftKings lineup, my picks against the spread, everything. Like, you got a question, Keenan Allen versus Tyler Lockett, seeing that one in the TikTok live. And those guys are both in my top 15. I'm going Keenan Allen over Tyler Lockett, though. I want pieces of this Chargers-Dolphins game big time this week. Let me pull up the DraftKings lineup one more time as I get to some more comments. I think I like Mike White a little bit more than Mac and Cheese, Mac Jones. Giants or Eagles? I'm going Eagles over Giants. ETN or Dameon Pierce? I'm going ETN over Dameon Pierce. I'm going Kittle over Njoku. Saquon Barkley is playing. Yes, that's the big news of this morning. The only injury news we're sort of waiting on was the Saquon Barkley injury news, and we have it now. Saquon Barkley is playing. You have to start Saquon Barkley. I need help. I would play Jerry Jeudy over DJ Moore. I would play Sanders over Travis Homer. Guys, you got to bench Travis Homer. I have him as a must start on this live, but you got to bench him. He's not a must start. He's really in the must bench category now. We're getting reports from Adam Schefter himself saying that Tony Jones is going to start. Travis Homer is going to play second fiddle to Tony Jones. Tony Jones is bad, but if he's playing more than Travis Homer, it doesn't matter for fantasy who's better or who's worse. Efficiency-wise, it's all about the volume. And if Tony Jones is starting, you cannot start Travis Homer. You got to find a way off of Travis Homer. ETN or Swift, sell me on it. Yes, it's got to be Swift. Swift, he was the number 4 running back in fantasy, I believe, last week. He played 51% of the snaps. And the thing you got to understand about Swift is there's so much room for him to still go higher. He only played 51% of the snaps. What if he played 70% of the snaps, in this game? I don't think it's possible. I don't think it's likely, but it's certainly possible. And if he does, he could be the number 1 running back this week. He was the number 4 running back last week. On the first game that he played over 51% of the snaps since week 1. He's averaging the 3rd most yards per touch in the league, one of the most efficient running backs in the league. I think you got to go Swift in what should be a high-scoring game. Deontay Foreman, Jamal Williams, or Raheem Mostert got to bench one. Yeah, you're benching Raheem Mostert. You're playing Jamal. You're playing Deontay Foreman here. I'm pretty nervous for both Raheem Mostert and Jeff Wilson because I feel like there's a lot of ambiguity, a lot of uncertainty in that backfield, and I think that the Dolphins will also throw a lot in this game. Dawson Knox or Chig. Yeah, so a Chig Okonkwo, I think. I'm probably saying it wrong. Is definitely like a deep tight end sleeper tight end rankings this week. First time he's made the top 15, and he's actually only 1 spot behind Dawson Knox. But yeah, I'd rather play Dawson Knox. At least he's tethered to Josh Allen. But both guys are probably going to be close to 0 points if we're being honest. Thoughts on Chuba Hubbard? Currently, I'm starting James Cook and Singletary. Do I bench one and grab Chuba? Thanks. No, don't bench one and grab Chuba. Deontay Foreman's going to lead that backfield in carries. The only hope for Chuba is the Panthers get crushed, which is definitely possible because they're the Panthers, and then he catches a lot of passes, but it's definitely not a certainty. His floor is really low. ETN or Pacheco, please, I need. Yeah, I'd go ETN over Pacheco. I like Pacheco a lot this week. I like ETN more, though. ETN has a much better chance to catch a decent amount of passes than Pacheco does. Both guys have a decent floor, though. But yeah, I don't hate ETN against the Titans. Not a great matchup, but not a bad matchup either. They are dealing with a lot of injuries on the Titans' defensive side of the ball. Rachaad White or Lenny. Definitely Rachaad White over Lenny. I'm playing Najee over Homer 100%. Guys, bench Travis Homer. I know I have Travis Homer on my must-start list here on the TikTok Live. He's not a must-start anymore. There was literally just a report from Adam Schefter that said Tony Jones is starting for the Seahawks, not Travis Homer. So bench Travis Homer. I'm seeing a lot of Homer questions. Bench him. Don't trust Travis Homer. I still think he's much better than Tony Jones. I still think the Seahawks like to use their running backs, but if he's not starting, you can't start Travis Homer as a backup. Saquon is active, so start Saquon Barkley 100%. You're starting Saquon. Foreman or Pacheco. I like Foreman a little bit more than Pacheco, but it's definitely close. Hey, Sam, hope you're doing well. Mike, Will, Zeke, or Connor. I'd go Zeke, then Connor, then Mike, Will. Shout out to you, Kylo. Always being a positive member of the YouTube Live. Let me get to some more comments here. We're heading towards the back half of the stream. Hey, Sam, premium sub here. Sam, thanks so much for subscribing to the WalterPicks app. Number one way you could support me is just checking out the WalterPicks app in the iOS and Android app store. But really, it's our subscribers in the WalterPicks app that are the reason I get to do this every Sunday morning. So, Sam, thank you as well. And also shout out for you for having an elite name. And Njoku or Dulcich. Yeah, so this is a really close one. And actually, earlier in the stream, we were talking about this one, and I changed my rankings. I had Njoku at the beginning of the stream, one spot ahead of Dolch. I changed it because I think Dolch is effectively functioning as the wide receiver 2 for the Broncos in a game that they're going to have to throw against the Chiefs. And Njoku's playing with a little bit of an unknown Deshaun, and Njoku's coming off an injury himself. I think there's a little bit more risk with Njoku. So I like Dolch more than Njoku. And then Evans, Latavius Murray, James Cook. Thanks. Yeah, I'd go Evans over Latavius Murray and James Cook. It's the lowest prop line I've ever seen for Mike Evans, 47.5 receiving yards. He's clearly trending down, but he could crush that in a single catch. I'm okay going with Mike Evans this week. I think he's being a little slept on at this stage in the season. Hey, Sam, trade Swift and T for Jefferson. I'm cool with this one. Yep, you get the best player in the trade. I'd like the 2-for-1s in general in fantasy. I think those are positive trades to make. Guys, we're live on TikTok and YouTube. Come to the YouTube Live. Link is right in the TikTok bio to get my top 15 rankings. Every single position completely free. It's still right on your phone. You're like 2 presses of your finger away from the YouTube Live. It's a better viewing experience. Easier for me to pull up comments in the YouTube Live as well. And you'll see my favorite picks against the spread, player prop, and DraftKings lineup all in that. Let me run through the spreads one more time. I'm taking the Vikings plus 2.5. Like that one a decent amount. I like the Bengals minus 5.5 against the Browns too. The Jets, 10-point underdogs. I'm taking the 10 points. They already have beaten the Bills this season. Eagles, minus 7. I think they crushed the Giants. Texans, plus 17. I mean, it's just so many points in the NFL. I do like the Panthers, plus 3.5 against the Seahawks, especially if the Seahawks plan to start Tony Jones, which does sound like the plan. So you got to get Travis Homer out of your starting lineup. I thought he was going to be a must-start this week. He is not a must-start this week. Bench, Travis, Homer. Take the Panthers, plus 3.5 too. I do like that spread a decent amount. But generally, I avoid the spreads when I'm betting myself because the spreads are so tough to beat. I've been 53% against the spread this season, taking every single game, every single week. And that's pretty good, but still, I would be losing money if I took all these spreads each week. You need to be, I think, at least 55, 56% or something like that. But my favorite player prop of the day, I will share that with you, and that's Jerry Jeudy, over 58.5 receiving yards. I do have some on this. I like this a lot. Jerry Jeudy's floor to me is 50 yards in this game. He's been over 50 yards in basically every healthy game since week 3. And there's no Cortland Sutton, and they're playing the Chiefs. Chiefs secondary hasn't been good this season, and they're going to be playing from behind. So you got to like Jeudy over 58.5 receiving yards. I like Jeudy as a start this week too. Again, we're live on TikTok and YouTube. Come to the YouTube Live for my top 15 rankings every position. Like I'm seeing a question here, Barkley or Jeff Wilson. If you came to my YouTube Live, again, link is right in the TikTok bio. It's still right on your phone, this live stream. You'll see Saquon's in the top 15, and Jeff Wilson's not. You got to start Saquon over Jeff Wilson 1,000%. You're starting Saquon over Jeff Wilson. Pull my wide receiver rankings up. Get my top 15 on the YouTube Live. We got like 15-ish minutes left in the live stream, guys. It's been a good one. Appreciate everyone who's been tuned in. Saquon is playing. That really is the big news of the day. And Njoku or Hunter Henry? I love that question because Hunter Henry's my sleeper of the week. I do think Hunter Henry's startable at the tight end position this week. I would not play him over Njoku. But guys, the Arizona Cardinals, they've stopped 0 tight ends. No tight ends have been stopped by the Cardinals this season. They've been allowed by far the most yards and fantasy points per game to tight ends. So you got to like Hunter Henry on Monday night with no Jacoby Myers. I like Devontae Parker as a sleeper too without Jacoby Myers in the lineup. I think that Monday night game could be higher scoring than people think. I think Mac Jones is even an interesting sleeper in deeper quarterback leagues. Travis Homer and Nick Chubb. We're not starting Travis Homer anymore. Remove Travis Homer from the must-start list. He is not a must-start. Tony Jones is starting over Travis Homer. We got this report right from Adam Schefter. So get Travis Homer as far away from your starting lineup as you possibly can. Honestly, maybe even back to the waiver wire. You're certainly starting Nick Chubb over him. You're starting basically everyone over him. I start Zonovan Knight over him now. I would start Deontay Foreman for sure over him. Isaiah Pacheco, I'd start over him. I would start basically everybody over Travis Homer at this stage with the report that he is not going to be starting. You just can't trust Travis Homer. Jeff Wilson or Miles Sanders. Got to be Miles Sanders. Why bench Zonovan? Because they're 10-point underdogs against the Bills. So we got that report that Zonovan Knight should lead this backfield in carries. But how many carries will this backfield even have if they're down early against the Bills? Michael Carter, I think, is the preferred third down back too. So that limits Zonovan Knight's PPR upside as well. So I'm a little down on Zonovan Knight. He's not like a must bench. I would play him over Travis Homer now with the reports about Travis Homer, but it's definitely close. Pacheco or Chubb. Yeah, you got to go Nick Chubb, I think, over Pacheco still. Judy, Godwin, Hollywood, or Lamb. Pick two. Yeah, you're still starting CeeDee Lamb, and you got to start Chris Godwin too. I like Judy a lot this week. I don't dislike Hollywood either, but you still got to go with Godwin and Lamb. I have them both still as top 12 options this week. Tony Jones or Rachaad White. Yeah, I'm not starting Tony Jones either. You definitely can't start Travis Homer because they're starting Tony Jones over him. But guys, Tony Jones, we've never seen him be good. We've seen him only be really bad. He started one game for the Saints. This is a who dat question. You know Tony Jones. He started one game last season. He had 16 carries, 27 scoreless yards for him, man. So yeah, you got to go Rachaad White. Sam, you're amazing. Do the stream 4 hours every Sunday. Got to run. See you next Sunday, buddy. Thanks, man. Appreciate you for tuning in. Yeah, I love this. I love the Sunday morning streams. I always look forward to these. And yeah, I've been live for over 3 hours. Now we're heading into the back portion of this stream. This is what I like to call the real witching hour, where wins become losses and losses become wins with your start-sit decisions in your fantasy leagues. Going to get to as many comments as I can. As a quick reminder, guys, we're live on YouTube. We're live on TikTok. Come to the YouTube live for my top 15 rankings every position, and my DraftKings lineup, and my player prop picks, and my picks against the spread, all for free on the YouTube live. Also, if I can't get your start-sit, the best place to go is the WalterPicks app in the iOS and Android app store. I personally helped build this app over the last 3+ years. And it's going to help you for free with all your fantasy decisions. There are some premium subscription offerings in the app too, but those come with free trials as well. Zonovan Knight or Jeff Wilson. Yeah, I'm going Knight over Jeff Wilson. I got no faith in Jeff Wilson. I would probably play Jeff Wilson over Travis Homer at this point. I got even less faith in Travis Homer with all these reports about Tony Jones starting, but I got very little faith in Jeff Wilson, man. He had one touch of the football last week for 3 yards. I mean, just brutal. I play Zonovan Knight over him. Najee or Chubb. Let me pull up the running back rankings again on the YouTube live. I do have Chubb 2 spots ahead of Najee. So yeah, I would go Chubb over Najee. Definitely close. Judy or Mike Williams. I'd go Judy over Mike Williams. I'd go Zay Jones over Michael Gallup. I'd go Njoku over Everett. Marquise or Najee. I'd go Najee over Marquise. Start Pollard or Saquon. Pick. I didn't see the other one. Lamar hurt. So do you play Russ or Watson? You can't play Russ. Marquise or Najee. Yeah, I go Najee over Marquise. I'd go Rachaad White over Zonovan Jones, but that one's pretty close. Do not start Leonard Fournette. You can't start Fournette against the 49ers. And honestly, Rachaad White's pretty risky too against the 49ers. They've been the number 1 defense against running backs this season, and they're splitting the backfield. Bench one, Singletary, Latavius Murray, Judy, Mike Williams. Yeah, if you're going to bench one of these guys, it's Latavius Murray. I saw something that said Tony Jones was the starter. Should I still start Homer? And then do I start Homer, Juju, or Jamal? Thanks. No, don't start Travis Homer anymore. I saw that too. And it's a very real report from Adam Schefter himself, from the source himself. Don't start Travis Homer, but don't start Tony Jones either. Get away from Travis Homer. I don't love Dobbins. I'm seeing a Dobbins or Homer question. I find something better than Dobbins too. I would start Jamal Williams, then Juju, then Travis Homer. That's how I would go with it. Brendan, I skipped your question. I got you, Brendan. Send it in the YouTube live again, and I will pull it up. Dobbins today. Don't feel good about Dobbins today at all. The whole backfield for the Ravens is pretty sketchy because there's 4 different running backs, plus their quarterback's going to run the ball. Who knows who's going to score the touchdown, and they're probably not going to score. They're probably not going to throw the ball very much to the running backs. All right. Pick one for flex. Leonard Fournette, Zonovan Knight, Marvin Jones, or Isaiah McKenzie. Yeah, I'd go Zonovan Knight here. I'd play Zonovan Knight over Marvin Jones, over Leonard Fournette, over Isaiah McKenzie. Again, Leonard Fournette's playing the number 1 rushing defense in the league this week, and he's splitting half the work in the backfield with Rachaad White. Tony Jones is starting. Yes, Tony Jones is starting for the Seahawks, making Travis Homer absolutely not a must start. Travis Homer, not a must start. I had him as a must start when I started the stream 4 hours ago. We've since got reports that is not a good take. do not start Travis Homer. I'd start Jeff Wilson over Travis Homer. Flex Miles Sanders, Godwin, Najee. I'd go Godwin. I'd go Godwin, especially if it's a PPR league, over Miles Sanders and over Najee. Evan Ingram or Hunter Henry. This one's close. I do think I have Hunter Henry behind Evan Ingram. I don't actually. Yeah, I would go Hunter Henry over Evan Ingram. Hunter Henry gets the best matchup for tight ends possible this week, and Jacoby Myers is out. The stars are sort of aligning as for him as a sleeper this week. Okay. We got a few moments left in the live, guys. We only got like 10-ish minutes left in this YouTube and TikTok live. Again, we're live on TikTok and YouTube. For the final stretch here, guys, if you're watching live on TikTok, I'm telling you, come to the YouTube live. Link is right in the TikTok bio, and you're going to get my top 15 rankings every position for free. A Homer, Knight, or Murray. I'd go Knight, then Murray, then Homer. Again, I'm totally out on Travis Homer now with these reports. I don't think you can trust Travis Homer if Tony Jones is going to start for the Seahawks. Pickens or Knight. I do like Pickens more than Zonovan Knight. I think Pickens has a pretty high ceiling in this game. We know the floor is low, but I'm also buying into the narrative that him complaining about not getting enough targets might actually lead to more targets for him. Who should I start? Then I have Homer, DJ, Chark, or Lenny. Yeah, I'd go DJ Chark. I'd play DJ Chark over Travis Homer. I'd play DJ Chark over Leonard Fournette. Hollywood or Najee is a really close one. I do think Najee's the safer play, though. I think I would go with Najee. I wonder if Fournette even has any prop lines today. He does. His over-under, guys, for Fournette is 33.5 rushing yards, and he's probably going to go under that. And he doesn't even have a receiving prop. Yeah, you can't start Fournette. Absolutely cannot start Fournette. Evans, Pierce, or DJ Chark. It's between these first two guys. It really is. I personally think I would go Evans over Pierce, but I certainly would play both these guys over DJ Chark, both Mike Evans and Damon Pierce. Jamison Williams, Juju, Jeff Wilson, or Knight at flex. You cannot start Jamison Williams. Absolutely not. He only ran a few routes last week. He didn't catch his only target. I think this one would go Zonovan Knight, then Juju, then Jeff Wilson, then Jamison Williams. That's how I would rank these guys. But Zonovan Knight, I think, is the best bet here to lead all those guys in touches today. Darius Slayton, Amari Cooper, Kittle. Yeah, I'd go Amari Cooper still ahead of Slayton and ahead of Kittle. I hate starting two tight ends. Hey, Sam, Zay Jones or Gabe Davis, non-PPR, thanks. Yeah, if this is non-PPR, it makes it actually, I think, much closer. In PPR, I actually think I'd go Zay Jones. But in a non-PPR format, I'm okay just shooting for the ceiling with Gabe Davis. But I actually want to pull this one up here. Let me read you the exact projections. I'm interested in this one. Non-PPR, Gabe Davis, 7.2 projection. Meanwhile, Zay Jones, 6.7. So, yeah, I guess I would go Gabe Davis. I think that makes sense. I would go Gabe Davis over Zay Jones in a non-PPR format. Pacheco or Devontae Smith. I'd go Pacheco over Devontae Smith this week. Pacheco has a pretty high floor. His over-under rushing today is in the high 60s. His over-under rushing attempts is 16.5. Like, Pacheco could easily get 20-plus carries in this game. They're 9-point favorites against a horrible Broncos offense. And I'm not too worried about the Chiefs' offense being slowed down by a good Broncos defense either. I'd side with the Chiefs' offense over the Broncos defense all day. Dalvin Cook, Pollard, DK, or Keenan Allen, pick 3. Yeah, I think you bench DK Metcalf in this one, and you play Keenan Allen, you play Pollard, you play Dalvin Cook. Homer, Tony Jones, or Juju. I play Juju over both of them. I want nothing to do with Travis Homer anymore, and I do not believe in Tony Jones either. Dalvin Cook, we just got to that one, sorry. Another Jameson Williams question here. You can't play Jameson Williams, guys. Can't play Jameson Williams. You got to play Pickens over him. You got to play whatever DJ this is, DJ Chark. DJ Moore definitely needs to be played over Jameson Williams too. Can't trust Gus Edwards. Can't trust Latavius Murray. I'd go Pickens and DJ in this one. Tannehill or Brady. I'd go Brady over Tannehill. Peoples Jones or Josh Palmer. Can't start Josh Palmer, guys. Mike Williams is back. Mike Williams is back. I would go Keenan over Judy. Jeff Wilson or J.K. Dobbins. I'd go Jeff Wilson over J.K. Dobbins. Do not start Travis Homer. Do not start Travis Homer. I know I have him as a must start on the TikTok live. He is no longer a must start. There's at least one of these every week. We got new information coming out during the live stream that Tony Jones is going to start for the Seattle Seahawks. Tony Jones is bad. I think he's worse than Travis Homer on a talent basis, but on a volume basis, it sounds like Tony Jones is going to lead this backfield in touches. So you can't start Travis Homer. You just can't do it. So get Travis Homer out of your lineup. I wouldn't start Tony Jones either, though. Find other plans. Chris Moore, Mike Boone, Donovan Peoples-Jones, 16-man PPR league. Jeez. Yeah, you're benching Mike Boone. Do not start Mike Boone. Swift, Pollard, or Saquon, pick 2. It's Pollard and Saquon over ahead of Swift. All three of these guys are in my top 10. But Saquon and Pollard, I think, are actually. I think I actually have Swift ahead of Saquon. Let me pull up the running back rankings here. Yeah, I do. Oh, God, yeah, I think you bench Saquon in this one. You can't bench Pollard. Absolutely not. You can't bench Pollard. He's a top 5 option for me this week against the Texans. But Saquon and Swift back to back in my rankings. I personally like Swift a little bit more, but both both good options, and Saquon is playing, so you got to be starting Saquon in almost every situation. Hey, Sam, thank you for your time as always. Start 2, Debo, Mike Williams, Swift, Pacheco, full PPR. Yes, you're starting Swift. 100% you're starting Swift. And then I think I would go Pacheco ahead of Debo, ahead of Mike Williams. I think the floor is pretty high for him. I don't love him in full PPR because he doesn't catch many passes, but he did run his most routes last week. And they're big favorites against the Broncos. Again, his over-under today is 16.5 rushing attempts. That's a pretty good floor. Swift or Godwin, you got to start DeAndre Swift this week. I like Chris Godwin too, but Swift just has to be started. He's got to be started. He's breaking out. He played 51% of snaps last week. That was the most he's played since week 1. And he was the number 4 running back last week. He's number 3 in the NFL in yards per touch. He's extremely efficient. There's even more room for him to play even more. This game should be high scoring. You got to start DeAndre Swift. Isaiah McKenzie or J.K. Dobbins. It's so tough to trust Dobbins in his first game back. I don't really trust Dobbins very much. I'm seeing a bunch of Travis Homer questions still in the TikTok live and the YouTube live. Bench, Travis, Homer. I know I have him as a top must start here in the TikTok live, but I was wrong. I was wrong about that. I made this list 6 hours ago around 5 a.m. It's no longer 5 a.m. We got reports from Schefter himself saying that Tony Jones is going to play over Travis Homer, so bench Travis Homer. And I do not trust Tony Jones either, though. I would play Latavius Murray straight up over Tony Jones. I got no faith in this whole Seahawks backfield now. I pick 2, Kirk, Wilson, Keenan. Thanks. Yeah, if this is Garrett Wilson, even if it's Garrett Wilson, you got to bench him here for Kirk and Keenan. Oh, God, I think I have Garrett Wilson maybe one spot ahead of Kirk. But yeah, it's close. It's close. I think I would go Kirk and Keenan. You're definitely starting Keenan for sure. Judy or Pierce. I'm playing Judy over Pierce. Actually, Judy's the free player prop of the day, over 58.5 receiving yards for Judy. Really like that one. Travis Homer, J.K. Dobbins. Yeah, again, I would go. I don't want Travis Homer at all, but I actually think I might play him over J.K. Dobbins. I don't trust Dobbins either. Amari Cooper or Garrett Wilson. I'd go Garrett Wilson over Amari Cooper. Guys, we're live on TikTok. We're live on YouTube. We're heading into the last few minutes of this live. If you want to see my top 15 rankings one last time for free, come to the YouTube live. Link is right in the TikTok bio. I'll pull up my top 15 one more time before we wrap up the stream. We'll try to get to a few more comments as well. Sam, I need help. I have Pollard and Garrett Wilson for flex, and I don't know who to start. I could take Chubb out and put Pollard in, but tell me what you think. Yeah, Lord Dingle in the YouTube live. Good to see you back in the YouTube live. You got to start Pollard. As good as Garrett Wilson's been, I mean, Pollard is on a whole different tier this week against the Texans. It's the dead last run defense in the league. Let me just read you the prop lines. This should give you confidence just looking at the prop lines, which is usually a good tiebreaker, honestly. Tony Pollard over under 90.5 total yards today. Meanwhile, Garrett Wilson's over under 65.5, so almost 30 more yards projected for Tony Pollard. He's got a better chance of the touchdown too. You got to go Pollard. You got to go Pollard and bench Garrett Wilson. I'd play Chubb over Garrett Wilson too. Marquise Brown or Travis Etienne. I'd go Travis Etienne over Marquise Brown. I think Travis Etienne is being a little bit slept on at this stage in the season. He's had a couple disappointing weeks, but it's not even a necessarily great matchup for him. But he's going to be involved as a receiver. He's going to lead his team in rushing attempts. He's probably going to be close to 20-plus touches, and he's a good receiver. So there's a really high floor, high ceiling with that type of workload. Pull my QB rankings one more time on the YouTube live here as we're wrapping up. Hey, Sam, Travis Homer being called secondary. Pick one, Homer, White, Zay Jones. Yeah, I would go Rashad White, then Zay Jones, then Travis Homer. I want nothing to do with Travis Homer anymore with these reports about Travis Homer. All right. Let's pull up my picks against the spread one last time on the YouTube live. We're heading towards the final moments of this live, guys. Good luck today, by the way. I do like Foreman a little bit more than Pacheco. I do like Swift a little bit more than Zeke. Saquon is playing. Yep, you got to start Saquon for sure. Foreman or Pacheco, again, yeah, I like Foreman a tiny bit more. Judy or Debo. I like Judy more than Debo. Mostert, Fournette. Can't start Fournette this week, guys. Do not start Fournette. His over-under today is 33.5 rushing yards. I think he goes under that. It's a really good 49ers run defense. Pull up my DraftKings lineup one more time on the YouTube live as well. I'm stacking heavy this Lions and Vikings game. I'm stacking Jared Goff with Amon-Ra St. Brown, with DJ Chark, and I'm running it back with TJ Hawkinson and Dalvin Cook. I think this game could be extremely high scoring. And I'm sneaking in Jerry Jeudy and Deontay Foreman and the Cowboys defense into that lineup too. Jamal Williams versus Donovan Knight. Close one. Definitely a close one. I feel like they're really similar spots this week, right? Because Swift, I think, is going to lead the Lions in targets for the backfield, and I think Michael Carter leads the Jets backfield in targets. I honestly think I'd go Jamal Williams over Donovan Knight, though, personally. I think that the Lions-Vikings game will be closer than the Jets. Bills game, Connor versus Godwin. Stephanie, this one's close, too. If this is a PPR league, it's tough to bench Chris Godwin, but James Conner's played over 95% of the snaps in 2 of his last 3 games. I mean, super elite workload. I'm okay going James Conner over Chris Godwin. Thanks for all your time today. Should I drop London for Gallup or Hinton. No, I'd hold on to London. London has a pretty good schedule rest of the season, and I'm kind of excited for Desmond Ridder next week. My only running backs not hurt on bye: Pirine/Homer, McKinnon/ Tony Jones / Dobbins / Hunt on waivers. Oh God, I think it's okay to go McKinnon here. You can't start Pirine. You can't start Homer. They're backups on their own teams. McKinnon's sort of a backup too, but he could also play close to 50% of the snaps for the Chiefs in a good positive game script. I think I would go McKinnon over Tony Jones. I don't like Tony Jones at all. I don't like Dobbins at all. I think Hunt, it's between McKinnon and Hunt, honestly. I'd go McKinnon. Really close one, though, and all those options kind of suck. Pick one. Cook, Chark, Pierce, BPR. Yeah, I'd go Cook. Dalvin Cook, for sure. Over Chark, over Damian Pierce. Guys, I hope you enjoyed the live stream this week. We've been going nonstop for close to 4 hours. Now, let me run through my final thoughts on some of these games again really quickly. So first, the injuries you need to be aware of today. Courtland Sutton not playing. Kenneth Walker not playing. DJ Dallas not playing. Rondale Moore, Damian Harris, Jacoby Myers all out on Monday night. That's big news for Greg Dortch, Devontae Parker, and Hunter Henry. All sleepers this week. If you're looking in a desperate spot, I like all three of those guys, by the way, more than Travis Homer. Lamar Jackson's out. Kadarius Toney out. Saquon Barkley is in. Start Saquon Barkley. With Sutton out, Dulcich and Judy get a pretty decent bump. Gotta like both of them against the Chiefs. Guys that I'm benching Tony Jones and Travis Homer. Tony Jones is supposed to be starting for the Seahawks. I don't think he's very good, but I'm not starting Travis Homer if he's not going to get the start. I'm a little nervous about Brady and Deshaun with how they've looked this season in the matchups that they have. Michael Carter can't be started. I don't think Zonovan Knight is very trustworthy either if Michael Carter's going to play on the third downs, and it could be a bad game script for the Jets against the Bills. I don't really trust Zonovan Knight. You absolutely have to bench Leonard Fournette against the 49ers. They've been number one against running backs this season. Josh Palmer can't be trusted with Mike Williams back. Jeff Wilson can't be trusted. He only had one carry last week for 3 total yards. P. Ryan can't be trusted with Mixon back. Guys that I'm absolutely starting this week. Judy can be started with confidence. Deontay Foreman can be started with confidence. Start Mixon, obviously. Start Saquon too. Start Marquise Brown, Garrett Wilson. I also love Tua this week. I think Njoku is more of a fringe start than a must start. The only tight ends I'm starting over David Njoku are Greg Dulcich, Dalton Schultz, George Kittle, Muth, Hawkinson, Andrews, and Kelsey. So yeah, I have Njoku at number 8 tight end. I think that's higher than most people. So I have him as a start, but I would play Muth over him. I'd play Dulcich over him. I wouldn't play Everett over him. I wouldn't play Hunter Henry over him though. White or ETN, I'd definitely go ETN over White overall. Guys, that's my time. Thank you so much for tuning in. Guys, time is the most valuable thing we have. So thank you so much for spending some time with me today on this live. As always, I'll be back live Thursday night, back Sunday. Good luck in this last week of the regular season for fantasy football. Good luck today. Enjoy the football. Guys, there's only so much football left. We got to enjoy it while it's here. Good luck the rest of your day. Thank you so much for tuning in. I will be back live very soon.